running downstairs for liquid, and then I will be ready to go. It's just gonna be a very casual, low-key stream today. Okay. Let us see. Sorry for the yawn. It's been a very EP day. Let's get that sent out. This. As said and posted, it's gonna be a very kind of chill, sleepy stream today. Oh, I don't have my blanket. If I get too cold, I'll get the blanket. Yeah, I kind of just wanna check out the Gamescon stuff. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I didn't get to watch the opening yesterday because I was dead set on doing demos to try and I need to change my hotkeys. They're not always working. There they go. I didn't get to watch the opening night, which is fine. I'll live. But we can watch some of the other stuff today. I have it sped up right now. And while we wait, I just got a little bit of Hanafuda while it gets through there. So, but yeah. So also give people a chance to kind of come in and hang out. Once it gets to the actual show, we will actually like do the thing. I get distracted. What am I doing? Hanafuda. Oh.
Hello and welcome to Gamescom 2024. I am Simon Cup.
Even they were caught unawares.
Earth is back, and IGN will be there to cover every second. Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. The coolest new game. Times the world premiere. It's awesome to be here at Gamescom. Gamescom 2024.
Let me at least finish this game.
Keep advancing, broker.
On it.
Doors and corners, broker.
Lights on, nobody home.
I'm getting blue night readings off the chart.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna lose this from not paying attention.
Broker, snap out of it.
Okay.
Let me take this off of like double speed.
Seriously? No.
How have I not lost yet?
Slow down.
Yep, there we go.
Use this. Make your own rules.
Oh, this is that card game shooter thing.
new rules.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby. Wait, hold on. Oh, there's still time. So this is just showing stuff from yesterday. Which, I mean, I guess is good, because like I said, I didn't get to see yesterday. Oh, we're in an ad break already?
Knock, knock. Potatoes.
Hello, Twisted Mommy. How are you doing today? Thank you for the PBS check-in. I forgot what to call it because I literally added it yesterday. Or like over the weekend while I was sick. We are catching up on the Gamescon announcements and stuff. So, yeah. How you doing today? No, that's very fair. It's appreciated. We're having a very low-key stream because I'm not feeling the best still. Yesterday we did demos because I needed to make space on the PC. Okay, and I will... Haha. Oh wait. Is moon viewing turned off? Well, welcome back from ads, hopefully.
I'm here at Summer Games Fest, and I just got to play a game that was on my schedule as unannounced military FPS. Well, that game was Fragpunk, and it is
But yeah,
freaking
I appreciate you
awesome.
popping in. Are you relatively new to PBS? I'm trying to remember.
Let's go, baby.
I went
Let's
with
go,
sort of
baby.
mixed expectations. It's like a card game. How is this all going to work? Well, here's how it goes. Basically,
Oh
you
wait,
start getting
I'm already
maps.
following you. I
You
think
get a set of 3 cards, and you can
I think because of Rex.
reshuffle the
I think
deck
you were
so
playing
to
with
speak,
Rex
get a
one
different
day.
trade if you want. But we would usually go with whatever we got. When we started out, they had it on easy bots, and I'm like, put the bots on the hardest mode so that we can actually get a game going here. Humble brag, right? That said,
I'm not like other
the
game
gameplay
journalists.
was really, really solid. It was reminding me sort of Valorant, for lack of a better term. It is a one-shot snipe to the head, you're dead, you don't get to come back until the next round shooter. And the card mechanic is really interesting. There was one instance where we on Defender...
I mean, the
we
card
had
mechanic
big
does
head
seem
mode. I switched
unique,
my loadout
but,
to
like,
be sniper, and of course,
these
I
kind of
jumped on top
games
of
just
a
aren't
wall
really
where I could just
for
see
me.
the edge of their domes
Because,
coming in, and,
I don't know, I just don't have as much fun
had
with
a
them.
great time doing that, obviously. But the card mechanic is so interesting. There was another card we utilized where at the start of the game, and by the way, you pick all of the cards before you even get into gameplay. So as a team, you can vote, yeah, I want this, don't pick this one. We want to spend our gems to unlock
Yeah, we'll koi.
these because they're more conducive to our loadout as a team. So you pick your cards and then you go into battle. And
Welcome back from ads. I went to go follow you, but it turns out I already follow you. Probably, and it took me a second to remember. I think you were playing with Rex one day, and he called you out, and I was like, everyone go follow them. And I was like, okay.
Of a shooter like Valorant, but in sort of a fun way. And while you have these interesting
Oh, they
buffs,
koi-koi'd as well.
the teammates also have
Well,
interesting buffs, and
that
they
was
can
a bad
counter
play on their
your
part.
attacks, which happens
I say as I lose. No!
where
But yeah, we're just having a
you
chill
have
day of
extra damage.
catching
So
up
we go
on
into
the
a
Gamescon
view,
stuff that happened.
right? It's so fun. It's
Oh,
such
is
an
he?
interesting spin
Or,
on the
like,
FPS genre.
figuratively?
And it feels really smooth to play. It feels like a super polished FPS, which I was super surprised by. I thought it would be earlier in development, but this feels ready to go. So
Hello, Wilbur.
hopefully the public can get their hands on it sooner rather than later. There's
We
a
are just
ton
kind of
heroes
hanging
to
out,
choose from. I
playing some
particularly like the one that
Hanafuda while we
was
wait for it to get to the new
and
day's
we were able
announcements.
to, like, sneak
I
behind
thought about
people,
doing
take
this
them
from
down.
the beginning
And
of
there
the
are
show, but then I realized, well, the beginning was yesterday, and that was 3 hours, and then today's is like 2 or 3 hours and there's
But
2 of
do
them.
not sleep on this game.
And
This
then,
game is very,
like,
very fun. I think people are really gonna
basically,
like
I
it
was
when it
like,
comes out.
I don't think I have it in me to
can't
catch
believe
up.
it
I
was
might as
here.
well just start with
actually
what
asked
got
to stay
announced
longer
today
than
while I
the
was at
demo
work.
so I could play more.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
We're just kind of vibing and
that-
checking
that's
out new
never happened.
games that are coming out because I don't have the
Definitely
energy
don't
to
sleep
play
on
anything
Dragon
else
Ball.
really.
Check it out. And for more on all things gaming, keep it
There's
right
been a
here.
dumb little
IGN.
sickness that went through my house. So everyone's kind of like run down and tired. My wife was throwing up really badly 2 days ago. Was shaking, cold, running a fever. I'm just tired.
Fans and skeptics alike was that it looked a whole lot like an Overwatch facsimile with licensed Marvel heroes and villains filling in the roles abdicated by Genji, Winston, and Roadhog. After jumping into the closed beta for a few hours, I can confirm all of those suspicions. This is a hero shooter that has studied the established formula hard, but so far, that has resulted in an experience that's
Yeah, I heard
flashy,
people enjoyed
polished,
the beta of
and
this.
ready to get
I
under
did
your
not
skin.
participate. I didn't really have a reason. I just never ended up doing so.
Like most multiplayer games, Marvel Rivals glosses over the specifics for why this alliance of superheroes has decided to beat each other to death over a variety of team-based objectives.
Yeah, there was a beta going around for
It has
it.
something to do with a partnership between 2 different versions of Doctor Doom. Beyond that, who
What the?
knows? But everything else here
Lady
should be
Galactus?
very
I don't know
familiar
enough.
to anyone who spent time in a big bouncy arena shooter. You'll be split into 2 teams of 6 players, with rosters categorized into basic tank, support, and DPS roles, all of whom are blessed with a
There we go.
variety of unique abilities and an ultimate that charges up over the course of the
Let me
game.
turn down the Hanafuda.
Victory will be achieved if you can move a payload.
But no,
to
it's
the
fine
end
that
of
you weren't
its route.
chatty. You had a lot going on, and I was at work.
Potatoes.
And all of the
Welcome
action
to
takes
German.
place in blooming battlefields plucked from the greater Marvel canon.
I hope you had fun playing Once Human today. I had to kind of check out for a bit while I did work, and then also got sent on a quick errand for my wife. She was finally up to like eating more than toast and Ritz crackers, so she was like, "Will you please go get me chicken from Publix?"
Aren't built around twitchy
So.
gunplay. In fact, a sizable chunk of its cast aren't wielding firearms at all. And across the board, they tend to absorb a ton of bullets before keeling over.
So time to kill is very high.
Naturally, that makes Rivals
Yeah.
more approachable
How was the
to
rest
those
of your
who are
stream?
turned off from traditional shooters.
That's right, I was trying to turn the sound down
Detective
on the
magical
Hanafuda.
barriers and weave portals to teleport around the map? Doctor Strange might become your main.
A shortcut through space.
Okay.
Would you rather bring a wide arsenal of munitions to the fight to try to win with your well-hewn
Who is
Call
this
of Duty
thick
skills?
chungus of a
Punisher
man?
might be more your speed.
What the? Was that supposed to be the Punisher?
Asymmetry in each of these heroes is genuinely staggering.
It seems like a game that while I don't think I would enjoy playing as much because I don't really vibe as much with the survival-y kind of base building, open worldy kind of games. I feel like my wife would like it, but it is fun to watch. I have enjoyed watching other people play. Ooh, good start. I've not played Hanafuda in a while, but I kind of got the urge to do so, and I thought, while it's just recovering the stuff from yesterday, might be fine to have it up in the corner. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. I have good news. We finished our eCornell class or course on and got our data science certificate thing.
These are character specific.
Yeah, it is a Overwatch style Marvel game
universe as a whole.
that they had a beta for not too long ago.
Leap onto the shoulders of his old pal Groot, hooking him up with damage reduction and added mobility.
It's such a good
It's a
start.
cool wrinkle and one that sounds
Quite cool, I
difficult
dare
to
you.
balance. Ideally, at high levels, Marvel Rivals won't boil down to matches that feature a prescribed set of established synergies and still allow players to express their own creativity with their compositions.
So it's not going to be super meta focused, because that has always been the biggest problem I've had with these games. It's like there becomes a meta and that's all anyone
Characters are
plays.
all gorgeously exaggerated and rippling with muscles, far more reminiscent of a comic shop in 1997 than anything from the MCU. The maps themselves are equally resplendent and surprisingly modular. Take aim at a wall and you might be able to blast it to smithereens. And perhaps most importantly, Rivals seems equally attuned to the whims of a select few esports adjacent diehards, and those who simply want to burn off a weeknight.
There was a Gundam, one of the like Overwatch style clone, and I enjoyed it, but it died very quickly just from lack of, I don't know.
When it jumps to live.
There wasn't a ton of new content. Some of the suits were extremely overpowered and became very meta-driven, and player base dried up.
Impressions of Concord and Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Yeah, so we're watching part 1 of the showcase right now, which is the IGN showcase. There's an Xbox showcase as well.
One-sentence video, really.
Okay, I have to buy this for nostalgia's purposes.
One of a few different modes in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the upcoming fighting game built around DBZ's most famous and recognizable heroes and villains. Here's the key sentence.
I grew up playing the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi Dragon Ball Z games on like the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube, and this is, from what I can see, a spiritual successor to that.
After choosing your fighter, and there are dozens of variations of well-known characters here, you choose one of over half a dozen stages to battle on, study up on your special moves, and then enter the arena. And once you get there, you'd be forgiven if you thought you were watching an episode of the anime. The cel-shaded visuals are note perfect to the show, and the animation equally helps sell the idea that your eyes are looking at a pre-baked episode of television and
yes,
not a
we used to do like the
interactive experience.
Tournament of Power.
Indeed you are.
We used to do the Tournament of Power where they we would like randomize all the characters and have like everyone gets like your controller 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then like whoever you ended up with. Like if your character survived the other round, the other person didn't, you could like take over in the next round. We had like all these like rules and kind of like our own scoring system and stuff. But I don't really feel like playing Hanafuda anymore. I think it's also making it framier, so we'll drop it.
Namco folks told me was to make players feel as powerful.
Now I've not watched like any of Super. I saw the first 2 Super movies, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's just kind of more of the same. My issue with Dragon Ball is that it hasn't really. So many shonens have like pushed the bar since Dragon Ball Z and even to an extent GT came out. But they Dragon Ball Z still kind of feels the same, which is kind of like, okay.
Local multiplayer will be available on day 1 for both early access and DBSZ's formal 1.0 launch. Even after just a dozen or so matches against the CPU,
the environment destructibility was always so cool as like a little kid.
Fighting games, or those who intend to practice a lot with Sparking Zero, are going to find themselves having a great time crushing their competition. For more on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, don't miss
I wore a hole in my hand playing one of these games one time. From like a broken GameCube C-stick. There was like a... If you both shot beams at the same time, you had to like overpower it by rotating the C-stick. And I just kept spinning it and spinning it and spinning it to the point that like I legitimately wore a hole in part of my palm. Because I was playing it like all week to try and recover the save file of my cousin who I accidentally erased.
Maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning. Instead of ending up here. Dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Yeah, I could see that being a problem with Mario Party 1. It was one of these things where I was visiting my cousin on like a Christmas break, and I accidentally erased his file that had like 30 hours in it. So I was like desperate all week, anytime I had downtime, to just get as far as I could to restore the save file.
Of humanity's thoughts and beliefs.
I'd stay up to like 4 in the morning.
Just waiting to be found.
This is probably not a game for me.
Can't just run away from your...
I saw the Indiana Jones movies when I was growing up because my dad was a big fan, but like I never really vibed with them that hard. Honestly, as a child, I found them kind of scary, especially like the skull melting scene and like the Holy Grail. But I've never seen any of the more recent ones, and
built sites of great spiritual
I
significance.
mean, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so there's plenty of Lucasfilm stuff that I like, but Indiana Jones...
You get a perfectly aligned circle.
Yeah, see, I didn't grow up playing the Tomb Raider games either, so I feel like this is a good game for people who are fans of like Tomb Raider and Dishonored and is Dishonored what I meant?
It ain't a walk in
What's
the
the
park.
Nathan Drake one? It's not Dishonored.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
It's not Just Cause. What's the Nathan... Uncharted! Uncharted! Thank you, Wilbur. Yeah. Nah, this is one of these things. I try and be extremely objective in my analysis of stuff, even to the point of like being annoying a lot of times. So I will call out things that I don't like and very likely say, this is probably just not for me. It doesn't really bear anything on whether or not it will be good. I'm sure there's plenty of people that will love this game. The Great Circle. By the way, is the volume of the video okay?
Have any idea how old that was?
That's understandable. I know you're several hours ahead of us. Probably like 5 or 6, I think, based on memory. But I hope you have a good night. Thank you for stopping by.
The 1997
Starship Troopers.
classic movie Starship
I've still not
Troopers
even
by
played
Director Paul
Helldivers.
Verhoeven is a relentless war film that leans heavily into the spectacle and
I need to see this
over-the-top
movie.
nature of
I've read some Heinlein,
intergalactic
but I've not
warfare. With the upcoming
ever watched
Starship
this.
Troopers
I saw the
Extermination
CG
from
kind of
Beyond the
janky
publisher
TV show
Off-World Industries,
when
the
I
video
was a
game
child.
adaptation seeks to expand upon the film's chaotic and gory combat sequences for its focus on co-op squad-based action. I got an early look at Extermination ahead of its early access release on May 17th, and
I know
saw
I
its
played one of
unique
these
blend
games on
of
like the
large-scale
Xbox
combat
ages
and
ago.
tower defense style gameplay firsthand.
Ooh,
and so
okay.
far, it has the makings for a compelling twist.
I
on
would
the
be
original
down for
film's
this. There's a
concept
game
of
series I love
soldiers
called
out of their
Sanctum
depth being thrust
by Coffee House
headfirst
Studio,
into a
and the
fight
whole
against
gist of
an
it is it's a
endless
first-person
swarm of
shooter
alien
where
bugs.
in between rounds you are like building a maze and building towers to kind of fight off the
Extermination
invasion
takes
of
place
like bad
decades
guys.
after the original film and sees a new division of deep space vanguards face off against the extremely hostile alien species known as the Arachnids, otherwise known as bugs. The squad of troopers takes on
Yeah,
a
it seems like it's got like
variety of
base buildy
resource
tower
gathering
defense
and bug
aspects
missions,
as well as being a
all
first-person
while
shooter,
facing off
and
against
I
the
actually like that
onslaught
combo a
of
lot.
vicious
If
arachnids that
as an
can
example,
easily
you
tear
can
your
check out
squad
Sanctum
apart.
1 and
The
Sanctum
main
2.
loop focuses
Sadly,
on
no
running
Sanctum
and gunning
3.
against
After
the
they made
bugs, capturing territory,
Goat
and
Simulator,
building
Coffee House
bases
Studio
and
made
ammo
like
depots
Satisfactory,
to
I
mostly
think,
even
and
the
they've been
playing
working
field
on that
against the
forever.
opposition. Before each game, you get to choose from one of 3 different class types. The jetpack-wearing assault class.
I wondered how
heavy
they were gonna
class that
keep
can
this
pull
kind
out
of
a
like
mobile
distinct
shield
from
to hunker down and lay
Helldivers
down
too.
suppressive fire on bugs, and a support unit that can call up medic drones to heal the squad. When the action goes off, Extermination features some solid shooting and team mechanics at work, including a helpful ping system. But as the infestation level increases, more bugs and new variants appear, pushing the need for more focused tactics and class skills to survive. The sheer scale of the onslaught can be overwhelming, especially when some of the sneakier bugs catch you off guard. But Extermination is fairly generous with the revives and respawns, allowing you and the squad to quickly get back into the action. On the surface, this
Yeah, I would
is
absolutely
quite
be
the
down to
norm
play
for
this.
most other co-op focused shooters such as Warhammer 40,000 Darktide or the Left 4 Dead series.
I never
However,
played
what
Darktide. I
Starship
love
Troopers
Vermintide though.
Extermination
If
leans
anyone else
into
out
is
there
the
has
sheer
Vermintide, I would
scale of
love
the
to play
battlefield and the
Vermintide.
conflict. With large player counts of 16, battles are out in the open, forcing you and your squad to keep on the move to knock out the randomized objectives that take you to different areas of the field. While I did feel that there was some extended downtime in between objectives, which resulted in uneventful stretches of running around, the game's dynamic pacing and encounters mostly keeps a steady flow going. One of Extermination's most interesting additions is the surprisingly robust and engaging base building system. At the key building points across the map, your
that's
team
cool.
can rapidly build structures to create
I'm so
defensive
bad at
perimeters,
base building, but
traps,
like it's a
and
party.
vantage points for your
Someone will
group to
probably be
defend
good at it and be able to
yourselves
just
against the swarm of
tell me,
bugs.
you go
During
here,
my
which is usually my
hands-on,
job
I
in
worked
games like that.
diligently to get
Collect
a wall in
resource. You
place,
go here.
but as
Fetch
soon
this
as
for
I
me.
turned out, the rest of the base's defenses were already built up by the rest of the squad. My favorite moments from the preview session all came from the final sequences of each match, which focus on hunkering down to defend a derelict base and wait for evacuation. These blend the tower defense gameplay with intense close quarters action, balancing the need to repair structures while gunning down the bugs trying to get inside. The final push, no matter how well prepared we were, always felt intense and challenging and making for an exciting capper to each
I'm trying
round.
to check on something.
I really enjoyed the relentless nature of Starship Troopers Extermination, which captures the film's breakneck pace. At times, though, I did feel that its heightened action
Is the
made
video
some
quality
battles feel
okay?
a bit
I'm trying to
too
decide if I should
overwhelming
like
to keep
bump
up
it down
with.
one to ensure
Still, getting
smoothness,
into the thick
or
of
if
it
I should
reminded
leave it
me
the
of
same.
more
I've never
intense
tried a
moments from the
stream
movie,
of this
which
manner
the game
before.
captures so well. The upcoming
But I always
early
enjoyed
access
watching
release
like
puts the
Mouse
game in a
and
great
other people
place to refine its
kind of checking
mechanics
out
and
the stuff,
develop its
and
overall
I wanted to
tone
watch
and vibe.
anyways, and
At launch, the game will have
didn't
its
feel like I had
core
energy
map
for a
and set of
game.
classes, with new content dropping within the
So
first
I
year.
settled on this.
While it often spends time recreating those movie moments, which is what many film fans no doubt want, there are periods where the game's original idea shows promise, and that was exciting to see. For more on Starship Troopers Extermination, check out the most recent trailer, and for everything else in the world of video games, head on over to IGN.
And remember, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Let me try. I'm gonna bump it down one level. And we'll see if it stays more stable. If it's not noticeably more stable, we'll change it back.
Welcome to Obsidian Entertainment. I'm so proud to share with you our upcoming fantasy action RPG, Avowed. Avowed is an adventure into the heart of the living lands.
I thought this game was already out.
At the edge of the known world, where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague and discover a secret at the heart of the living lands.
It looks pretty.
At Obsidian, we love creating worlds with deep themes, dynamic gameplay, and thoughtful reactivity. And Avowed is no different.
Maybe it's not Avowed that I'm thinking. Maybe it's Nightingale. I think at one of these shows a couple years ago, Avowed and Nightingale both got shown off, and so they became the same game in my brain, which happens all the time. Like Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone are still the same person in my head, and so are Chris Tucker and Chris Rock, and so for a long time were Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk
I feel
more
like this
about
would be a
Avowed's
game that my wife
combat
would
is
like.
Gabriel Paramo, gameplay director.
Here at Obsidian, our team's overarching goal is to empower you with choice. So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages against a wide range of enemy types.
At first I was like, that doesn't sound that interesting, but the idea of being like, let me put away my sword and do shield and wand, or like gun and wand is kind of cool.
Attacks, blocks, parries,
mace and gun. Gun and gun.
If you choose to approach combat with a one-handed wand, it feels
Hello,
quick and
B.
snappy when dealing damage to
How are
enemies
you
at
doing
mid-range.
this afternoon
Using
or
the
evening
Tanglefoot
over
ability,
where
you
you
can
are?
stop enemies
We
in their tracks,
are
giving you
hanging
the
out and
opportunity
watching
to
some of the
focus on
Gamescom
weaker or
stuff
tougher combatants in an
because
intentional and
we're
controlled manner.
eepy sheepies
It's
from
important
being
to pay
sick.
attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units
But
are
I
extremely
did get good news that I shared earlier. I got an email saying that I got my certificate for that Data Science Essentials
to help with the different encounters
course that I was taking through Cornell's like online thing.
that can be quickly switched during combat.
So
That means you can play
the drama,
however you want.
I spent half of like the night every hour like waking up and checking my laptop to see if there was any word from the professor on all of those projects that
Or even
I had to like
to feel like a gunslinging mage.
get
You could use your enchanted
recovered
wand to
or like
freeze enemies, and then use your
rebuilt
offhand weapons without
after
attack to shatter them.
I found out that they apparently just
We
showed up
work
blank
hard
on
to
his
keep you
side and he
constantly
gave
engaged
me
as
zeros on
battles
all of them.
unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability.
So
during
now
combat.
we don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's
Ample
go.
choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the living lands.
I feel like it's
as
been
they
more
get
stable
to know the
since changing
game and
that.
the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences. Like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the living lands. As you're exploring, you come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone,
Hello,
is at
Gene
fault.
on the Trovo side.
Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me.
But yeah, since we're a bit tired from still recovering from being sick over the weekend, my wife's finally better. She ate not bread or crackers for the first time since like Monday. She's been subsisting on crackers and like pumpernickel bread the entire time.
Making the right choice isn't always what it
And
seems.
she has finally broken her fever and not throwing up anymore.
Trusting players to make tough decisions in
Things are on the mend, but
situations.
I was too tired to want to like start a new game or play anything too complex. This game convention was going on, so I figured let's just check out what's coming out. We can share our thoughts on the games and all that kind of stuff.
I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui...
His pointy teeth for some reason make me
At the end
like
of the
second
quest,
guess
you
his
have a
voice.
choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you,
Like
you
it's
can
like
hand over
his
the
voice
badges
seems out of
and
place.
let him go back home.
And
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault. No, they should have never have camped in the cave. I'll take the badges.
I need to figure out how to do the I'm debating on adding song request stuff for if I have to do overnight things. That way I can leave people to be able to just request their own songs that they want.
Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions
When will it be live
and the
streaming?
choices you made during this quest. Creating
I
an immersive
mean,
experience like Avowed
this is from
anchored in the
earlier
world
in the
built.
day.
Art director
We are
Matt
catching
Henson and
up
the team
on
have worked to
announcements from
create a
earlier in the
unique,
day.
colorful, and
So
dynamic
30 minutes
visual
from now,
style.
the
From the outset, we knew
beginning
that we
of
wanted
today's
Avowed
announcements
setting
should come
to
out.
feel rich, weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique
check something.
RPG experience. By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players.
Yeah, okay, I was just making sure that it actually came through. Oh, I need to update the image on the Trovo side to actually include my
from luxuriant forests
PNG
to
tuber.
volcanic wastes.
And I
each
did
of those
send
regions
Richard
itself
the
is a conflux of storied landscapes.
image for the PNG tuber.
All of
I
the
thought it'd be
regions
funny if
have
people
a
could
lot
pull
of
me out of the
special
lake
things
when fishing.
associated with them, but I have a deep place in my heart for Shatterscarp. As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure.
This game
and
is
even a
very
little danger.
pretty. I'd have to see more of the actual gameplay.
We hope you've
Like,
enjoyed
I feel like my
this
wife would be
We're
very down
thrilled
for
to
this
share
game.
more about the game
I
in
feel like I
coming
would
months,
tag
and we can't
along,
wait for
probably.
you to explore the living lands when Avowed launches this
I
fall.
just worry about my attention span and ability to not be like, ooh, shiny over there, and then like forget what I'm doing for 3 weeks. I do like the cover. I think it's really cool. Oh no, we've got an ad break starting. Hold on, can I stop it? We will snooze for 5 minutes. That way we can let the ad kind of start closer to when the actual new content from earlier this morning comes out.
Back in 2022, I previewed World of Warcraft's last expansion, Dragonflight.
I have not played WoW in a long time, and I do not think I will ever go back. Only because I think I'm just done with MMOs.
Based on brief early alpha storyline play and not the sum of its content.
I feel like being in college or university and high school and stuff like that is a great time for MMOs. I do not have time for the MMO commitment any longer. And I'm the kind of person that can't like casually play it. Yeah, I had an ex who was very into WoW and I played it with them, and then I stopped for several years. Well, I got like life back on track, and then in university I went back and played, and
quite as enraptured. I don't dislike it, to be clear. Largely, it just feels
I wanted to see this movie. It was made by David Bowie's son, who makes one of my other favorite movies, Moon.
Are because of anything particularly sinful about the new expansion, or just because I've seen so little of it.
Something. Someone is calling out.
But I mean, I played WoW, some sort of like Brazilian like WoW knockoff, like
earlier this week,
even before that. I played RuneScape in like middle school. I did play SWTOR. I liked SWTOR, but I'm a big Star Wars fan. Yeah, soloing's not as much fun. I also played Wildstorm, which I thought was really cool. I played Rift, and
rescue 6 dudes.
I played Final Fantasy 11 and 14, and I really liked 14. There was one game, it was a Korean Arcade. Arcade conceptually was so cool.
Story I saw played out very fast,
Arcade, like in conception, originally was like you really need to like make a guild with the different classes because it's important to your ability to like explore and make your way out there and be self-sufficient. And the fact that like it had like the RuneScape-esque, like you have kind of like a very big focus on gathering and crafting and farming and stuff, and could build like house. Like I remember I knew someone that would set timers to wake up in the middle of the night to go like farm his trees in his orchard. So, but they made a lot of changes when they brought it to the US, and it wasn't as like focused on that. And then when they finally brought the expansion to the US, they like nerfed the drop rates of like important items, and it just got so grindy that I just stopped playing. Which is a shame because I had a lot of fun.
And a subterranean cavern lit by a massive crystal sun. I want to go there. I also ran a dungeon, but the Rookery was not what I would call the most enthralling display of World of Warcraft dungeoning I've ever seen. It wasn't bad, it was just fine. There's a fight where you have to jump into a pit when you get hit by lightning, and another where a big guy pops out of some water and dumps darkness all over you. I didn't get a chance to try the other alpha-enabled dungeon, Cinderbrew Meadery, in time to write this preview. But given how much I like
there's a couple people that there's one water-haired VTuber, Malroy, who I watch. And they play WoW, but I'm not really there for the WoW, I'm there for the vibes, just kind of like hang out and chill. But I will say, everyone, the vibes are immaculate, but also, one of the things that I have a deep love of is lore. It's why I've read almost 300 Star Wars books. It's why I love Brandon Sanderson and the Dresden Files and yes, I did add one. And all these sort of like deep complicated stories, like watching all of the Doctor Who series. I am an absolute lore whore. I love it. I don't know what it is about my brain that just goes, I need homework. It's probably why I do so many certification things. I need to submit a question. We have an all-hands meeting with like the GVP of our org. I need to submit a question on if they're going to re-establish the vendor certification payout program because I want that additional money for doing certs.
know if the long-term solution to World of
I have
Warcraft's
7
need for
active
continual
ones right
character
now. It's
growth
about to
is
drop
keep
down to 6,
slapping
and
more
I now
talent
have that
trees
data
on top of
analyst
talent
or
trees,
data
though.
science
So
one.
I'm curious as to what
So I
the
guess I'll still have
longer-term
7.
plans for the system are. And as someone enamored with the idea of class fantasy, I can't help but long
But I've
for a
had
little more
now
flavor from my
11
elemental
total.
shaman. Sure, it's
Just because my
neat to
brain's
summon
like,
little
ooh,
ghosties
something
by
to
using
do.
my most
Ooh,
powerful
something to
spell,
do.
But is there more to it than just powering these
We have
ghosts
ads
up?
coming
Is this
in
the upgrade
30
I'm stuck
seconds,
with for the next
guys.
2 years? Will the
Prepare
totemic
your
pack
butts.
be totally different and
It'll
let
be
me do
okay.
some cool totem dropping play? There are still loads of questions we won't see answered until later in the alpha or even the beta. Patience.
My face hurts. I need to take some like
I probably sound a
Sudafed or
little
something.
down on the war within, but I really do think most of my hesitation comes from how immediately stunning Dragonflight was in 2022 and how little I've seen of the war within so far. I'll leave this preview with 2 optimistic thoughts. First, we didn't
Thank
get
you,
to see
Sylvester.
the introductory scenario. to
Sorry,
the
my
war
microphone
within,
is
but
blocking
based
my
on
all
the
chat.
aftermath I started in, which I won't spoil.
I
but
hope
you can
everyone on the
see in
Trovo side is
video
also
footage if you
having a
look
good
closely,
day. I'm
the
still very
inciting
new to
incident
streaming
of
on
this
Trovo
expansion
as
is
well.
mad bonkers and has some
I think I've only
wild
done it like
implications.
this might be
So
my
I'm
4th
very,
one ever
very interested
over
to
there.
see where they take it.
I mainly stream on Twitch, but I wanted to give a try doing multi-streaming and wanted to expand it beyond just YouTube.
To proceed, so I dove down on my dragon into the Coreway tunnels. A barrier prevented me from going
I've
further
heard
into the
that
next
there's
zone,
Legacy of
but I got
Kain
the
news
briefest taste
in the
of
last
sheer
day, which I'm very
depth we're
excited
dealing
for
with
because it's one of
here,
my
and it
favorite
genuinely got my
franchises.
heart
Speaking of
beating
lore,
faster. I was momentarily reminded of Zerlet Caverns from Dragonflight, but the sheer depth I was zooming into gave me an overwhelming sense that the whole thing was about to open up into something huge. What that hugeness was, I never saw, but I love the idea of a vertical continent, and it makes me hopeful that
A
Blizzard has
vertical
some neat
continent.
ideas to give both Khazalgar and the War Within more depth than I saw from the surface.
I'm trying to envision that, and all I can think is like a space station from like, or a space colony from old sci-fi, like the big cylinder ones, but it's like on its,
stick with IGN.
well, you'd have to like reference Ender's Game and be like the enemy's gate is down. Like, down is an object, is like subjective.
Cover every second. Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. Coolest new game. Tons of world premieres. It's awesome to be here at Gamescom.
It would be cool to go to like Gamescon or like TwitchCon, but there's the whole issue of having to show my face. Which, there's a mask that I'm looking at that's like programmable.
Are you sure
I could put the PNG tuber over top of that,
I can't let this go. It could be
but
the best kept secret
I
in
don't know.
history.
It's also just a lot of money. And I might want to focus on just continuing my world travels instead of traveling to places I've already been just to go to a convention.
Something in the past. Boss believes they hold a kind of power. A discovery that can change the world.
What were you doing out there?
Fresh air.
We have to find the stones, Gina. Or they will. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites...
I'm actually a little surprised that there's not more Indiana Jones like books.
The Great Circle.
You know, there's a ton of Star Wars books. There's a ton of Star Trek books.
Coming from the Himalayas.
Doctor Who, and I get that those are all like science fiction, and this is like mostly like fantasy, like modern fantasy. But it seems like the kind of thing where you could easily adapt it into books.
Gotta find the stone and get off this shit.
What's that in his hands? What does it say?
Earth something. What was that?
Seems wise.
We'd better hide.
Yeah, I feel like this game will be very like popular with like Uncharted fans and Tomb Raider fans and all that. It has that kind of energy to me.
Ciao.
Did you shoot the box of grenades?
Hands behind your head.
Sorry, my phone was going off. I was making sure it wasn't anything urgent.
Where's the
I
stone?
don't think I've ever seen like a little chest plate that has like shells and other bullets on it.
Höhenangst.
Fear of heights.
Yes.
I have it. I endured this dreadful mountain even if my mind was screaming every step of the way. Because of a concept you narrow-minded Americans will never understand. Devotion. Total and absolute devotion to the fatherland. You have no purpose. What you have.
I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that backfiring.
Cartoons. Choo-choo.
What? What on earth is... What was that?
I will walk through fire for
What on earth?
Give me that stone.
Choo choo.
Now.
Can't give you what I don't have.
I shall search your corpse to make sure.
Please wait.
Give me the stone.
Gina.
Now I have questions. How did the ship get up here?
We gotta get out of here.
Oh, you don't want to recreate that one scene in that one Indiana Jones movie, but instead of an inflatable raft down the mountain, you're just sliding in a battleship? Is that box of grenades gonna come back in? I mean, I'll give you that the this feels like one of the movies. Like it's campy enough to be one of the movies. Well, and then he did that weird little like hop back and forth with jazz hands, which is just again not very I don't know. It does not make me go, oh, this is a dangerous man. This makes me go, this is a circus performer. Which, I mean, I guess you can be both, but... What's the point of adding that shot where he took the shot? It neither hit the man nor blew up the car. It didn't do anything. It just feels weird.
Play it day one with Game Pass.
As soon as we find a good spot, we can get things set up and ready to go. And then we can get started. This is gonna be great.
You bet.
Oh.
I hope we find them soon.
Okay. This looks to me like Monster Hunter in my brain. Okay. Yes, it's Capcom. It has to be Monster Hunter. My cousin is probably thrilled about this. I've never really given Monster Hunter a solid go. I played one on the DS ages ago, and it wasn't that fun to me as a solo player. But if it's multiplayer, that could be a different story. And again, my wife is very into like the open world kind of like gathering. She loves the kind of like fashion-y kind of part. So like if you can like gather resources from the creatures and make armor and weapons, I think she'd enjoy that. So if it's multiplayer, I could be down for it. And Tane, my mod, is also big into Monster Hunter. I think I bought him like a little figurine in Singapore to bring back with me.
Now commencing the hunt by order of the guild.
Wow. Oh my god. Giant tongue action. Oh, yeah, what I was saying is I've never seen Back to the Future at all. Any of them. This is part of the trend of me having not seen a lot of very popular movies. There's guns in Monster Hunter? I did not know that. I've never seen any Back to the Future movie. I have been on the Back to the Future ride in Universal Studios, California. That's it.
I've selected you as a lead hunter for this expedition.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, Tane's family even had them. I remember going to his house on like holiday, and they had all of them, and it just never came up. We didn't have them. We just never ended up watching them. But it's one of those movies where everyone's like, "What do you mean you haven't seen this?" It's the same thing with like Independence Day or Billy Madison or I don't know. There's a bunch of them that people get all surprised at me about. I only recently saw the Jurassic Park movies in the last like 5 years. That's a cool mount. And not knowing anything, like bird dinosaur-esque things are cool. Okay, the ability to like fast get on the mount is neat as well. It gets rid of the tedium of having to like summon and then like climb on. I don't know if that's already been a thing in Monster Hunter, but I know in other games it was always kind of like, gotta cast for the mount. It's gonna be like a 7-second cast. Gotta wait for it to show up. Get on. The problem is I need Tane here or anyone else with more Monster Hunter experience to tell me if this is like a notable improvement from what already existed. Because I don't have the frame of reference. I was curious what we were zooming in on. My eyes! For when you lazily need a snack. I don't want to go to the kitchen, just grapple hooks the kitchen. That seems cool. Did you have to work today, Wilbur, or were you off? Oh, I also added a pinned message for the subathon, but I'll have to remember to keep adding it, because it looks like you can only add it to the end of stream. Oh, I've had many a time playing Civ. I don't feel like it would be much fun for me to stream it, though.
It's a more daring, risky take on the formula than
that's good. Hopefully it's cooled down where you are.
And I think that's definitely
it was
the way to go,
in the
those older games
I don't know in
aren't
Celsius.
and are still quite playable.
It was in the low 70s, so I think like 22-ish Celsius maybe. Here the last couple days, which has been nice because I mean a few weeks ago. Well, okay, a few weeks ago it was raining for several weeks, and then before that it was like 40 Celsius the entire time.
4X space has gotten a lot more crowded since Civ 6, and it
but yeah, I've had many a night in the past playing Civ with friends.
The biggest single change Civ 7 is introducing. Like in 2020's Humankind, you won't be playing a single civilization for your entire campaign.
The radiance of the new world came into being bathed in nectar.
I just feel like these games do not stream as well. Like, I don't know why.
To point out that ages aren't exactly equivalent to eras in past Civ games, since they're quite a bit longer and more distinct.
But they're so much fun to play.
I turned 125 on standard speed. I was still in 1150 BC according to
I think I mentioned not too long ago my wife became very interested in like the Targaryen like lineage and dynasty, and we started watching House of the Dragon, but one of the things she asked me is there a Game of Thrones like Civ mod? And the answer is absolutely, and I've played it. Welcome Rex. You missed apparently your mom was here earlier.
That comes with their own
Non-joke
set of
intended.
bonuses.
She said she was your mom.
The leaders themselves remain visually consistent throughout the ages.
I hope you're doing well.
Shep suit and a pantsuit in modern
We should all
times,
get together
for
and play
instance.
some games
They're all
sometime.
civilization agnostic. Hot Shepsuit's bonuses synergize well with those of ancient Egypt, so you'll have
I might
some
be free this
incentive
Friday.
to match
Ash
a
is
leader
talking
to
about
their
going to hang out with her
historical civ if you're min-maxing,
her
but you can
friend
play her as
Raven.
the leader of any of the
And
starting antique civs. After all, you might be
if it's anything
finishing
like the other
campaign
times
of
they
the
hang out, they'll
United
probably be gone
States,
for like
so
5 or
there
6
will be
hours.
some mixing
They might be doing that this Friday, so I would be wide open to being able to play stuff with people.
Firaxis is also taking the opportunity to include some leaders who weren't necessarily top-level political figures this time, so we don't end up with just the exact same cast we've seen over and over again. Ben Franklin was
Imagine getting your ass
specifically
kicked by
called
Ben
out, though I
Franklin.
didn't get to see him fully animated in 3D yet.
When falls the Colosseum, Rome shall fall.
What isn't totally agnostic is your choice of a new civ in the coming age, addressing one of my gripes with humankind that you could go
I remember
from
really
Celts to
I don't know what happened to my
Chinese
voice
with
there. Like I
little
said, I've
or
been
no
sick.
narrative
I remember really
context.
enjoying the
Civ will have
sci-fi
at least
version
one
of Civ that
natural
was not
path
very
that's
popular,
always
but I
available
liked.
to them.
I don't know. I
Egypt
liked what they
can
tried to do with
naturally
it.
Transition into Songhai and then Buganda, but everyone can also potentially earn.
I also have that
access to
like
certain
Age of
later-age
Wonders like
civs
fantasy
that are
version.
unlocked by gameplay choices. For example, cultivating several horse resources in antiquity.
I don't know a specific
will allow you to
glitch.
become
I just know
longbows
Gandhi
for
was
the
like very
exploration
prone
age.
to
Other interesting progression
being
paths mentioned
sorry,
include
being
starting as
aggressive
Rome,
and potentially
then becoming
nuking
the
you.
Normans,
I
and
never
finally
heard if it
ending
was a
as
glitch or
England.
if it's just the way they set it up.
Transitioning between ages will come with a period of
Yeah,
crisis.
I hope you're doing
but
good,
got to
Rex.
see
Hope
just
you're
the
doing better than you were a
beginning
couple
of one
days
of them
ago.
for antiquity,
It seemed
which
like you were
was
having a
called
little
The
bit of a
Rising
time.
Storm, depicting the fall of the
I don't even know
great
if you're still
empires
here.
of old.
He may have
It
just done the
required you
PBS
to
check and
take
it
one
left.
crisis policy card,
There's a hole in my
similar to
sock.
Civ 6's Dark Ages, where all of them were bad, so it was definitely a pick your poison moment. At the same time, new groups of independent people who have completely replaced barbarians and city-states, but can act like either one depending on what state of development they're in, and can be dealt with militarily or diplomatically, started spawning around my hinterlands.
Now that's fine. I appreciate. Even the lurks are appreciated, even if people are busy. Because I know I have to be busy and kind of lurk in other people's and people just hanging out and being here, chiming in every once in a while or not chiming in at all. All is fine. Peace and set to full.
London, very little of the former city is left standing. And the same
Was that in
is
Civ
true if
4
you
or
compare
one of the more
medieval
recent
London
ones?
to modern London. New civilizations are built over the ruins
For the
of the
first
past,
time
and through
in
a concept
probably a
called
decade,
overbuilding,
I have
that's
cable
literally
television
what
at my
we'll be
house, and I
doing
don't
in
know
the
what to do
later
about
ages
it.
of Civ 7.
Your statement about finding something to watch reminded
Cities are
me.
still sprawled across
I
multiple
don't really
tiles
like
in Civ
watch
6, but there are now
TV.
only two types of districts, urban and rural. Urban districts can hold up to 2 buildings at the start of antiquity, increasing over time, and
I
might
would
gain special
honestly, if it was my
meta
choice, I probably
attributes
wouldn't have gotten
based
it. I got
on what you
bullied
build
into it.
there. For Egypt, I was able to establish a unique funerary district by building both of their Civ unique buildings in the same place. So unlike Civ 6, a science district isn't a thing you plop down that is going to start out being focused entirely on science. It's just an urban district that you have chosen to specialize towards science with synergistic buildings.
Preparing the lands for new growth. Here, Egypt will compel the world to behold.
But occasionally when we would do like 24-hour events, way back in the day, the Civ would be our game of choice because time just flies by playing Civ. That whole like, oh, just one more turn thing is so true.
When you would gain a new citizen through population growth, you immediately are prompted to plop down a new district, which will be empty if it's urban. You still need to spend production on city buildings, or possibly add a specialist to an existing district if you've unlocked the civics for it.
We really just got the TV for
in the build I played, you could only place
what's it called?
adjacent to
Game of
existing
ones. And I think she wanted to watch Yellow Jackets or something like that. It was after watching that weird, like, Rancher Fringe show
made sense for rural districts, though.
that she was like, can we please get TV? I was like, fine.
Farms and mines spread around my city center, I think, creates a really nice scene. And the way it is currently,
sorry about those horrid
really
noises.
I
was just being a little bit of
sprawl.
weirdo.
So I ended up with kind of a weird looking checkerboard of urban and rural.
I'm so stuffy. I'm sorry for any sniffs that come through too.
Settling new cities also
oh boy, 4 minutes. Let's go.
Town, which doesn't have a production queue and instead turns all of its production into gold. You can still buy things directly in a town with gold, and the cost of upgrading it to a full city will be reduced by how much you've built it up this way already. I found this to be a nice option for expansion since I don't really like managing 15 different production queues. Overall, Civ 7 looks great so far. Civ 6's art style was, shall we say, divisive, and I was more on the negative side for sure.
I've not heard the word pronounced that way before.
5 looks
but
better than its direct successor. Civ 7 has
I feel like being,
stylized,
I don't know, growing up, I was very focused on how words should be pronounced, and then as I traveled more and like experienced more of the world, I realized, yeah, that doesn't make any sense with how like broad and spread out everyone is in the various different dialects and accents. So, but it is always interesting hearing a pronunciation that you've never heard before for the first time.
That really feels current gen in a visual sense. The mountains look a bit less mountainy, more like isolated peaks than the nice, realistic, sprawling
7 out of 10, not enough mountain.
Games, but that's my only graphics gripe so far. The leaders, continuing on the tradition of Civ 6, are rendered with tons of detail and personality. We got a look at Hatshepsut of Egypt, Amina of Zazau, the natural leader for Aksum, Augustus of Rome, and Ashoka of the Maurya. On the diplomatic screen, both of the negotiating leaders are now shown interacting, which adds a nice bit of dramatic flair.
Surprise war.
Veni, gladia vostra nostro muro frangite.
Diplomacy has also been greatly reworked from Civ 6. Influence is now a baseline currency produced by certain buildings, and you spend it on direct actions that target another Civ. Firaxis wants to reduce the emphasis on transactional horse trading type diplomacy, so every time you do something diplomatically, it's more of a specific jab or handshake that you're engaging in. Influence also has a fairly low cap and is use it or lose it, encouraging you to engage in diplomacy regularly.
That's so wildly different than I remember from Civ 5.
One really interesting example of this was a treaty Amina kept hitting me with when we were on less than great terms, which would cause my relationship with my BFF Augustus to deteriorate unless I spent an even larger ante of influence to counter it. This presents some diabolical
I mean, that is an interesting way of going about it.
And a reason to keep some influence in the bank. The other really great twist with influence is that you can spend it during a war to increase your side's war support, which works kind of like a diplomatic tug of war.
I mean, you are correct. You do get epic multiplayer action when playing Civ.
War support, the side with less will suffer
it may take you 70 plus hours and an entire weekend to get anywhere near the end, but it is intense and addictive. Oh boy. Okay, we are on to today's footage. I've been trying to avoid any sort of like spoilers and stuff, but I mean, that's next to impossible, so.
Gamescom Studio is your one-stop destination for all the excitement. It's awesome to be here at Gamescom. Coming up today, some of the most anticipated games like Monster Hunter Wilds.
I wonder if they'll even let you wear a mask at something like this.
Civilization 7. Plus, looks ahead at what's next for games that already have us hooked, like Diablo 4 and Starship Troopers Extermination. Plus, we'll take a look at what's happening around the Gamescom show floor, bringing you sights, sounds, and maybe some surprises. So get ready, because Gamescom Studio, live on IGN, starts right now.
Hello and welcome to IGN's live coverage of Gamescom 2024, the biggest video game convention in the world. I'm your host, Stella Chung, along with Max Scoville and Brian Altano. Welcome to Gamescom, guys.
Welcome to Gamescom. The Gamescom floor is officially open, and for the next 4 days, IGN will be bringing you non-stop coverage of everything going on here, right in Cologne, Germany. We'll have interviews with...
I was trying to decide if we should skip forward towards when they're actually showing stuff or not.
Plus, we'll also be showing you around the absolute...
Because, I mean, that's what we're here for, right? To see the announcements.
Activations, and probably something really wild, like a 70-foot-tall dragon that's fighting a tank, or maybe just like a regular-sized construction vehicle that's there to promote a very specific game about doing construction. Probably. It's all happening here at Gamescom. Lots of cool stuff.
I might have this shirt, actually.
Definitely tons of surprises.
Or something very similar.
Trailers, exclusive reveals, and more. And hey, the biggest video game event on the planet also cares about the planet. Thanks to the Gamescom Goes Green initiative, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. In addition to participating in Gamescom's carbon offset program, exhibitors are also doing their part by building more sustainably, reusing portions of their booths, and avoiding single-use material.
It's quite amazing. The Gamescom force continues to grow, and more trees have been planted thanks to donations from...
I'm just skipping ahead a little bit to them like showing off some stuff.
Extermination.
Yeah, and if you think that's a lot, that's just what's happening here in the studio. So let's actually see what's happening out on the show floor.
Oi oi and welcome to Gamescom 2024. We're going to be out here on the show floor today checking out some amazing stuff. We're going to have a look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Later, X marks the spot. We're going to have a fantastic look around this, quite frankly, massive Xbox booth. And then later on, when the sun goes down, as does the Dying Light, we're going to take a look at Dying Light, The Beast, the new game, announced last night at ONL. So it's going to be a good time, I think. I think you should stick with us, really.
Dragon Ball fans are counting down the days to the release of Sparking Zero, and last
I have thoughts on Dying Light because I'm trying to... I'm good, Fin81. How are you? We are just kind of hanging out and watching some of the game. Oh my god, that... I was not expecting this man in his very oversized suit jacket. We're just kind of chilling out and watching some of the Gamescom stuff from earlier today because I'm a bit under the weather and don't feel like I have energy to play game.
Is running away from what appears to be Vegeta in his giant Uzuru ape form. How does that fit into the gameplay? Because I feel like the rest of the battles are pretty straightforward. It looks like a fight in Dragon Ball. We get it. This is kind of one-sided. Where just I guess.
Oh, they paused it. Okay, I thought the video froze for a second.
Maybe story or maybe gameplay.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Is that a... With the size of the window I have for the multi-stream, I can't see your profile picture. What character is that? Why does my...
かなりサタンなんかは空を飛べないキャラクター、武空術ができないキャラクターになっているので、地面をこのように走るような形で動くことができるキャラクターになっています。それを奥から大猿が接近して攻撃を畳みかけているっていうワンシーンをちょっと切り取ったシーンになりますので、お客さんの中でもプレイしている中でまさにこういうちょっとリアルに本当に逃げ回ってるシーンみたいなことはリアルタイムに起こりうるものとして、こちら見ていただければと思います。
So this is actually a battle scene? Because you know, you can play Mr. Saturn and Mr. Saturn can fly, so obviously, you know, if you're trying to get away from your opponent, then he has to run. And this is basically a character of Saturn running away from Vegeta, who's trying to attack him.
Excuse me,
I think running is probably a good solution in that scenario. The other thing that people have really latched onto is there's a brief glimpse of Goku wearing his Yardrat outfit, which I don't know. I think people are really excited about the prospect of character customization, different outfits. It's already a massive roster. Can you talk a little bit about sort of different you know, outfits or accessories?
What is this freeze frame?
がやったの服を着てるんですけど、大きいロスターなんですけど、そのロスターの中にやっぱそういうカスタマイズがあるっていうのはファンが結構嬉しくて、そのコスチュームとかについてもうちょっと教えてもらえますか？
そうですね、結構 悟空のこの衣装とかってその原作のストーリーの中でもやっぱり出てきていた衣装だったりもするので、
Big yawn.
お客さんの方でもこのような衣装の状態で戦っていただく、遊んでいただけるような形で実装させていただいています。まだお伝えできないキャラクターだったり、お伝えできない衣装とかあるんですけど、まだ他にも一部のキャラクターではこのように原作で登場した衣装で、遊んでいただけるようなものはございます。
So basically, I mean,
we have an ad about to start in a couple minutes.
This is an outfit that was in the story, and
well, okay, in 1 minute.
That revives the story as much as possible. There will be multiple costumes for multiple characters. We cannot go too much into the details right now. We're sorry about that, but certain characters will have multiple costumes to choose from.
Glad to hear it. That's
have an entire roster. One of the big problems in games like these, especially like by the time you hit like Budokai like 3 and 4, I think they were like Budokai 4.
A big thing is obviously the fighting game community.
You'd end up with like 9 to 12 variants of Goku.
Sort of that change has influenced Sparking Zero.
前の武闘会の時よりやっぱそのファイティングゲームのコミュニティが結構大きくなっていろんなトーナメントも出てるし e スポーツが盛んになったんですけどそういう e スポーツの盛んの中新しいスパークゼロはどういうふうにそういうフィーチャーとかあるんですかと。
そうですね、この作品で申しますと、その他の作品でいうドラゴンボールファイターズとかみたいにその e スポーツ的すごい競技性が高くて公平性が高いみたいな形ではなくて、どちらかというとドラゴンボールらしさ、ドラゴンボール的な体験をすごい楽しんでいただきたいなということを念頭に作っている作品になります。なのでキャラクターごとに全員が共通して同じ強さであるっていうのではなくて、原作で描かれていたような強いキャラクターはより強く。
Which is weird because Goku's head doesn't look huge with his haircut. I think it's just because he's an adult.
基本的にはそのようなドラゴンボールキャラクターのドラゴンボールのキャラクターの
So it looks like less top heavy.
キャラクターが味わえるこの
Whereas that Gohan looked like you could like push on his head and tip him over.
難しいキャラクターでも難しい体験みたいなところを本当にキャラクターになりきって遊んでいただけたらなというふうには思っています。ちょっとプラスであるんですけど、ちょっと一旦ここまでで。
So first part of the answer. I mean, there are other Dragon Ball games where they have like very good balancing that is important for esports.
We have an ad break going.
So that everybody has the same chance. But this game is more about enjoying being a character. So in this game, strong characters are stronger, and you can play very strong, and characters that are weaker in the story are also weaker, and you can enjoy gameplay where you struggle a little more and it's a little more challenging. So the focus is different. It's not really balancing and having a fair esports fight, but more about being the character and being the story.
でその上で一応キャラクターごとに、コストみたいなものが割り振られていまして、強いキャラは多くコストを消費して、弱いなかなか苦戦したようなキャラクターたちは少し少なめのコストになっていて、その一定のコストの上限の中で、チームを組んでいくっていうような遊び方をすることができて、そうすることで一定程度バランスを取った対戦ができるような形にしています。
So on top of that, there's like a point system or cost system for each character. So for example, strong characters have a higher cost, and not so strong characters has a lower cost. And as this is a team game, you can combine your team with like stronger or weaker characters and have the same cost to balance the odds.
Nice. Now, obviously, games have changed a lot since the last Budokai Tenkaichi. Can you talk a little bit about how Sparking Zero has kind of modernized the old experience? Like, what will longtime players immediately find familiar, and what's something new that might surprise them just in terms of how it plays?
前のゲーム結構前に出たんだから、その時のファンが今の新しいスパーキングゼロをゲームする時には、これは昔のようだと考えるところとか、これは新しいなと考えるところがそこら辺はどうですか？
そうですね、おっしゃる通りシリーズ作品になっていて、それこそ前作17年前に出ているというところもあって、かなり時間が空いてしまっている。だからこそ我々としてはシリーズならではのこのアクション性、ゲーム性、バトルシステムというところは基本的には踏襲をするような形で作っています。かなり昔遊んでいただいた武道会展開地3と近い操作感で遊んでいただけるようにすごいチューニングしていますし、基本的ななんでしょう、吹っ飛ばしてから追撃をするだとか、相手の攻撃をうまくカウンタータイミングよくボタンを押してカウンターするだとか、そういった基本的なシステムはもうこれまで通り踏襲させていただいているというのは大前提やらせていただいています。これはやっぱりシリーズ正当進化というか。
I always found it very funny that when Tien Shinhan does his tri-beam cannon, he makes the little triangle with his hand, and then the explosion is a square. For reasons that like I don't know, it always made me laugh. It was very stupid.
攻撃を食らいながらも反撃できる新しいリベンジカウンターというシステムを入れたりですとか、ちょっと中距離からでも一気に瞬間移動的に攻撃を仕掛けることのできるバニシングアサルトみたいなですね、新しいシステムもどんどん入れていくことで、よりドラゴンボールらしいアクションを
I'm gonna speed up the interviews a little bit.
So of course this is an old IP, and the last game is 17 years old, so a lot of change there. But as this is a part
To
of
try and save us some time.
Make sure that the experience is the same. So we have a quite similar battle system, and whoever played the old games will be able to control it and have a similar feeling of fighting and how to attack. Like,
not too much, but like enough, you know.
Counter timings, and so will be similar to the old games. But of course we added a lot of new stuff to make it more Dragon Ball-y, let's say. So there are some real-time actions like now while you're attacked, you can revenge counter. This is a new system, or you can like warp, or like it's Vanish Assault, we call it, like when you immediately teleport to the enemy and then can attack and stuff like that. So we increased things that we know from the Dragon Ball universe that weren't in the previous game to make it more accessible and a better experience.
Awesome. Well, I'm dying to find out more. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is out October 11th on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Right now, though, there's lots more Gamescom.
That is coming
up
up
on IGN, so stick around.
Hello and welcome to Gamescom 2024. I am Simon Cardy with Matt Purslow.
I don't know, Wilbur, if you're still here, but it looks like we get more detail about the Indiana Jones game.
And I think so far, you'd be expecting from Machine Games something that has the essence of a bit of Riddick, a bit of Wolfenstein in there, which you're definitely getting in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. But I think the surprise we got is there's quite a bit of the Hitman games in this, not only in some of the stealth systems, but the way the levels themselves are designed.
Yeah, so as we know, kind of like Indy does disguise himself in the films to get into certain areas, and we're actually seeing a bit of that in the mechanics of the game. So there will be areas that are off limits, and you'll have to get a disguise, very much like Agent 47, and then you'll go in there, and there are actual enemies that you have to be wary of because they might be able to see through your disguise. And then as you're working through those areas, you've kind of got to do stuff that makes you seem like you're part of them. You might want to have to pour a bottle of wine in one instance to make sure that the Nazis don't think that you're anything more than a humble waiter.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of my favourite parts of the Indiana Jones. I'm a huge fan of the films. I just love how funny they are, especially in The Last Crusade, where Indy himself disguises himself as a Nazi, mistakenly gets really close to Hitler and gets him to sign his autograph. It's a very funny moment. Don't know if we'll get any of that quite in the game, but yeah, as you said, I like the disguise elements that we've seen so far. There's one bit where he's just...
I don't remember that happening. Is that in one of like the newer Indiana Jones movies?
Sneak into areas, and there's a good level of stealth to this game, which is kind of what I want, because the Uncharted games, which obviously inspired by Tomb Raider, which in turn inspired by Indiana Jones, very gun heavy. They kind of take the more action hero approach to Nathan Drake, whereas I kind of
what a fun circle of inspiration.
He's not a super soldier, and that's not to say that there isn't combat in this game. Outside of stealth, he does like to get himself into a fight, and I know you in particular are quite impressed by the melee system they seem to have in this game.
Yeah, so as you were saying with Uncharted,
the Indiana Jones movies and a poor explanation from my father is actually the reason that I had not eaten dates until a few years ago, because there's that moment where like the monkey grabs a plate of dates, I think in the Holy Grail, it's been a long time, and then it eats them and it dies. And the way my dad explained it is that like the dates like, were poison, and so in my like child brain I was like, oh god, dates are poisonous, and so I just never ate them. This is these level of explanations is also why I thought that Meatloaf was dead for the longest time. Like for like 15 years I thought Meatloaf was dead, because in watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, there's that scene where I believe it's Frankenfurter like oh, thank you for the follow. J General. I was trying to figure out how to pronounce. Sorry, but where they what was I gonna say? Where Frankenfurter like pickaxe Meatloaf's character to death. Teddy, I think it is. My dad was just like, oh yeah, Meatloaf died, and so my like child brain was like, Meatloaf is dead. So I did not understand that he was still alive for a very long time. I think he's since died, but I don't remember.
Finding all these historical secrets, also kind of subverting your expectations. Right at the end of the demo is a funny moment where they drop down into this tomb and you're expecting snakes, but it's actually scorpions. I mean, he's not a fan of bugs either. That's more Temple of Doom.
To be fair, having a sudden scorpion is startling. When I was in Mexico, I was at a
and it does, like, it's a cliche, but kind of does feel like you're playing an unofficial unofficial, well, almost an official film.
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Zekare, Xkare, something like that. But it has like a the best way to describe this for a more general audience that might get it is it's like medieval times where it's dinner and a show, but it's like the history of the Yucatan Peninsula, like the pre-Columbian cultures, Mesoamerica, kind of stuff, leading up to the conquistadors coming. And it
there's almost a bit of Deus Ex, if you know the modern Deus Ex when you go into cover, it goes into
a scorpion fell on someone in the middle, like on the row in front of me, and it scared the crap out of them. Which is fair. If suddenly a live scorpion lands like on your arm and starts crawling on you, you would freak out.
With the climbing, you've got a more extended period. It makes more sense of that. I hope that there's a toggle that I can switch that on and off, because quite honestly, I'd rather play the game mostly in first person. It is a game that is clearly built for first person, and I want to play most of the game that way.
Especially because like the details of some of these like levels, it's a beautiful looking game. And I kind of, I think you can.
It does look very nice. I will agree.
That extra little boost to that, I think, and seeing some of these worlds and holding the journal up in first person, it all feels very tangible. And I like when games feel tangible, and it's another way they're really like encapsulating the feel of the films. I do want to touch on the comedy of it all as well, so I do think it's going to be like that's what the Hitman side of Hitman is one of the funniest games you can play because it allows you to do funny things, and I think even in the melee combat you see like funny little like slaps and stuff like that, which is very funny, and also the way you can just pick up weapons from around the world, like there's a shovel on the floor, pick it up, hit someone with it once, and then that weapon will shatter. So you can't overly abuse that system, but it's fun little ways you can just like pick up, not anything in the world, but pick up little things and just use them, like kind of a little bit like, old Valve games would with their physics engine, just kind of making weapons from the world. And I know you saw a little bit of Valve design to it. We don't want to overhype how much design is going into this, but there is a little bit of that in there, I think.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like the providing as many possibilities within a space as possible. They did talk about how there's a lot of linear.
I've not played any of those old Valve games. I played a little bit of Half-Life 2, but I did not get overly far, and then I played Portal.
You have disguises that work for particular story sections, but then it seems like you get to keep those disguises, and then if you find
I don't think I finished it. I think I got frustrated and just kind of set it aside.
And so that combined with the
and then forgot to come back to it, which is why I don't like setting games down, because my ADD will like legitimately kill my ability to get back into it or like remember that I was playing it. I've had games, Ni no Kuni, the first Ni no Kuni game, like the PS3 is a perfect example. Loved the game. Got all the way to the last boss. It was late at night. I tried the boss, died, and I said, okay, I will do it in the morning. In the morning, I played a different game, and then got obsessed with that game, and I, to this day, never went back and finished the last boss in Ni no Kuni, which is big sad.
A lot more deeper systems than I thought maybe this game would have, and yeah, I can't wait to see more, really. Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Diablo 4 was one of last year's most addictive games. If you thought you were done, they're about to pull you right back in. Here to tell us about the upcoming Vessel of Hatred expansion.
I have only ever played like a tiny bit of like Diablo 2 ever. I wasn't allowed to have it growing up. I played some Path of Exile, but I never got too deep into it.
First off, we wanted to find a way to allow players that play specific classes to round out their builds with certain powers that you might not actually have in that class specifically. And so, like, for example, if you're playing a sword, you might want to have something a little more tanky as a part of your kit. And so Mercenaries is a really great way of being to hire and bring followers along that fit those gaps.
Yeah, there's a few reasons I love Mercenaries. I mean, I've been playing Diablo for a long time. Diablo 2 always had a Mercenary with me, obviously, in Diablo 3. So really, really excited to bring this feature to Diablo 4. I'm personally a little scared when I go down into the dungeons, so having a friend with me makes it a little bit friendlier. And like Brent was saying, being able to customize your playstyle.
It just seems like the Diablo games require just... Well, I guess this is the case for a lot of Blizzard's games. Require so much time and attention.
So I believe there are 4 mercenaries. I had the names here. Let's see what I can do. Rahir, the Shield Bearer, Sly Altkin, the Cursed Child, Variana, the Berserker Crone, and Subo, the Bounty Hunter. Yeah. And I believe you encounter them as you complete quests.
It was Dad. Also, welcome in Tame.
Can you find them
There was Monster Hunter footage earlier. This is footage from this morning during the IGN showcase. I decided against doing yesterday's stuff. I was like, let's just catch up with like today.
They're wonderful human stories for each
it was Dad that wouldn't let me get it. But I mean, it was an in-game, and I was like 10. So
you're acquiring them as you're playing through the game, is learning more about them and their backgrounds, and
yeah,
bringing that little bit of role playing into
well,
your
okay.
gameplay.
Here's the logic that I can see there. He had seen Rocky Horror and knew what to expect. He was not familiar with Diablo and did not know what to expect.
You can assign them to come in and use their special
You know?
powers under certain conditions that you define. And so you might be in the middle of combat and say that, on basic,
Like if it was a movie that he approved of, like the American Pie movies or Austin Powers, we could watch it. But like he didn't know anything about video games. So when it would come up at like, I don't know, going to like a rental store and like wanting to rent Legend of Dragoon, he didn't have a frame of reference for it.
I think that's where the customization of gameplay is really.
But that one I did get, so.
Set up where the story's going in this expansion?
Yeah, the story of hatred is a longer story that we want to
Arm
tell.
is so itchy. But anyways, how you doing today, Tane? We are finally more fully on the mend. Ash has eaten not crackers and bread for the first time since Sunday.
What sort of that allowed you to bring into Diablo 4?
Or Monday, sorry. I think whatever the little one, not the littlest one, had
is pretty amazing.
got her. I was very run down, but I never got to the level of sick that she was, but I am still very tired. But we did finish our Cornell course, so we are now not working on anything cert-wise, which is going to free up a lot of time.
And a fan favorite, the Lacunae. So that's really, really exciting. I think finding new monsters and just defeating them is a core part of the fantasy of Diablo 4. So I can't wait to see what people's reactions are to the families.
So there's a new class, Spiritborn. Any tips or tricks for people who are going to be jumping into this new class?
Oh man, this is the most experimentation that you're going to see in any class. I actually think it comes down to playstyle preference. So the tips and tricks are really based on what style you prefer.
Dude, I would love. That's another game that needs a remaster. I have it on the PlayStation 1.
I like being able to cover a lot of ground.
There was a store at a shopping center. I don't think the franchise exists anymore, but they had a copy of it, and I bought it with all of its discs.
Come up with things that even we haven't talked about.
Yeah, it's really great. Again, I think that maybe the key of this expansion is being able to customize your playstyle, and the class in itself just caters to so many different playstyles. It's kind of gross that I would say I'm a centipede player because I do not like centipedes. But
we had Hanafuda on the screen earlier as well, but we
and Brent is telling me I need to add some Jaguar into that.
Chit-chatting while playing it and watching the stuff was
specific challenges does it pose?
that was playing pretty poorly because of that, so I decided to stop.
So we talked about this a lot. There's a lot of things that are going on that, and I feel like the
what is
that we put
happening?
into place need to be discovered because part of the challenge is that we're not going to be overly.
What is happening?
So it's just know that you need to go in with somebody that you trust. Know that you need to communicate. But the game is
there it
it's
goes.
not required. But the experience is.
Yeah, we have it sped up for the interview portions because I don't feel like they're as compelling. We're mostly here for the reveals and things.
Coordinate at the same time. It's all a blast in the playtests.
Hello?
Yeah, you got to jump into Dark Citadel with 2 to 4 players. But if you don't have any friends that are online at the moment, you can always.
I think they may have had an issue because I see a lot of blue screen coming up, so I'm going to skip ahead.
On a map is tracked in the guide as well. It's the perfect system to get to 100%. IGN maps load faster with more markers than ever and are built for your phone as your constant companion to the biggest games. So start checking off markers for the game you are playing for free at IGN Maps. Today, IGN Store has it all.
IGN has a store?
You're watching IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2024. Next year, we're getting to journey into the Forbidden Lands to meet new and old monsters in the wild. See what I did there? Today, I'm joined by Rozo Tsujimoto, producer.
Hey, I think you're just in time actually for more
our wonderful translator. Hello.
Monster Hunter stuff, and you can tell me how much of an improvement some of these things are. Because they were showing some stuff, and I'm like, I don't have a frame of reference for this. Like, it looked cool, the getting on the mount.
Whether or not you have something exactly like the guild cards from previous titles is something we'll talk about a little bit down the road, but I'm sure you'll be happy with what we've done. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that makes me happy. There's more to talk about. Lots of secrets for us to discover. That makes me happy. So then let's go back to the weapons. I'm so curious if there were any weapons that were least used that you really want people to play and try out this game.
これまでの作品で使われている率が低かった武器で今回強調したかった武器とか使ってほしい武器。
I'm not in a Discord. Well, define. Am I in a Discord call? No. And I muted my notifications, if that's your question. So if you're hearing pings, that's on your side.
As you'll know, is a weapon which is great for support buffs, but perhaps in previous games it was a little hard to do decent damage output compared.
Or did you mean just about coming on to discuss?
Making sure that if you're pulling off the right moves and combos, Hunting Horn users can also be right up there in the damage output with their friends.
I'm going to say I could not get a handle on the Hunting Horn. I was awful with it. So I was the worst support player. So what's something that you took from Monster Hunter Worlds and Monster Hunter Rise into Wilds?
ワールドまたはライズの経験から生かして今回のワイルズに実装しているとかここは変えてみました追加しましたのような要素があれば教えてください。
まあ細かいところはあれですけど、まあこれは正直ワールドワイルズに関わらず、今まで作ってきたモンスターハンターのやっぱり経験であったりとか、ノウハウであったりとかっていうのはすごくやっぱりこのワイルズでももちろん生きてるところもいっぱいありますし、まあそれを踏まえて今回、入れたシステムであったりとかも仕様であったりとかでももちろんたくさんあります。
Not just Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise, we've actually looked further back through the whole series history.
I don't have it really.
How our approach was on each
Well, it might be pulled up, but it might be behind like 19 different other things right now. If I have a question, I'll ask. Like, I was curious about the They showed this really cool animation of like summoning the mount, and you like getting on it on the move instead of having to like, I don't know, summon mount, get on the mount, stuff like that. It just kind of like had this really cool looking animation.
One example is that as the series has progressed, the maps have gotten bigger and bigger.
I was curious if that was a new thing.
On your way of finding the monster, so bearing that in mind, we've added a new sacred mount, which you're able to not only get on and move faster, but it can also automatically run you towards the monster and then get you straight there in one piece. So that's one of the things we've learned from past player feedback that we've tried to improve in the new title.
That's amazing. So I can go get a drink of water and just have my mount be progressing me towards that.
Yeah, that looks cool. The fact that
I know we're able to sharpen our weapons on it, but are we also allowed to do some combat? Especially for a bow user.
I was surprised. I didn't realize that there were guns in Monster Hunter.
そうですね、すべての武器がセクレトに乗った状態から攻撃することができます。ただ、攻撃の種類自体は限られていますので、本当に時間的な効率っていうのを求めるならば、やはり地上に降りていただいてアクションしていただく形が望ましくはあります。
All 14 weapons support attacking while mounted on the sacred, not just the ranged weapons. That said, I'd call it an option that's added for when you have a chance to attack the monster on your sacred, but in terms of, DPS as it were, I'd recommend getting off the sacred and getting into the battle proper, but it's there if you want to use it, and there's a limited number of actions you can use.
Okay, that's actually amazing. I mean, I'll take the tips from the pro, so I won't just write them out and be scared. So we do see that monsters are going to be able to kind of form a herd and attack you. This sounds terrifying. Why did you decide to implement this into this game?
モンスターが群れて攻撃してくるようなシーンがあったんですけど、個人的にはすごく怖いと言いますか、なぜこういう要素を入れようと思ったんですか。
今回人間も含めたモンスターハンターの世界というのを描こうと思ってまして、そのためには少しその人間に対しても攻撃的だったり怖い部分っていうのもモンスターにはありますので、そういうところを強調するためには群れみたいな表現っていうのが、今回の技術を生かした形として望ましいなと思ったので今回採用しています。
Is there I mean, with the way that it looks like it should have multiplayer, yeah? Unless one of these is like a NPC.
So, if we give the monsters some food, is that something that could possibly make we could befriend them?
Ooh, 4 players. So if I'm in, and Ash is in, and you're in, we would just need a 4th.
So, what are the new monsters that you're very excited for players to come across?
今回、新モンスターについて、このモンスターはユーザーに注目してほしいというものが限られている中からだと思うんですけど。
まだ本当に一部しか公開してませんので、これから先出ていくモンスターは本当にさらに魅力的なものがたくさんありますが、
Oh my god. This thing is a menace. It's really cool, but it is an absolute menace. Oh no, that's horrifying.
Only revealed a few monsters so far, so I can't really talk about monsters we haven't gotten to yet. But of the ones that we've been able to talk about thus far, Ray Dahl is really exciting. You will have seen it in the trailer that we released yesterday. It's the top of the food chain. It's the apex predator of the Windward Plains, the desert area. And not only visually, but in terms of mechanics, it's a really thrilling hunt. So I can't wait for players to get their hands on it. And if you're coming to Gamescom and you're able to play our demo on our booth, that's one of the monsters you can encounter.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'll stop asking questions that you can't answer, but I do have one for both of you since we are coming up to our last and final question. I want it to be a little bit fun. I love calicos. I think they are the most adorable things ever. I wish they were real. Do you have calicos of your own at home, aka cats?
子供アイドルが大好きなんで猫が好きなんですけど、猫飼ってたりしますか、2人個人で。
僕は犬です。
トカゲです。Tsujimura-san has got a dog at home.
I legitimately thought she said, I love calicos, I wish they were real. And I was like, well, I have news for you.
Thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. I will definitely swing by your booth to play. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch us and this special Monster Hunter segment. Monster Hunter Wilds will be releasing in 2025 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. Stick around for more Gamescom 2024 right here on IGN.
We're not really here for the ads, so we're just gonna skip their in-game ads. Tane, this looks like it could be fun.
From the moment those doors open up, everything changes. And let me tell you, when it hits the fan, it ain't the Federation you're thinking of. It's those who stand together.
Extraction inbound.
Those who fall.
Okay.
Those who stay behind. So we can fight another day.
Like, I knew that they were working on a Starship Trooper game, and I was like, how can it distinguish itself from Helldivers? And it does so apparently by base building and tower defense sections, which actually sound really cool to me, as someone who loves like Sanctum and Sanctum 2.
Your part to make the galaxy safe by battling the bug menace in Starship Troopers Extermination. If you'd like to know more, you're in luck because
Or Dungeon Defenders, or like what is the other one? Orcs Must Die.
Some friends of ours. Yeah, I always travel with them. I love it. It's I feel incredibly safe. This is wonderful. Now we also brought something.
What is this Giga
I was
Brooch?
thinking we could maybe just throw it on again and maybe pause periodically, check out some, pull out some details.
Maybe it's not a brooch. I think it's a bolo tie, actually.
All right. So here, these are Starship Troopers. Is that correct?
Yeah. These are these people right here. There's a dropship coming out of here. Just I love the face masks that they've added in Starship Troopers Extermination. We didn't have that in original, but we had coming out like this. That's a plasma bug, right?
Yeah, let's kind of talk about that. There's some new bugs in the game.
Yeah, we wanted to show off some of the bugs that I guess people.
It's interesting to me that they're not showing the
was obviously the tanker bug, which
or having the music back.
People knew it was coming. It's in the movie, and that's always been a thing we've tried to push throughout development of the game. Is that you're going to get to live action role play the movie, and so if it's in the movie, you want to put it in the game. And so the tanker bug reveal was obviously a big one. Yeah, tigers we've seen before.
The tiger bugs are huge,
but obviously the big reveal now when the tanker bug unearths from the ground, the music's at a great crescendo. You really start getting the goose flesh, and obviously part of extermination is extracting safely, but sometimes someone has to stand behind and defend the base, and with the nuke, which obviously very impressive.
Good way of handling that.
Is that the walk-in trigger?
What do we call that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but with a nuke attached to it.
Nuke. Yeah. Well, that was he held the nuke. That was
Goosebumps. That's what it is.
What are you trying to do? Kill, and he goes, I'm just trying to kill some bugs. That's Seth Gilliam, who was in The Walking Dead. They named it after him. These people are Off-World is so incredible. They take the time to look at all the details, and they would add these little things that people would know to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Or go back and watch.
Yeah, basically kind of cram in as many Easter eggs as possible for the.
I've still never seen the movie. We probably don't need subtitles now that there's a translation going on.
I did. That's wild. It was so much fun. We were in there, and they'd throw something else at me, and then I'd go, hey, what if we did this? So we played when we were in there, and that was so fun for me to have people that were like, oh, I got an idea, and they go, Casper, that was great, but why don't you try this? And then I'd go, oh my God, that's even better. And then I throw something else, and I'm like, oh no, that was perfect. So we had so many different things that we added. So there were so many levels, but they already come up with the dialogue. It was so incredible. It reminded me of just like what Ed Neumeyer wrote, who wrote Starship Troopers.
And you're sort of playing like the general. You're like just commanding everybody, bossing everybody around, and then the actual.
You get your orders, and the narrative is delivered through Casper and other voice actors. But essentially, you play a trooper, and you've got your NPC kind of characters that join you. They've all got their own backstories. They've got their own kind of personalities, and you essentially go through these series of missions for what is Chapter 1, which will be available at launch. We are then periodically throughout the ongoing live service going to be delivering more chapters. Chapter 2 has already been recorded with Casper, but we'll be able to continue the story through more free DLC that comes out later.
Cool, and it's also.
I mean, if I had people that wanted to play this, I would play it with them.
That are, Casper, the general, has kind of commanded you and cherry-picked.
I don't know that I would pick up this game by itself just for me to play.
Yeah, since May of last year.
Yeah, which is awesome, and obviously, like you've got some extremely active Starship Troopers fans around. Some of them just hanging out on stage with us. What's some of the feedback you've gotten from early access, and what's the community brought to the table?
Yeah, I think people really appreciated our obvious love of the franchise and wanting to put as much of what you see in the movie into the game. I think the particular unique selling points of the game have obviously been the 16-player element. I think horde shooters, it's a super popular genre, but no one's doing that kind of 16-player element. I think other games always treat you as a hero. You very much can make a difference by yourself. But with 16 players, you have to team up, you have to work together, and so the unique roles that you play in that squad, and take it from our studio's experience with Squad, our other game, which is 100.
16 players would make this feel very chaotic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. What they do is they even benefit. You get perks if you help other people, if you're trying to help other troopers out. I mean, they've been very thoughtful in this, and it's incredible. I go out and I play all the time.
You've been streaming the game yourself, yeah?
I've been streaming it and also just going out and steaming it by myself, just going out and I go, it's General J. Rico, and people are like, wait a minute, you sound like the guy from the movie, and I go, I am. And they're like, no way.
Yeah, great for random players to just, I recognize that voice from somewhere.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, Casper, I gotta ask, there's a lot of bugs in the game. Do you have a particular favorite in the game, or just the general Starship Troopers?
Of course, I love killing the warrior bugs. I love that new tiger warrior bug, and the tanker bug has always been my nemesis. So that's been my thing. So I am so excited that this has been revealed. I've been wanting to talk about it. I've been wanting to see it, and I've been wanting to play it. And you can get on top of this bug, and you can blow it up.
You do the grenade thing?
Yeah, you can climb on it. Yeah, that's
shoot it.
It's weak point. Yeah.
And more than one person can. But I also love that they have carnage, so that the bugs start piling up here, and they don't disappear. You have to deal with the carnage as it comes. It's incredible. So the bugs pile up, and they can crawl over and get in, but you can also crawl up on them. You can blow them up. You can go through them. I mean, it's incredible. And you go away, you come back, all those bodies are still there. They don't disappear when you kill them.
That's disgusting. That's just awful. I love it. I'm very into it. I guess I'm just sort of. Can you give us an idea where
the only game that I remember would keep the bodies around is that old Shadowrun shooter that was not very representative of the tabletop game. But that that game, whenever you played around, everyone that died, like their body stayed on the map. So you'd round corners and there'd just be like a pile of bodies from earlier in the game.
It's incredible. I haven't seen it yet. I've only done the voice for it. I've heard what they've said. I'm gonna go take a look at it today.
Yeah, but it's important to allow people to have their troopers experience by themselves if they want. But also, I think for a lot of people to get them ready for multiplayer, which can be intimidating. I think for a lot of people, they want to play the single player.
This man wearing swim trunk?
Do their part. I see what you did.
Yeah, you like that. You're picking up what I'm dropping down. Yeah.
How chaotic does it get when you got 16 people just running around? Is it
Yeah, I think that's the thing. When you first started, is literally like herding cats kind of thing. But towards the end, I mean, especially when you get to the higher difficulties, everyone kind of knows what to do. They know their part. They know the engineers, whatever role you're doing, everyone knows what the medics do, the snipers do, what the engineers do.
Yeah, we were just talking about this because I've been playing. I've been going out just playing, and I'm like a newbie again. So I'm like totally a noob, which is incredible because I was an OG in the old days, but now I'm a noob again. But I've been playing, and when I'm playing, sometimes you get, you have to have your medic, you have to have engineers, you have to have a ranger, you have to have all the different people. If you get a whole team together and they all work together, cohesiveness, you can be successful. I had an incredible game I played with all these random people. We were just playing like, I can't believe you're here, and I just went in with these people that knew what they were doing. The engineers built an incredible base. They had all these.
He seems so happy to be there.
You need to get to build and get your weapons and get everything up, and then you go out and you kill the bugs. The hordes come, and you kill them, and then you have to get extracted. It's incredible.
Victory. I love it. Everybody's got to do their part. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
I'm doing my part.
For just providing backup. I love it. You can check out Starship Troopers Extermination right now by enlisting for Steam Early Access, and the full version will mobilize on PC and new-gen consoles October 11th.
Want the ultimate IGN experience? Check out IGN Plus. Members get
Out, Civ 7, and so much more, so stick around.
World of Warcraft has its 10th expansion pack coming very soon.
Oh,
August the 26th this year.
Ash
And
loves
Danger
outside Xbox.
from a new dark force. Joining us today to talk about The War Within are Associate Design Director Maria Hamilton and Associate Art Director Tina Wang from Blizzard.
We are about to have an ad. I will use that time to sneak away so that I can run to the bathroom. Ow, my face.
Well, I think that we have had, as you said, 10 expansions, and along the way we've left hints and clues and little hooks that remain that we can then pick up later and continue. And that was our goal, actually, with this 20th anniversary World Saga, is to start pulling some of those threads back together. And so it's going to feel pretty nostalgic for some folks because we have a lot of interesting things. Quite famously, there's a giant sword in the desert in Silithus. So it's not too hard, actually. There's lots of cool ideas. It's a deep mythology, and so we're able to easily find new stories to tell. But this one is a real culmination of a lot of threads.
Is it challenging to find like new stakes, new world-threatening things, or is the lore so rich that there's just hooks everywhere?
Yeah, no, there's hooks everywhere, and we've had this whole story about Azeroth the whole time. I mean, Azeroth is in many ways our main character. The world is the main character here. I mean, yes, the players obviously are, but it's all in service to our world. So it's pretty easy to always find another problem that's come up, and in this case, it's pretty epic. I mean, it's really enough story that we need to tell it in three expansions.
You're never short of like world-threatening dangers.
No.
Speaking of the world, Khazalgar is the new like subterranean region. What led you to that decision? Like, what solidified your decision to go like subterranean? Why underground?
Well, one of the key reasons was the narrative really led us in that direction, right? The world soul of Azeroth, the stabbing of the world. And so this was a location where we thought there were many cultures and stories that we truly wanted to explore. For instance, Maria was mentioning, the threads of what we've played in the past. And in terms of inspiration, one of the pieces that the art team takes plenty of inspiration from is what we've seen historically. For instance, in our expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, we saw, the beginning, we saw hints of the Nerubian Empire, but for the War Within, we thought, how amazing would it be to show them...
Oh, I've seen that. I watched this on... Oh, I got here just in time for the ad.
A neutral race, you can play them as Horde or Alliance. So how's that going to be?
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Earthen is they have been isolated from the rest of sort of civilization for a terribly long time, and they were created, in fact, to take on specific tasks. They're in three different sort of categories. There's the machine speakers that were responsible for taking care of the great machinery that sort of powers everything under Khazalgar, and probably more of the world than we know. There's the Oathbound, who are protecting the core way, which allows you to go down to sort of the center of our world, and then there's the Unbound, who
I remember being shown the
it's been a long time they've been here.
the trailer for that, the big bad guy for this season, and they look very intriguing. I had stopped playing during Legion, so I'm very behind on the lore.
There's still that rocky, crystalline, gem-studded sort of look, which is really cool for customization.
But they seemed really
There's a
cool.
lot more about that part though than I do.
And they eat gems instead of food.
There's definitely hints of their culture that we make unique to them, right? They're made of rock, so they don't burn, and they, might remineralize in these little pools, so it's really fun.
Okay, I'd like to touch really quickly on quality of life improvements. Can you tell us about warbands and how that's going to make everyone's lives easier, maybe?
Yeah, something that we really
Dalaran.
into this expansion is really meeting the players.
Does Dalaran still exist?
So now we see so many players play multiple characters. They have alts, and we really made this huge, engineering effort to make it so that the way that they play for all their different characters combines together in a way that we're calling the warband in terms of their achievements. There's a shared warband bank, and we think this will be a huge quality of life improvement for everyone.
Okay, and racing ahead, because we're so short of time, I want to talk about delves. Now these are like mini dungeons, and you can take any kind of like party, or you can play them solo. It doesn't matter what group of classes you've got with you. How is that going to work? Like, what's the difficulty pitched out for those?
Yeah, we're so excited because delves are, again, meeting the players where they're at.
Okay.
There's definitely this flexible group situation, right? So there's a different scaling difficulty. So you could choose different levels depending on the level of challenge that you want, and you could go in either solo or with up to 4 friends. And so this will be a way for a lot of players who historically have been, underserved with endgame progression to get their opportunity to feel like they're able to constantly progress week by week.
And they're super short, like what, 10, 15 minutes?
I think that's one of the key parts, is that we were trying to think of our players that don't have a big block of time to play, but they want to jump in the game. Maybe the baby's taking a nap and they're like, oh, I have half an hour. I'm gonna go run a couple delves. And then this gives them an opportunity too. Our great vault now.
I mean, that's a good idea. One of the biggest complaints about MMOs is they are so time consuming.
Can't get together with 40 of their friends, can just pop in and have this fun and then get back to what they need to do, what life is sort of requiring of them.
Like maybe 20 years ago when you started playing, you had all the time for raids, and now you've got 15 minutes of an evening to do a delve.
Yep.
Right, well, let's talk about raids though. For the people who are
So
raiding.
true,
Can we
bestie.
talk about the major raid? It's called Nerobar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will find out through the course of our main story questing about a little bit of a struggle. We've seen a video that we've put out that shows how Queen Ansarak came to power, and this is where this is her palace, and we're going to need to go in there and attempt to defeat her. So it's a very exciting raid. It's in that classic Nerubian architecture. For people that are terrified of spiders, of which there are many, we have the option to
which
turn
there
on
are
arachnophobia
5.
mode, which turns spiders visually for you into crabs.
Aww.
The queen will always be the queen.
Okay, if you can handle just like one big spider, you're
yeah.
going to be okay.
Yes.
Unless you're afraid of crabs.
In which case, stick with the spider.
She's very difficult.
Yeah, if you're, instead of being like arachnophobic, if you're like, I guess, decaphobic.
It was a mix.
Afraid of
So,
decapods.
even our internal developers, back when we made our original Rubians, there were a lot fewer polygons then, maybe. But now the art team creates models with such high fidelity that we thought, well, we have a lot of crab or crab-like things in the games. We think that this is a very
Yeah, these kind of like
feel more comfortable in the world should they choose.
AQ, I don't remember what they were actually called, but like the AQ40
in the raid.
kind of dungeons. I always thought they were really
The queen
cool.
is pretty awesome, but there is this one Nubian flyer boss who I really like him because he also shows up in one of our dungeons, but you don't really defeat him. But then in the raid he shows back up, so there's that continuity there. Yeah, yes, exactly. And there's these awesome platforms, so there's some really cool stuff going on in that fight.
All right, Maria, do you have a favorite?
I love Queen Ansarak. I think it is the most amazing fight. I'm really looking forward to having people get in there and get going, and just can't wait to see how that plays out.
Amazing, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, World of Warcraft: The War Within is out August 26th for PC and Mac. That's less than a week away, but if you need something to help pass the time until then, don't worry, there's lots more Gamescom.
Yeah, while I was running to the bathroom, I came down the hallway to tell Ash that one of her favorite presenters from YouTube was at the show. Oh god, Dark and Darker Mobile?
Battlegrounds Dark and Darker Mobile is a brand new mobile game from the developers over at Krafton. Pioneering a new genre called Extraction RPG, Dark and Darker Mobile incorporates dungeon crawler elements, a battle royale mode, and a medieval low fantasy RPG experience. If that sounds
I don't know if I would argue that
Darker Mobile global registration is available
Dark-
now and is playable not just on iOS and
I
Android
was gonna say,
mobile devices,
Extraction-
but also on PC via Google Play.
Okay, Extraction RPG, maybe.
Enjoy.
The problem is no game of Dark and Darker has ever been this fast. Like, I feel like Dark and Darker is fun for me to watch, and I've never played it, but it does seem like the pace is always kind of like a little bit kind of slow and plodding, which is fine. It kind of makes sense for these style of games, but it's the trailer, I feel like, is presenting it as being like very fast and crazy. But also, it could be that we just have the video sped up. Maybe that's warping my perception. Or did they bring back the blue portals? Last I had watched stuff of Dark and Darker, like, the escape mechanism seemed different. It was like a ladder or something.
IGN
Or a
Store
rope.
has it all. From clothes and collectibles to
We
vinyl
don't care about
records,
IGN
accessories,
Store.
model kits, and action.
The good news is their little pre-built ads are giving us a chance to kind of skip through content quicker. Oh wait, I've been to that building. The Suntec in Singapore. I went there, and when I was there, I was like, wow, there's a lot of like it's very crowded today. There's a lot of people with lanyards. It turns out that like Dota Worlds or Dota International was happening one of the days there, or like maybe all of the. Either way, Dota International was going on at the Suntec buildings in Singapore when we were there.
首先就是会考虑它就是 I can do this all day。那基于此呢，我们去设计了它很高的一个机动能力，方便它在敌人的战场和队友的战场中间就是来回穿梭，again and again。然后其次呢，我们围绕着它的盾牌展开了丰富的一个设计。然后比如说它可以。
I'm just seeing if they provided subtitles.
这些非常有意思的一些点。然后最后呢，就是它的大刀会展现它的一个领导气概，去带领队友冲向敌人，然后赢得这一场的游戏。
So this is the Marvel Overwatch style game.
We're talking about Captain American. We have the core concept of I can do this all day. So we give Captain America very high mobility, so he can run into the battlefield and then come back for to his ally for more supplement. And for the design of his he can reflect.
Something about these games, I feel like, breeds just toxic players. I feel like. No, not breeds toxic players. I feel like these games in like COD and stuff tend to have some of the more toxic people, like the higher range, like to the level of toxicity. Same thing with like League. There are plenty of non-toxic League players, but League also lends itself to having like more extreme toxic players. Also, I know I would just be stuck yelling the Hanzo like Yugo Wagateki no Korao.
Wow, yeah, okay, that's amazing. I love that they're divided. People are going to love that. Okay. So with new players and new characters, I wanted to ask, since the release is this year, when new characters do come out in each season, will players have to purchase those characters, or will they be released for free?
So we announced that all heroes are unlocked from the beginning. So it's free. Just jump in, pick your favorite heroes, and play. And that goes beyond as well. So if new heroes get added, you just play from the get-go.
Okay, wow, yeah, so with the
so I'm going to guess monetization is going to be like cosmetic then.
Will there be dailies and repeatables that will give you XP?
We did some testing during alpha, beta, and there's some response.
Because I don't know how else the game could function.
Please look forward to it. We will show a roadmap as we go closer to the launch date.
Yeah, so speaking of feedback from the beta, what was the biggest piece of feedback you got from the players?
I kind of wish I'd tried the beta, but I think I was in the middle of doing something.
Players could get, like Venom getting 150 health. So what was the biggest piece of feedback that will be implemented for launch?
So actually, the biggest piece of feedback coming out from beta is when is the next beta. That's the actual biggest one. As to game balancing in the nature of game development, we work with the community to kind of listen like what they think is overpowered, what they think is underpowered, and we'll take that working with the design team to kind of figure out via data and maintaining the fun, but balancing the game for the players. So we make this game for the players, and they tell us what they want to play.
Yeah, so you make it for the players, but I feel like also if you have a favorite superhero, you kind of make it for yourself, right? So is your favorite hero in this game, and if not, who's your favorite hero and who do you want to put into the game?
对于我们来说，我们所有的英雄，我们每个人都非常的热爱。对于开发者团队来讲，因为我们就是需要确保每一个英雄它都是足够独特且有意思的，这样子玩家在游玩这个英雄的时候，才能觉得我真正在扮演这个英雄。所以说，对我们来讲，也许私下玩的时候会有一些特别喜欢的英雄，但是你如果问我 What's my favorite? I'm going to tell you everyone.
Oh. Yeah. So yeah, just as he said, for the team, we like every hero. And we just want to make.
I thought he was saying something woman, so I was like Spider-Woman.
Also, making players feel like they are truly embodying the character is our top priority.
Yeah, at Marvel, we work with the NetEase Games team very closely. So about 70 to 75% of all those greatest hit of heroes that you might know from the movies, the TV shows, or the comics. And we throw some curveball in it for like 20% of them, and deep cut from over 85 years of Marvel history that we can pick from.
But which one's your favorite here?
My favorite's already in there.
Oh, really?
I co-created Luna Snow for Marvel back in 2019. So.
Wow, yeah, see, I didn't know that Jeff the Landshark was going to be my favorite, but he absolutely, I love so much that his sound design, he sings a little song as he goes into part 2.
Yes, it was great working with the voice actor as well on this, bringing Jeff from the comics.
I'm trying to think. I don't know who my favorite Marvel character is. I've never been like as into, like, I enjoyed the first couple waves of Marvel stuff, and I kind of fell off just because there was so much content.
ghillie suits with the little dog ears.
But I didn't grow up reading like American comics that much, so most of what I read was like Young Avengers and like The Runaways kind of
what are you the most excited for
stuff when I was in like college.
翻译啊，对，是你期待那个玩家们在上线的时候会看什么？
啊，我们希望就是首先可以肯定啊，我们上线的时候还会有比 CPT 更多的内容，包括英雄，包括地图所以我们希望在玩家上线的时候可以体会到就是大吃一惊，就我们有很多新英雄可以体验，同时呢就是还有一些新加入的协同，这些东西都可以带来非常不一样的漫威的体验，而且是独属于漫威争锋的一个体验，我们就非常希望玩家能够感受到这一点。
Okay, so when the game released, there will be more new heroes and maps, and we will definitely surprise the players, and there will be more team-up skills, and also we want to make sure that to offer this exclusive Marvel Rivals experience.
This legitimately has me thinking who might my favorite Marvel character be.
Frenemies on this. We have a very strong community, and they make new friends every day through playing this game. And I look forward to that.
I was going to say, a lot of my friends I played with, we are now enemies. So there's that whole experience. But thank you so much for adding
The Dokapon effect.
Now, Jeff Blanchard and everyone else will be releasing December 6th on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So you really don't
You thought you had friends? Psych, you have mortal enemies who you hate.
If you push too much, you might unleash the beast.
Paced RPG that delivers roguelike replayability with action-packed tactics. Collect heroes, level them up, and build a party of 3 to fight bosses throughout different dimensions. Equip your heroes with a diverse set of skills and watch as they come together to create a variety of attacks.
Good news is we've been able to make good time getting through this section. So we should be able to do the Xbox one after this.
Want a better idea of the game? Check out this trailer and dive into the world of Dimensional.
We have at most, I think, 40 minutes left in this section. At most.
When the Rift is in trouble, the only ones you can rely on are...
Oh. I like the art style. Oh wait, I've seen this on Steam. Hello, Raven. It's going well. I don't know if you saw in the Discord, but I had posted the screenshot I got that I did get that certificate, so we were able to get that all of those projects to actually work and show up, or at least enough to let me pass so I didn't fail getting the certificate. And also my wife is finally no longer throwing up, having a fever, and is able to eat more than just crackers and pumpernickel bread. So things are on the up. So today we're just kind of vibing and watching
entire Steam library of playlists, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive
we're just kind of, hey, I know that game.
You can even track your progress with designed to be experienced in multitudes of ways, and
we're just going through the sorry, the Gamescom stuff today that got shown today. We're not watching the announcements from yesterday simply because I don't have time to do all 3 videos. But if I increase the speed and if I skip their like embedded ads,
deviations and stuff like that. Absolutely, and we built our gameplay, giving you a lot of options.
We're making good time. Yeah, I'm a bit run down still, but mine's just like sinusy and tired. So I wasn't feeling super energetic to play games, but I can definitely just chit chat while we kind of take a look at the games that are coming out, kind of talk about what we think is interesting or exciting. But how are you doing? I was able to catch a little bit of your stream, but I was working at the same time.
Maybe spark their interest to research more about
so short of just like tuning in a little bit while doing projects, I kind of missed most of it.
But for players who have never set foot in the world of AR before, they're going to have a great time too. And we built our game to draw them into this world. And one thing you might notice in some of the dialogue is we have these lore tooltips. So if you see a highlighted term that's unfamiliar, you can press X when it pops up and get a brief explanation of what that is.
So I believe this, I think we missed the very beginning of this. I believe this is a Valve. The Obsidian game.
And enemies. What are some of your personal favorites, Carrie?
Oh goodness. Well, I love to hate healers because they undo all of your hard work. But some of my favorites are
That's why you kill the healer first, obviously.
Hitters, which you can kind of see with the Godless Executioner that you're seeing in this run. What I love about them is they have these really big, heavy-hitting attacks, but they're also super easy to read. So it's really fun to maneuver and dodge around them. And every time they smack you, you're like, I wasn't paying attention, was I?
So you brought up rogue as a type that you can be. Can you steal from people's pockets?
There are a few dialogue options that let you do that. This isn't a game where we have a really thorough crime system, because my goodness, if you ticked off everybody in the living lands, who do you have left? But
No, that's very fair.
Wait, okay.
I took a nap on lunch because it was my remote day, and I was like, I know I'm already tired and I need energy to be able to stream later, so I bit the bullet and just took a quick lunch nap.
I know, I'm sorry. That was a very neat question. There are plenty of other things to kill, though.
Can I kill all the harmless people? Calm down.
Can I do all the crimes?
So there are a lot of fantasy RPGs out now. There's,
Can I? Can I?
What's something that you want me to make kind of out to stick out?
I'm just queuing up the next video, since I know we're winding down on this one.
Have a whole lot of content to discover. A lot of it really is driven by the player. You can choose to stop and talk to them at party camp, or you can say, you know what, we're on my adventure and we're just going to go forward, and that's fine too. But they will all play an integral role in your story. They have skills and perspectives that'll help you understand the world and also help you get where you need to go and survive along the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So final question I want to ask, because you said there's so many endings. Is there one canon ending?
In my opinion, there's never a canon ending. It's your experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will go out there and I'll be a peacemaker this time.
Whatever ending you get, Stella, you can pretend that's the one that everyone thinks is the official canon for the end of the game.
The one time being the main character is okay. Well, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. I am very excited to see Avowed later. And yeah, you can check out Avowed for yourself when it hits PC and Xbox Series X and S on February 18th. But right now, there's more Gamescom Studio on the way, so stick around.
If only there was some sort of sign as to where we are this morning. Jane, do you enjoy Xbox?
You know I bloody do enjoy Xbox. And here we are on the Xbox booth. There's signage, there's PC games, there's mobile games, there's console games, there's your next favourite game, apparently, in that direction.
I've heard there's loads of statues, loads of photo ops in.
So I think Civ 7 might be just the...
Blown in my face. What more could you ask for?
I don't know, that's all I want.
Literally nothing else.
Skipping to Civ 7.
Getting to cosplay as Indiana Jones, I look like an absolute fool. The hat was about 4 times too small for my head. But you know what?
Yeah.
That is very funny.
God forbid, when Harrison Ford passes from this immortal coil. Maybe I'm next.
You're ready. Voiced by Troy Baker.
I would love to be voiced by Troy Baker. It's better than this voice. And speaking of which, I think people are probably sick of hearing about it by now. But I've had a list. Do you know what? Jane, it's a big booth.
It's a big booth. Big green booth.
You're watching Gamescom 2024, and we've been getting so many looks at so many cool games. But now we get to talk about the best one of all. I'm here with Ed Beach, the creative director at Firaxis Games, to discuss my personal game of the show, Civ 7.
Well, that's awesome that it's your personal game, so
yeah,
what more could I want?
I was telling you off screen that I just got into Civ 6, and now I have to relearn Civ 7, but I think that's fine.
We're trying to make it so the barrier of entry is a little bit lower than before. Civ 6 could get a little dense in places. And if you jumped in at the end with all the expansions and all the content there...
Yeah, this is the first generation where I really have not
Yeah, I'm really excited. So
participated in buying any of the new consoles. Mostly just... Okay, I've got the next video queued up. I've skipped through the 40 minutes of wait time, and then what appears to just be talking with Phil Spector, or whatever his name is. The guy that had like too many watches in that one video.
We wanted to think about that and come up with a different approach so that we could make the game more manageable, more approachable, and actually just get players all the way to the finish line more often than had been happening in previous Civ games.
Now, this is kind of a random question, Raven. I know from people I've talked to in the past that like games, specifically probably game consoles too, are very expensive in New Zealand. Is that the case in Australia as well?
After the Renaissance, the first age we're diving all the way into right now, and we have demos and so forth.
I'm just curious based on proximity.
Climate change, though, it was very personally impactful, and we got to work on that with Gathering Storm. I was the lead designer of that expansion. I looked up a lot of things about climate change, researched it, tried to, I mean, we're not a simulator type of game, but tried to get some of the things right in terms of how sea level rise works and storms move across the globe and so forth. So we brought a lot of that forward with us, and what you can see in the game right now that we're demoing with the Antiquity Age is there still are floods, there's still volcanic eruptions, we still have the storms that sweep across the map. So a lot of that Gathering Storm mechanics, ideas, whatever, that we still have those.
Okay, yeah, that's really exciting.
That is a shame, because I remember... Kane, are you here? Can you take care of that?
Adjacent, but similar. We have several different crises. The one that we're demoing right now is...
Let me look at what that is in...
Sort of imagine you're the Roman Empire and you've gotten too big and...
Is that in USD or AUD?
Barbarians are at your gate and knocking on down the door.
I'm assuming it's an AUD.
We're demoing in the build we have here right now, but we're working on other types of crises, things like unrest in your population or plagues, and some of those systems for crises...
That's crazy.
The same random event system that we use for the natural disasters.
Oh, okay. I have been very lucky and I haven't had that, so I'm going to keep crossing my fingers.
You'll hit one soon in Civ 6, I'm sure.
Oh, great. Thank you for that.
Sorry to break the news, but it's going to happen.
I think Tane is still away, probably making food. I will take care of that then.
Trying to get people to have a game that is more manageable. 4X games have the problem.
Now that's crazy.
Just your first unit, you get one city down, you think, wow, this game's great, it's very manageable.
I wonder why they're so much more expensive.
Cities and so many units to manage. everything bugs
I mean,
out.
I know you said that you have tax on
Very, very
top of
monthly
it.
chapters.
Is it like a
Very much
specific
like
tax
maybe a
targeting
long
games?
series or TV series that you might be enjoying.
Or
It breaks itself up into seasons
it's
or
just
months. So we could have like
because like we have sales tax on top of everything.
but then also
Some
the players
places do,
have a
some
chance to
places
breathe a little
don't.
bit and reset things and simplify
Different.
things, and that allows you to
It's
take
weird.
players through a
It's
long experience.
as ever. It's weird over here
Saying, oh,
because
no,
like
it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you
at
just
like
stop. So it's a nice new way to tackle that problem, and we're really excited about it.
Okay, as a new Civ player, I'm very
the
happy to see that, but for returning
states
players,
control
find this new system interesting
the sales
Yeah, the series is
tax.
still just as long overall. So we actually do sort of a
But
deeper, more immersive dive into the history of
there
the
are
stories
sometimes
and
like
some of the
federal
games we can
tax
make deeper
on
changes to them,
things
so that they
like
ultimately, maybe in our antiquity
cigarette
age, in our exploration age, like our trade systems in different
to make them more
games.
expensive to kind
So
of keep people from
money for people to get
participating in them.
dive deep in. We've recently demoed the game to
But
a whole bunch of our
also
community
some
veterans.
counties
They're really
handle the
crafting and everything. So there's gonna be plenty for everyone.
some like cities and counties handle things differently. Like I don't know, it gets confusing. The best example has always been like the dry county thing, whereas in most places it's legal to buy alcohol on the week on like a Sunday. Some counties won't sell it on Sundays. Some will only sell it afternoon, and then some will not sell you alcohol at all any day of the
Players
week.
liked that like historical storytelling and immersion, and we did allow some wackier combinations. And some of our fans love that because they love the theory crafting. I want to mix this with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super overpowered in science. But we also had to think about what those players who wanted the more historical pathway through our game. And so we've got.
I remember getting in a cab
way that both
in
theory and
Iceland,
through the game. And then you sort of have
and
to-
the
players opt into
the
that
taxi driver was
wackier,
trying to
playstyle.
ask us some questions,
Yeah.
and it was very hard because we couldn't give him direct answers on a lot of stuff because he was like, well, is it like this in your country? And it's like, well, yes, in certain places, some like kind of things.
To try those things out because those two in the Civ that don't normally go together might have
What was the
elements in
other
same part of the
really
game, and you
weird
just
one?
want to explore. Wow, what if I get really powerful and
The drug laws are also very confusing if you're like me and you're not really that into it. Like federally, a lot of drugs are
because that's amazing. So it's great to hear that kind of stuff.
illegal,
definitely more military forward.
but some states have either decriminalized or like allowed them. So like at the federal level, it's not allowed, but at the state level, it is allowed, but it
Stick with it because you want to see how it all ends and get
either possibly across the board or just medically, but not in all areas. Like there are some states where it's legal, but if you go over the border, it's illegal again.
But between now and then, stay tuned right here for more Gamescom 2024.
I just don't partake, so it doesn't super impact me, but it is confusing.
Easy to use and high-tech maps out there, period. And by high-tech, we mean it. We've recently added features like personal notes that save your IGN account and anything you dimension. It's a soul. By World of Warcraft: The War Within.
It's a really interesting time for World of Warcraft. The 20th anniversary is coming up. We have the World Soul Saga. Chris Metzen's back. This is a big deal for us. Already, it was kind of the question of how do we do something more where someone can experience World of Warcraft, something that they've always dreamed of, but they've never gotten to actually do it in real life.
Let's move.
Okay, so this might answer my question. Dalaran might not exist anymore.
What hasn't been done is a focus on a single person's experience and being able to control certain key sensory modalities.
I've not played WoW in so long.
We've flown right into the heart of the Nerubian Empire.
Normally, you're in a virtual environment with a headset, but when the world picks up and moves in
I remember being a child and being on a ride like this at Disney, where you had to like ride these like surfboards while wearing VR headset. And in my weird child brain, I was horrified and scared because I was like, if I die in the game, I die in real life. It was all a trap. They're trying to kill me at Disney World.
puffs of air at you, and then obviously the platform itself, which has 6 axes of smoke.
I don't know why.
Complete control over the way
I was such a weird little kid.
Incredibly high bandwidth, 40 gigabit connection directly into the headset, ported right out of a very powerful GPU.
Not only we recreated every single model from the game and made it ultra detailed, it all had to run in 4K and 120 FPS.
You know, we knew going in, the kind of aha moment is the tower coming down at the top of Dalaran, and then the chairs moving, you're diving down in this free fall going into the underground sewers. Like, that is just awesome. Being able to go to Ajkahet, one of the new zones, and the War Within, and really look around and see it from a whole new perspective that you're never going to be able to do in the game is really incredible. And I think that's the thing that I'm the most excited about.
Hopefully for people that are new to the game or people that are enthusiasts, they really
I mean, this does seem really cool. I'm not... I have a VR headset I was given a long time ago. I think it's so old that, like, all production on it is dead. So I've
never been a part of anything like that.
But I don't think I would pay for another one. But I do know several people that are very... that I... Oh, it's the scary hot
The fact that he
lady
managed to
from
connect it
the
all
new
as
game.
one experience seamlessly, that just amazes me.
You know, I hope that people realize that, you know, things like these, they don't happen overnight. It's a lot of passion from a lot of people. Everyone's super passionate and committed to really delivering some amazing
Yeah,
experiences. I really do hope
my
get on this thing and they're just
wife
blown, right? That's the dream.
We are now
almost threw up playing some sort of like spaceship kind of like floating thing.
Be sure to check out this one-of-a-kind
But she's prone to motion sickness. I am not.
22nd to the 25th. If you can't check out Escape from
The fact that I got motion sickness yesterday was scary to me because I was like, oh, something's gotta be wrong with me if I'm getting it, because I'm usually the person that's like, I'm spinning in my chair at like Mach 5 as fast as I can and standing up and walking away.
Make sure who'll be interpreting. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Hello, Gamescom. Hello, idea.
So I have never seen people use well, actually, we have seen a few FPSs use cards as a system, but this is the one where it really relies on that.
Oh, this is that card
shooty
shooty Valorant-y kind of game. Click heads, ruin lives. I like the like stylistic design of it.
我们的卡牌系统，它的核心点在于它要去修改整个游戏的一个规则，就是它不仅仅是去改变数值，或者是去改变一些，或者是增加一些 buff， 它是要去改变整个游戏的规则。然后我为什么能想到这一点，是因为其实我本身是一个射击游戏爱好者，但同时我也是一个卡牌游戏爱好者。我一直在想如何把这两类游戏做一个结合。然后在玩射击游戏的时候，我试图去让每一回合变得。
Yeah, she'll get sick in not like she won't throw up, but she'll start to feel. But especially my old car, which is now her car. She would have a hard time in that. Not as much in my new car, but which thankfully is fine. I was gonna be so upset yesterday if my car got messed up. I got it in like December, and yesterday while dealing with sick wife and all of the certification stuff, a rock got a rock got dislodged from a truck and hit my window, about the size of my thumbnail, and it flaked the very top layer of the glass off, but it didn't crack it. And then when I was in the store grabbing something, it came out and the lady waved me over and said, "Hey, I just watched someone pull into the parking spot, hit your car to the point that it lurched a little bit, and then they drove away really fast." I was like, but in both cases, there was either no damage or just a tiny like flake, so I'll live with it. Looks like ad break starting in just a second. I mean, I'm relatively new, Jax, and I'll always take constructive feedback, but for the most part, I'm pretty content with what I got going on. I mean, I have some panels that I don't really use. I'm not really in the market for a banner. This is kind of just a hobby for me, so we're not really buying that much stuff, but I appreciate the message.
And we love to play all kinds of FPS games, and especially for those competitive games. And in designing the Threadpunk, what we're trying to do is to provide a very unique profile to the competitive FPS.
I'm very glad, because like if I had that car for less than a year and it got damaged, especially since it's one of these things too where it's the first new car that I ever got. Like, it was a situation where my wife, and I'll tell you once the ad ends up.
So you speak about competitiveness. We do see that some cards give a very clear advantage. How will this be balanced?
就是确实这个是我们从来没有提到过的，但是同样的有一些卡片可能会带来非常强大的优势，这种平衡性上面的问题我们是要怎么解决的？
这是一个挺好的问题，这是一个非常好的问题。对，确实有些牌是比较强，有些牌比较弱，所以我们给了每张牌。
Oh, you don't have ads? Cool. It came up that ads had started, so in like October-ish, my wife, maybe it was before that, she got in a wreck, and we thought it had totaled her car, and her car wasn't great to begin with. It was paid off, which was the only reason it was still around. But we were down to one car for a while, and thankfully my boss was very understanding and let me work from home, and because we rented a car for like a week, and because she didn't have like rental, her insurance didn't cover a rental, but in renting the car for a week it was like several $100s, and the fact that it was going to take more than a month to fix her car made that not really feasible. So my boss was like, "Yo, just stay home," and I was like, "Cool, appreciate it." And but when she finally got her car back, it was worse off than it had been before the wreck. It was randomly shaking at stoplights. It would like start to stall on turns. It would just cut off sometimes. Like it had all sorts of problems, and she was getting ghosted by the insurance company and stuff. And she had like a 2+ hour commute through heavy traffic each day. Like sometimes it would be like 3 on a bad traffic day with Rex. It could be a 3-hour commute round trip. So it wasn't really feasible for her to keep that. She wasn't in a place where she could get a new car, but I was. So I got one and gave it to her. But I got like a new car because it was I was looking at it, and getting a new car was only a few thousand more than getting like a used car from last year. So I'm very protective of the car because it's the first new car, and it was more expensive than I would like. I kind of regret my decision cost-wise, but I hit 72 miles a gallon a couple of days ago, so I can't be too mad.
Can you explain why you decided to go the faster route?
I was like, yes, my car high score. I did it.
对，其实我们主要原因吧，如果说一个最重要的原因就是短 TTK 它玩起来。
Yeah, we've been lucky not to have to deal with insurance too much. I had a break-in on that same car, the old one, the year before that, and that was a bit annoying because the insurance company and mechanic kept going back and forth, saying they're supposed to take it, no, we won't take it without an order. You're supposed to take it, no, we won't take it without an order, kind of thing. But
when we're developing these mechanics, actually we have tried the long TTKs, but however, although it will give you more time to to deal with your enemies, but we don't think that it's a good idea.
I'll have to ask Depdog what he thinks of, if he's seen this or what he thinks, because he plays a lot of Valorant, and this seems like it's that kind of game, like the fast TTK kind of click heads, kill people kind of thing, which I've never been a particularly active player of. Yeah, it got sorted out. It's, again, I kind of lucked out in that my boss was like, yeah, whatever, just stay home.
Alright, well, I guess you're going to find out if you can actually be the one to clutch it. You can wishlist Fragpunk on Steam or Xbox Series right now, and stay tuned because there's more Gamescom Studio coming up. But right now, let's go ahead and check out these trailers.
So this section is almost done. We have, it says 7 minutes, but we are sped up to 1.5, so that takes a third off. So probably like 5 minutes, and then we'll transition to the second part of today's videos, which will do the same thing. We will skip through ads. We will have it sped up to 1.5 to try and speed it along. Just because time zone wise, these videos come out when it's like 8 or 9 in the morning for me. I think the second half comes out at 2, so I can't really like do it when it's first coming out. I gotta kind of revisit it afterwards, which is fine.
Hey, my name is Justin Miesch, lead game and level designer for Project Z Beyond Order. Project Z is a thrilling first-person zombie shooter with robust character progression and weapon customization.
Is it?
Set around World War II, you will take on fast-paced missions as one of 4
No, I'm thinking of Project Zomboid. That's the one that was a board game. It is now like a survival-based building kind of game.
Breitengrad 77, controlled by Colonel Walter, the villain in our alternative world. You start together in the Hideout, a central hub in the game where you can accept missions, buy, sell, and customize weapons, as well as upgrade your character. But that's not all. You also have the option to design your hideout according to your preferences along with your friends, provided that you found enough resources and blueprints during missions or in free roam mode. We have also put a special emphasis on adding weapons and attachments.
Also, Raven, I think this is the first time you've gotten to be here since the PNG tuber came out. I hope you like it. I think it was very cute. I was very excited.
Project Z will launch on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, so wishlist the game today and follow our social channels for all the latest Project Z news.
We've also got new frog emotes at the subscriber level.
The next roguelike strategy FPS from the team here at Blue Manchu.
Okay.
13 Outlaws feature unique weapons and abilities that can all be improved through the use of
I'm intrigued. You've said several of the words that I like. Unique and roguelite. And it's got kind of a quirky art style. So those ones are the ones that I made in Canva by myself. But we also have, let me see.
The majority of aces you discover let you choose one of 3 special traits to level up your output.
These guys. Let me.
So
I'm gonna put the animated ones up there. Oh, you know what?
Let's take a look at Preach. So
I think one of them's still missing. One of them's still going through approval. But yeah, we got these like cute little animated ones that I commissioned.
And there's a bit of spread on the fire, so you really have to concentrate on enemies.
They also have non-animated variants as well. Oh, my wife would love that hat.
So Preach is going to recover 100 health, and she's also going to give her partner 100 health after a showdown.
You need them all.
Brimstone is great with its burning damage. Sharding, so that now she gets explosive damage as well on each of her bullets. Powered Gatling to reduce that spin-up time we looked at earlier. And lastly, just to focus on the damage, I'm going to go with Shooter Plus to give me 40.
I wish there was a way to keep this pinned message between streams. It looks like it has to disappear once the stream ends, which is a shame. But I did. Oh, Raven, thank you. I appreciate that. I too love frogs. I'm very thank you. I'm so prone to randomly taking pictures of frogs that I find and moths. I think if I ever give this character wings, I want to give it some sort of like Luna moth wings instead of like angel-y wings or like devil-y wings. You gotta catch them all, man. I appreciate the subscription. You didn't have to do that.
At the same time? Yes. Yeah? Alright, well then check out Gamescom Epics. Prove your nerd know-how, solve tricky puzzles, gather the digital trading cards.
So this is the last of the trailers. So, just a sec.
Search for Gamescom Epics or scan the QR code on the screen and the adventure can begin.
I can't wait. And if you need something to look
Let me make sure this shows up
forward to,
correctly.
tomorrow we'll be sitting down with the folks behind
Yes,
Indiana Jones
okay.
and the Great Circle, plus checking in on the massive
Let's
new sequel, Kingdom.
kill this. We will bring it up.
Michael Jordan. So let's have a look.
I hope you get to spam those around, because I was super happy with the person that made them. I do need to tell Elvira, I do need to tell her that who I used, because she had asked, and I said I would wait until I got them back to make sure that I liked them first. A game for Rex, but he's probably not here. What is a sand? I'm gonna have to look it up. It's funny. Oh. Oh.
Hello, everyone. It is an honor to be here at Gamescom, representing the incredible work of our teams around
I
the
know
world.
this
We have a
frog
lot
from
going
a
on here in
meme.
Cologne on the show
Hold
floor.
on.
Right here behind me, attendees can experience the demo for the Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred expansion. We are also excited to be speaking with our
Like
global
I've seen the
community here
video
on the
of
Xbox
it
broadcast over the coming days.
just like
During Opening
squeaking,
Night Live, we
but
shared this
there's
massive year for Blizzard,
there's
particularly for World of Warcraft. The most ambitious creative endeavor for the team since the game's initial release almost 20 years ago begins tomorrow, with early access kicking off for our latest expansion, The War Within.
There's a
And
streamer
tomorrow, Senior
that
Game Director Ian
Tane and
Haskosis
I
and Associate Art
watch.
Director Tina Wang will be sharing more about the team's work on the expansion and the role it will play in the 3-part World Soul Saga.
And
Last night,
someone
we also gave an overview of some new features coming to Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. And we know you have a lot of questions. So Diablo General Manager Rod Ferguson will be getting into the details of the new features coming with this expansion, and we'll share more about what's coming to Diablo Immortal.
Tane,
We're
do you have the
excited
link?
To be here at
Are you
Gamescom
here?
with Xbox and with all of you. Gaming is at its very best when we share our experiences, and on behalf of everyone at Blizzard, thank you for being a part of our legendary world alongside us. Now, before I go, I want to leave you with a parting gift from the Overwatch team. The origin story for our latest hero, Juno, now available in Season 12. Enjoy.
Flight, we're wondering why you haven't fired primary boosters yet. All systems...
I'm trying to find the clip because it was so good.
It is so hard to say goodbye to the only home I've ever known.
I understand, but the colony isn't safe anymore, and our window of opportunity is closing. So let's get you on your way to your new home.
Next stop, Earth.
Aw man, if my cousin was here,
Boosters in 3, 2, 1.
I'm certain he'd have quick access to
Our
the
sensors
link.
indicate an external issue.
External?
Follow protocols and you'll be fine, but you have to hurry.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna pause this real quick because you brought up the sand frog thing. This is a streamer that my cousin and I watch from New Zealand named Ghibli. and he makes some very funny sounds and noises, and someone kind of put him over a viral video of the sand frog, and it was so good.
But sometimes
This is his friend Justin
sounds grab our attention.
watching the video. Hello.
Like this desert rain frog. Squeaking viral sensation. 11 million hits and counting. It sounds like a dog toy.
Justin!
But actually, this is the
hold on.
sonorous war cry of a very...
I just realized I don't think it's showing up because I'm not... Okay. Okay. I know what the problem is. I'm smarticle. I can do this. I have way too many IT certs to be blocked by this. Okay. It wasn't in the window that I was capturing. There we go. Okay.
Sometimes more unexpected sounds grab our attention.
Hello.
Like this desert.
Whoever made this was a creative genius who needs to be paid more money.
Sensation. 11 million hits and counting. It sounds like a dog toy.
Justin!
This is the sonorous war cry of a very angry frog. Ferocious.
I'm gonna fucking throw up! Yeah, whoever made that deserves money. Someone give them money.
All of you.
I like the art style in this game.
Copy that.
I wasn't paying attention. I was so focused on finding that video. That would suck.
Panic. You're okay.
I am definitely not okay.
I mean, you probably would have been okay if you used your other, like, you've got one rocket boot and the backpack,
I
right?
believe in you. You've trained for this kind of thing your whole life. You have all the tools you need.
Hello.
Okay. All right. I have all the tools
Pizza.
I need.
It looks like they do free delivery.
I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and do it if you can try and find a pizza that I'm not allergic to.
Yeah, sure.
Control. Problem solved.
Also, say hello.
You're that? We're all so proud of you. I want you to live a long, happy life on Earth, sweetheart. Always remember.
We're having pizza. Let's go. Mom's making chicken strips.
I love you too, Mom.
Making chickies. They got buffalo chicken pizza.
Here I come.
Barbecue chicken pizza.
They be careful with the buffalo chicken. They often some places put bacon on it.
Help you approach and identify yourself.
It is too late to halt.
And I'd rather not be the one throwing
It
up.
says includes ranch sauce base, fried bread, chicken tossed in
I am tracking your entry and will have someone cheat. For my records, where'd you come from?
I am from Mars, and my name is Juno.
Oh, it's an Overwatch.
It's one of the fastest selling games in Blizzard's history, and it just made headlines again at last night's opening night live. And here to give us an exclusive look at Diablo 4's
I
newest
have never
expansion,
played
please welcome
Overwatch
General Manager
2.
Rod Ferguson, Systems Designer Nathan Hall,
I
and
remember
Game
it being
Designer Rex Dixon.
contentious.
Welcome guys to Gamescom.
Thank you for having us.
How you guys all doing? Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Now, for those of the people out there that might have missed,
We
what
do
happened
have
last
some
night, well,
interesting
just clue
pizza
us in.
choices.
What exactly did you just do?
So
Yeah, well, last night was exciting.
here's
So
the
our
thing.
game director for the
I
Wrestle
can't
Expansion,
eat
Brent
pork,
Gibson, got on
and
stage
a
and he
lot
talked
of
about
places
something that we've been going
here
even deeper on the expansion. We've talked about this. We were
really,
in class, we talked
really
about the new zone,
love
Nahatu,
to do
talked
like
about the new story campaign,
pepperoni
but like
and
there's even more in the
sausage
expansion
and
than that.
ham
And so we
and
really
stuff
want to
like
get into
that.
like different ways
So we
that
have to
people
kind
wanna
of
play
think
the game.
outside
And
the
so we've
box.
introduced
There's a
Undercity
place
for
that
Us,
has
which is our
Thai
new dungeon, which
pizza.
Rex will talk about. We have
But
our new
it's,
Dark Citadel, which is our
take
multiplayer
home,
co-op,
so
and then
you, like,
the
pick
big
it
thing
up
was our
and
trailer
make
last
it
night
at
for
home.
our mercenaries.
Mercenaries. Now, let's talk about them for a sec because this is a brand new gameplay feature.
I mean,
We'll
the
talk about
buffalo
new
is
classes, all that kind of
fine
stuff
with
in a sec,
me if
but
there
Mercenaries
is
seems
no bacon.
really interesting. You showed off like this vignette with 4 different characters. I mean,
But Raven was nice enough to subscribe because she wanted the frogs, the
Oh.
frog emotes, which was very
introduce
nice.
us to them. Who are these people? Why do they feel like the right time?
Why is the video free?
Acquire them, you can bring them into your party with you, and essentially
I mean,
facilitates a way that solo players never have to feel like they're alone again, because now they have this friend, this partner who can adventure with them. And so one of the ways that you progress your merc is you have each merc has their own skill tree, and you can sort of pick and choose
it's not your friend
skills you want them to have.
I do not
and it's a really
think
nice
your
way
friend
to complement your
Raven
build. So whatever build you're trying to go with, you can have the merc set up so their skills kind of match and overlap with your own.
She thought you were her friend Raven for a second.
The more you adventure with them, the more they can sort of give you more benefits and they can then grow in power. And so once you go back to the merc den, you can actually get custom rewards that you can only get by progressing your merc, building up
now I've
in
lost
order to access these really awesome rewards at the end.
And then, so I'm going to have to be best friend with the demon child if I want to see the good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm in.
And then this last feature we have is called reinforcements, where let's say you don't
When
want to have a merc in your party
we
all the time. You can
maybe
actually
you'll
say,
know the name
when I
of
use
this,
skill
but
or
she
perform
says she
an event or something
misses
like that,
you
I want this
too.
reinforcement to jump on the
When we were in
perform an action and jump back
Australia,
out again.
we
There's a lot
I
of
was
depth,
eating
a
a
lot of fun,
sandwich
it's a
and
great
some sort
storytelling
of
in the merc feature.
corvid, like a black and white looking
Raven
bird swooped in and stole a sandwich out of my hand, which was so funny. But I don't remember what sort of bird it was. It was like some sort of pied something.
There wasn't enough on screen already.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, have you got any particular favorite mercs that you like playing alongside?
For me personally, Rahir, because Rahir's a dad, and his daughter is introduced in the campaign flow, and so I kind of like associate myself with him because I'm a dad as well. I got
I'm
two
surprised
boys.
you're customizing it.
But
You're
also,
usually pretty like
I have a
bog
problem when I
standard.
play Diablo. I'm always specking into damage and DPS.
That's
at the expense of my
wild.
defensive skills. And so Rahir has this buff called resiliency, which actually increases your armor, increases your defensive buffs. And so I actually rely on that to stay alive.
It would take me too long to find Raven, but when I was in Argentina, I found a insane pizza that I had to take a picture of. I didn't order it because I think it would legitimately kill me. But it was called the American Pizza.
I mean, the Demon Child. I think it's such a unique character in our world, and that explosive power, and the fact that it has the sort of two sides, the human side and the demon side, is really cool to sort of complement the the variety on the battlefield.
Okay, well you picked three. I'll take the one left over.
Subo.
Yeah, I'll pick Subo.
I mean, who doesn't love a drunken archer, really? I mean, that's
exactly. Thank you. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. But now, as promised, why don't we cover some behind-the-scene looks at the making of Diablo 4: National Hatred?
Do you want a large pizza or do you want a...
Since you're paying, I will get a medium.
In Vessel of Hatred, we travel south to Nahantu, a region with both deep ancient jungles and vast sprawling plains. It's the last stretch of land in Sanctuary's eastern continent, and we packed
the
it full
buffalo
of
is
experiences for every
fine
type
as
of
long
player.
as there's no bacon.
In this expansion, there's
I'll
a whole lot to
probably
explore
add
under the
additional
dark
hot
canopy of Nahantu.
sauces or like spices to it anyways.
Nahantu is the southernmost region of the eastern continent that Diablo 4 has been taking
so
place
the
in.
American
It's the last
pizza,
region that we haven't
as
visited
found from
so far in the game, but it is something
Rotisserie
we've been to
Lo
in Diablo.
Rotisserie Lo del
We have 6 in
Gordo.
total. 4 of them are jungle themed, and then we have 2 that are
American
Red Rock
pizza,
Canyon. Each
ham,
one of them has their own unique
mozzarella,
identity. When you
French
first arrive in
fries,
Nahantu,
8
you're in this
fried
place called
eggs,
Lingering
olives,
Hatred.
and
This is a
bacon.
high treetops canopy, so you're almost walking amongst the branches high up the jungle floor.
Imagine a thick canopy that the light is just
Oh,
barely
I would
filtering
eat
through.
a
The whole
butter
area has
chicken
been
pizza.
infected by this thing called
Yes.
the Hollows infestation. The Hollows are a new enemy that's associated with Mephisto. They themselves
I
are
mean,
kind of
do
like a
whatever
tar-like
is most
substance
cash
creature born
appropriate
straight
to
out of the depths of hell.
It feels a little twisted. There's a sickness to the area itself.
Humans have ventured into this deep part of the jungle where there's all this poisonous plants and flora. The dregs actually started experimenting with eating these hallucinogens, and it put them into this aggressive cycle.
I did not order
Dregs are
that,
pretty fun because
but
we
it
were
was
able to
so.
push more variety
This
in
was
the
one of
monster
these
family. You have
cases
one of
where
these
it was
tall
like I
dregs,
didn't feel
and then
like
half of a body of another drag on top of it,
going
kind of controlling it and telling it where to go and tossing
but I
poisonous bombs
wanted
at the player.
food,
When you come across it, it's very
so I just
memorable.
ordered
And then we've
food
also got the
at
area
whatever the like
Tengazi, where you've
Argentinian
got the Tengazi
equivalent
Plateau,
of
which is full of these red rocks, plateaus, and
like
canyons.
Uber Eats was.
Imagine getting a land. Those gigantic walls have pockets inside. where
Which was like
monsters live.
Desayun
It offered up a lot of
something, I don't
opportunity to bring
remember.
back a monster
Or
family like the Lukunai.
We're bringing them back in a new way here,
I don't
a fully
remember
fleshed out
anymore.
monster family
But,
with multiple classes.
What a more brute force looks like, what a caster looks like. They are very much apex predators.
It was
and we're
one
definitely
of these
in their
cases where it's
territory.
like I was just kind of
And then
looking
there's a little
around
sub-area called Skittering Earth.
The name alone makes
really
your skin
quickly and
crawl.
happened to
bug
see that.
infested,
I
and
think
you can
I
see how
ended up
bugs
getting
have
something
destroyed
called like a
the jungles and kind of
fugazeta
input
or
their
something like
influence on
that,
it.
which
And
is
in the
a
Field of
very
Giants,
onion
you have
heavy,
these
like
giant corpses
thick,
of these long-dead
fluffy
demons
pizza.
that humans have begun
Like
to
very
mine away
crunchy
at
on the
for their
bottom,
resources,
very doughy
while
and
they've got a lot of
fluffy
use out
in
of it,
the
but also
middle,
toxic
and
to the
then
land
like
around it.
just
The
a
notion
metric
of
ton of
massive
onions and
demons
butter.
walking sanctuary 1,000 years ago is really thought-provoking.
Plateau's also got just this beautiful
There was a
color
lot
scheme
of
to the
pork down
lighting.
there.
It's really lovely to
Made
be
it
there.
tricky.
And then horrific.
I
at the
figured
same
being
time,
able to
it's
look it up on the app was easier than trying to
The
get
mercenaries in
by with
Vessel of
my broken
Hatred
Spanish
are a group of people who
to try and
we like to
explain that I
describe
can't
as
eat
ordinary
pork.
people with extraordinary skills. They have the same level of will to fight against the demons of hell.
And there's 4 mercs that you can collect over the course of the campaign.
no, I'll
Starts
just
with
have a
Rahir,
sachet.
a blacksmith and a shield bearer, is a more defensive fighter.
He's able to go in there and soak up damage, use his shield as a bulwark against the enemy.
You meet him early on in the campaign, and he's one who introduces you to the mercenary network. You end up finding acquisition quests quest for 3 other mercs that you can find throughout the course of the story.
Subo, the drunken archer, is going to work
I was
really
gonna say,
well
that's
for
not
people
that
who want
crazy
someone
for
who's out with the main
takeout
melee,
pizza.
in the back, offering utility and that kind of range support.
And we have Ariana, a Berserker Crone, who's a melee combat fighter, close range, a really cool combat meter, a massacre meter where you need to keep killing enemies to get the meter to be filled.
It's got a bunch of really interesting utility skills that you can kind of build in.
Finally, we have the Demon Child Alkin, who's a magic user.
I mean,
who can
if
transform
you
himself
need
from
mine
human
to
form
be a
demon
cheese
form
pizza
and
just
join
to
you in
make it
combat.
cheaper, I don't
There's this
care.
really great
I'm adding my own
reinforcement ability
spices
where
to
you
it
can
later
take one of
anyways.
the mercenary skills and attach it to one of your powers so that when you use
No, I
that skill,
don't really
it pulls
care
them in
either
to do a specific skill.
With the mercenaries for Vessel of Hatred, one of the things we are expanding on is the skill
just
tree.
change to a
For
cheese.
Diablo
I don't
3, we
really
had a
care
very
that
basic
much.
type of mercenary.
I
This time
wanted
we
them
can actually
not.
push a little bit
As I
more
said, I don't
into
really
the
care.
skill tree and make the mercenary.
You can
the way
make it a
would wanna
cheese
play.
and I'll be
Going through
perfectly
each
happy.
mercenary progression arc and outfitting their skill
Because
tree so
I'll
that it's
just add,
complementary to your
the
character
ghost
build,
pepper stuff
I think that's where the
downstairs,
fun in the mercenary system really lies.
The Dark Citadel is a new in-game feature that's coming in Vessel of Hatred. It's an entirely cooperative player experience. All the mechanics within it are based around you working together with your party members to solve the challenges and face the first Khazra hordes within.
One of the outcomes of the Mage Wars is this giant crater and all the souls that were kind of lost in it from those wars.
The goal of the first Khazra, who are kind of the original Khazra, they're using the powers within the Citadel found within this crater to perform experiments to try and bring back their Dark God.
Only recently, people have started going missing. They head into the Khazra region, they disappear, never to be seen again. So it's clear that whatever they're planning is about to come to fruition, and your job as the players to get in there and stop it.
Citadels are a place where we take what is the best part of Diablo, combat, and we test it in a
I
different
think
way,
what's
which is adding
skewing
in
the
cooperative
opinion on
mechanics
pizza
that you have
cost
to manage
is
on top
that
of that.
your
For
usual
example, a boss has an
favorite
attack.
is
As a player, you have to collect an item that allows you to
Little
reflect the
Caesars,
attack back at him.
and
So there's a
their
little bit of a
pizzas are
Twitch
very
level
cheap.
mechanic there. We actually have to time your reaction
Yeah,
shot. What's interesting about it is we get
no,
multiple
that's
people in there.
fine.
We're
I'm
each
just-
responsible for reflecting that shot at once. So we all have to sort of master timing of that move.
Like,
You can't do that kind of thing without coordinating as a team, and that's sort of the example of what Citadel
Little
gameplay
Caesars
feels
pizza are what, like
When designing the
$5 or
Citadel, we
something?
designed a lot of really cool bosses. And so one of the
Is
things
that
that we
accurate?
did is we took that design and made like
How
armor
much
sets
are
for
Little
each of the
Caesars
classes.
pizza?
That way
Aren't
you
they
feel like
like-
you took their armor and you feel like you're
Yeah,
winning a
$6
little bit
is
of them
very
after your
cheap for a
victory.
pizza.
We also have a currency that's dedicated to Citadel, where as you play through, a vendor can be interacted with to buy custom cosmetics that are unique to the Citadel. You can play with 2 people, but the ideal experience is for 4. In order to facilitate that, we've built an all-new Party Finder feature, and the community has been pretty vocal about wanting this for a long time. It made a lot of sense to us to pair it with this new Citadel mode.
It really is an activity that's geared towards people who love to play together with their friends or with strangers and enjoy that cooperative gameplay. I cannot wait for players to get into the world. I'm really just excited for people to see all
I'm trying
the
to think
hidden
if we had to
storytelling
do
elements
pizza
that
while
the
we were
teams
out
fit in.
there.
So it's interesting
This is one of these
things to find and see and
situations
discover around
where
every
we were
corner,
out
and it's
there and
just
I was
a
like,
really
I'm
great
gonna eat
experience
a
getting to
ton of
explore and
seafood because, I mean, we were in what's the name of that island? Hamilton Island.
Party Finder, that is
up
a
in, like, the
fantastic
Whitsundays.
idea. I mean, the amount
So,
of times I
I mean,
log
they
on
had
and
a
everybody's not there, or now I feel
lot
that
of
happens.
seafood
Who needs friends anymore, right? So, there was a lot in
Since
that.
I don't
want
get to
talk
have a
specifically
lot of
first
good
about
seafood
Dark Citadel because
very
of
often,
guidance
I'm
into
like,
his
yep.
in-game activities. That's a really creative way to
Trying
bring
all
players
of the
together
things that I've never
and actually
had
work things out. So
before,
tell us what
and,
actually will players
as
have
much
to do
seafood as I
inside
can
Dark
get.
Citadel to earn some rewards, get through it alive.
So it's really a unique model for us. And again, Dark Citadel is built towards endgame, and we're doing more in Vessel of Hatred to push players through the campaign and then into the endgame, where we think some of the best content is. So Dark Citadel will require at least 2 players to get through, and requires a lot of communication between players
I saw
to overcome
some
challenges.
crazy pizzas when I was
Every
in
week there's going to be
Japan,
updated
and,
rewards, so there's always a reason to go back and do it
Guam
again,
and
because there's going to be
Saipan.
some new stuff in there, including one very big fan-requested feature, which is our scroll of retempering. So no more brick
yes.
items. You'll be able
thank you.
to
But
apply the scroll
I
and
didn't get to
all
try them.
retempering
When we tried to
tokens on
go
that
to the
item.
pizza
So
place
I
in
know everyone's
Guam,
very
they
excited
were
about that,
closed.
and Dark Citadel's the best place to
But
go.
they had
and
like
get that.
sweet potatoes
Well,
and
there
it
is
was
a
like
lot in that, but
Asian
it isn't the
pizza, so
only
like
thing
hot
that
dog
you're launching
crusts.
on October 8th, so what else we got to look forward to?
Yeah, so
Tuna
on October 8th,
mayonnaise
we're also going to
pizza.
be launching Season 6 alongside Vessel of Hatred. And Season 6 is going to have a ton of content that's bespoke. It's totally separate and unique to Season 6, and it's going to be free for all Diablo 4 players, which is awesome.
Nice.
We're going to be talking a lot more about the details of the content of Season 6 in the coming months, but there's not going to just be new content coming in Season 6. Alongside Season 6 and Vessel of Hatred, we also have major character progression updates coming to Diablo 4.
I'm going to have to ask for some specifics, surely. That's teasing too much. What else you got?
Yeah. So if you're familiar or you've played Season 4 Loot Reborn, you know we did a lot of itemization changes that kind of fundamentally altered a lot about how you're playing the game and how you're getting rewards. The scope of the character progression changes that are coming in Season 6 are it's the same. Like, it's the same grand scale. There's a lot of changes coming to character progression, a lot of improvements coming. I'd love to talk a little bit about the goals and also a little bit about some Paragon changes that are coming with character progression updates.
Website,
yeah,
I'm
so
not as surprised
really when
about.
we were thinking about these changes, we took a bird's eye view
Because,
and
I
wanted
mean,
to think about how can we make
like Wix or
the
other
power in the player's hands of how they want to interact with the challenge that Diablo 4 provides in the game.
I would be surprised if they had their own
to
custom
your challenge
app.
level that you're comfortable with, so that you can set your own pace in any activity throughout all of Diablo 4. And so we've applied basically, you know, if you've played Season 4 Loot Reborn, Reborn, or you've played some in Season 5, you might be familiar with the Profane Mind Cage. That's an item that allows you in the Helltides to up the level of the monsters, up the difficulty, but you get more rewards as well. And we've kind of applied that philosophy throughout all of Diablo 4. You can kind of opt into your own challenge and then get more stuff because of it. And then alongside that, we also have a lot of changes coming to Paragon. We wanted to add depth and choice to the Paragon system, but we know that it's pretty daunting for some people, right? So we wanted to make sure that while we were doing that, we weren't increasing the complexity, right? We want to make sure that it's still very, that it's an approachable thing, but there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. And I could go on forever and ever and ever about this for hours, but we're going to have a lot more details in a developer live stream on August 29th. We're going to have a campfire chat where we're going to be talking all about the specifics of these things.
Awesome. I'm absolutely buzzing to see it. I mean, the best way to phrase it is like what Season 4 did to loot, Season 6 will do to progression. Excellent. And the thing too, but just go back to the party finder, there's things that people look at, like what's part of the expansion, what's not. Party finder is coming to the game, not just for the expansion. So, and what's great about it is not only can you access it through the social menu that you can see, or you can access it through your remote wheel, you can actually access it from the map. So when you say, oh, I'm going to go do this dungeon, you can say, and list it as a party that people can
I'm going to let you finish, but that's definitely
it's a feature that's going to apply to the entire game. Excellent.
And not in the Dark Citadel, we have another mode that we're bringing to the table.
As someone who played WoW, and one of the expansions is literally Wrath of the Lich King.
That mode has modifiable rewards.
That was
things called tributes, and depending on which tribute you use, you can modify and scale your rewards with the difficulty. It's a really cool mode. We're really excited. One of the reasons we built these two modes is this concept of new ways to play. Right? People love our game. They love Nightmare Dungeons. They love Whispers. They love Helltides. But what we really want to do is make sure we have
surprised because we're like, wait, your dad nixed the idea of playing Diablo, but was okay with Rocky Horror at like age 10.
Really fun in Infernal Hordes in the current season, for example. And being able to tailor exactly how messed up we want this level to get is really fun. So the fact that it's getting applied to more aspects of Diablo that's awesome to hear. But between now and the Season 6 launch and Vessel Hatred, what other activities can players get up to whilst they wait?
I mean, really,
had no.
Season 5,
well, I was gonna say he has no frame of reference for Diablo or like the video games,
really fast,
but he's seen Rocky
Infernal Hordes is a great new mode.
So he knows what the most objectionable thing that can happen
is. Coming after you can go
and he can control if it's on screen.
But that's really the big thing. And just even if you haven't played through the campaign yet, that's one of the nice things about
a game and he's not watching it. It has no frame of reference.
It is a continuation of that story. So we're now left at the end of the game. So you can pick that story up and you get to continue and play. So if you haven't played through the campaign yet, now's a great time. And I would be, I have to also do the pitch, right? Like, it's an awesome time to pre-purchase the expansion. One of the things we had some great incentives before, where you get the new cat mount, you get new armor, you get pets now, you have Snow Leopard and the Tiger that'll follow you around and pick up stuff for you.
These are just games that take up so much.
Not only do you have Angel Wings that we had before,
time
we added
and
Demon Wings last night. So if you've already pre-purchased, Demon Wings are coming over there. But it's a good time. And then we actually added with the Deluxe and the Ultimate Edition, we've actually added 1 month of Ultimate Game Pass. So if you haven't jumped in yet, or if you want to add another month on your subscription, pick up the
what kind of
I already got my code last night.
What toppings did you get?
Back to my hotel room
did you get the
I
think you said it was a butter chicken pizza.
In between Diablo and
is that possible? I don't know if that's possible.
That's true. I mean, I've already put in quite a few hours into the current season, and yeah, it's so much fun as is, and I just can't wait to see the Season 6 drop as well, and Vessel's looking at great new class as well. I mean,
thank you so much.
I don't know what else I'm going to play in the meantime. You guys have just killed all my free time.
Well, it's great. One of the nice things is we have a demo deck on the booth here. We have the whole Hantu corrupted, temple, and it's actually got a 20-minute demo of the Spiritborn. And what's great about it is you go in and you can pick whether you want to be a gorilla type or a centipede type or a jaguar type or an eagle type based on the Spirit Guardians. But then when it sort of clicks in after you played it for a little bit, like, wait,
what is a
4 different classes?
Type?
This is one class with this amount of variety that I can apply to it. And so you can go in and double down on the jaguar, like my shirt says. Like, if you can be a jaguar, be a jaguar, right? Like, but you also can be, you can mix and match. You can be half centipede, half gorilla.
You should definitely take a picture of that and put it in the Discord because I would love to see
people get their hands on. It's the first place that
because it sounds very good. The Thai pizza we get has like
half centipede and half gorilla.
What's the other one?
We need to talk about that.
Zucchini.
Thanks so much for joining us. Changing gears now, though. We are, for those of you who have been counting down the days to September's Diablo Immortal major update, we've got
peppers and onion and chicken and like Thai like chili sauce on top. But there's only like one shop that sells
unspeakable horrors that you are fighting.
Our boss experiences aren't something that you can get in any other game.
We are giving players this heightened sense of horror.
We have to deliver the player with experience that they are the hero.
I think the spectrum of bosses that we have definitely hit everybody's personal horror stories.
So we're at like 50 bosses now. Some of our bosses in Immortal are incredible.
The Diablo game's supposed to be like scary.
Have the ability to bring Diablo back into
like I get that they have like a lot of dark subject matter and that's why they're in.
Unnerving, terrifying.
It is going to be a very,
but
very
they're talking as if it's going to be like a horror, like Dead by Daylight kind of experience where you're gonna like actually get scared.
It's usually quite organic.
It really depends on the boss. Sometimes it starts with a cool mechanical idea. Sometimes it starts with a narrative journey.
The story team is going to have a lot of say in terms of like what is the fiction behind the boss, and so what's the feel behind the boss.
In some zones, we are going to lavish incredible deliver
has that been you the last couple days?
In Tristram Cathedral, before you fight Albrecht, the first Shardborn, there's a whole quest line that has you exploring the ruins of Heorot Manor and learning about
the funny part is you don't have any of the sound, so you have no idea what's happening.
Kind of a richness to the
you just see the weirdness.
To you.
It doesn't change anything. It's still kind of gross, but like, you know.
Also, I found the plot. I do not understand it.
The Diablo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's no list.
Once they have the mechanics down and how they feel the battle
Again,
should
I'm
go,
telling you, that
then
is
they get
World
all
of
that together
Warcraft
and then it
again.
gets passed off to art.
When it comes to designing a Diablo boss, there definitely is a long list of visual elements that we go to. Spikes, demon horns, rotten skin, decaying skin, burnt skin, different diseased skin. How do we stretch the skin out to make it look really uncomfortable? We take different parts of the body and then we twist them in very uncomfortable, awkward ways. We love using different human-like bodies and then almost melting them together.
Yeah, but you said new husband.
Creating Diablo bosses is to instill a general feeling of unease. So if it starts to feel like we have pushed it too hard, that's usually the comfort spot.
Oh, that's what you were trying to get
horror,
across.
so no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, you can always bet that there is something in our game that is going to terrify you.
Like a short king.
So we have many different kinds
at only 9 feet tall.
For the level. They're not mobile. You only see the top half of the box. We have tanks where the main goal is to just get this big, giant hunk of meat and beat it up until it dies. We have co-op bosses that are better with friends, working together as a team to really take on these puzzles that the bosses present. And then we have mind-bending bosses that really change the way
we could have
you play
more
the game,
of this fun, silly banter.
But my favorite boss in the game is the Butcher.
If you show up for other streams,
I
know.
It was quite a journey for us.
We had that one fun tavern talk.
I had like a whole, guys, I had a
first
whole
time,
science
there was this shock
section,
associated
felt
with
terrible
encountering
all
the
last
Butcher.
week.
You open the door,
Friday,
he steps
finally
out,
got
he's leaving
over
you very,
it.
very
Finally
fast.
felt
You're
good.
like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Saturday,
What the hell's
went to
happening?
dinner with
We
Ben's
wanted the
side
Butcher
of
to
the family.
be the
Had
real
my
Butcher
nephew
from the
crawl
first
all
Diablo.
over
So
me.
it was kind of like, how
Saturday,
do we
I was
bring
like,
him
ooh, I'm
into
not
our
feeling
game?
100,
And
so
what can
I'll
we
just
make
kinda
more
stay
special
in.
about this particular encounter?
Monday morning
is super
started
intimidating. He's a
throwing
gigantic
up.
boss,
I didn't even have
towering
a
above the
weekend
players.
to
Butcher
feel the
that
best.
was basically too
Okay,
angry to
I
die.
had
He's just
maybe
shoving his
less
guts
than
back in.
24
He's got the
hours
chain that he
to
throws.
feel okay
He's got the
before I
brush,
got a
he's got the fire
stomach
coming out of the
virus
ground.
from Peter
And it's just a fun, nostalgic fight. We've been building towards this encounter with Diablo since the launch of the game.
Diablo is the Lord of Terror. His food and drink is the fear of other beings.
He has this very recognizable silhouette with his giant horns on his head and also down his back. He has this very intimidating smile that is signature to Diablo.
I would not describe that as a smile. He's got a very intimidating smile.
He is now walking around with a weapon of mass destruction to bend reality, to perhaps create new realities.
Yeah.
The whole team is excited. It's electric. Getting to bring back.
Where would
Big
you go
Red
on holiday,
and then
Raven?
unleash
Like,
him,
what are your,
not just
what
on
are
one boss
your,
fight, but
where
on
would you
the
like
entire
want
zone,
to be able to
on
go?
Sanctuary itself.
This Diablo is going to deliver a very epic experience, as good as any other Diablo games.
It's going to be the best Diablo
I
ever.
know 2 weeks
said it
from
fast.
now,
It is going to
you're
be
going up
possibly
to the
most
mountains
difficult
to
battle
go to
in the
a
game ever.
market to try and find a specific fruit that's not sold in stores, but it's very seasonal. So our hope is that we can maybe find it there, though it's
Diablo's GM Roy
unlikely.
Ferguson, and please welcome Diablo Immortal's executive producer, Pei Wen-Yao. Thanks so much for joining us, Pei Wen.
Thanks for having me.
What the hell was that all about? Are you kidding me? That's got huge implications for the lore of Diablo because you're bringing him back.
Yeah, well,
Tell me about this.
I mean, it's a thing that I don't think everybody really knows what Diablo Immortal is, really. So let's start with there.
Okay, fair.
Like, I think
That
Diablo
was in
Immortal, the way to think of Diablo Immortal is our free-to-play offering in Diablo. It's a way to bring more players.
might
We
be
want to know
back,
where the
but-
players are, and we were like, okay, not everybody is part of the mainline Diablo 4 world. So this
she
is a way
was
to
on
reach
for
players
some
where
of the
they are.
WoW
And
stuff
so we have this
earlier.
great free-to-play, huge campaign, over 11 zones. You get 8 classes. We just added 2 over the last 2 years.
Best class.
The best, yes,
Yeah.
the
Best class.
with Blood Knight and the Tempest, our new classes, and so it's really an exciting time. And so the story, the campaign, which is again over these 11 zones, is basically you're working with Deckard Cain to beat this demon Skarn. Now, what's happened is that this takes place between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, so that's why Deckard Cain's still alive, and we're able to bring Diablo back. So it's a really exciting time, and this is what this whole year has been leading up to. This is the year of the Age of Unmaking. This is the return of Diablo, and they've been building towards it for like over the last couple of years now.
Yeah, totally. I think, you can tell Diablo is a very, very major character in the Diablo franchise, and we have that on our splash screen all the time. So I don't know if it's a plan, but that's
no, it
truly
was
the most
definitely Jane.
important chapter
They
of the
said her name
story,
underneath
that where it
it.
starts. And, Diablo is very, very
But when I
significant
started
because it's one of
describing
the
it to you,
original
I worried that it was
antagonists,
the wrong
it's
person for a
one of the
second.
3 prime evils.
But it was definitely
so
her.
I think in the
They made
history
an
of
outside
Diablo's story,
Xbox reference.
Diablo's story, Diablo world is Diablo has this reputation of corrupting people's minds, corrupting humanity, and twist people's minds. So when it comes down to the word, that means something is really going down.
So what does that mean for the people who are here at Gamescom? Do they get to experience that now? What experience have you brought
for them on the booth.
Yeah, so
this
well,
is
first of all, we're
Diablo
really honored to be
Immortal,
here
I
at
guess?
Gamescom. Like Ron mentioned, Diablo
I don't
Immortal is
know
our
what
first
that
take
is.
of mobile version of Diablo World, you know, on the phone, on the smartphone.
Oh, it's a
so
mobile
our mission is to reach more
version.
audience, and that's why we come here at
that's why the art
Gamescom.
style
Today
is
we
two
brought
different
into a beautiful booth right here.
great.
Yeah,
I'm not certain
this
if the
is
art
one of
style
the
looks
most important
different, or
content and
if, like,
gameplay in our
the,
game called the Holocaust Boss. So Holocaust Boss
yeah,
in our
the,
game
like,
is basically
graphical level
it represents
looks
your
different.
power. It represents your power progression because all those bosses
I'm not
are your
one
power
for
games.
mobile
You have to
gaming,
beat them
really,
in order to get to the next difficulty level. So as you go through the game, you will feel you're getting stronger, and you're going to more difficulty level.
Going
You get
missing
more
for
stuff,
6
you know,
weeks, I
the
think my
loot and
parents
the
would
dungeon
freak
and the
out.
zoom. Most important thing about Diablo Immortal is that we want to create this social, very sociable, very lifestyle kind of gameplay. So for Holocaust Boss, you can actually bring, you can either play a solo or you can bring your
That's
friends over
fair,
there.
but,
And
like,
that's what we're bringing
legitimately,
here.
like,
We
my
built
parents
a
were very
tournament
much kinda
that
like,
4 players
as
come
long as
into
we
the
know where
booth and
you
they can
are,
play, and you know, you can just rank on the leaderboard and get
it's
awesome
probably
rewards.
fine.
You have to beat 2 bosses, so there's like the 2 phases. You have to beat 2 bosses, and right now the fastest is about 2 minutes 45 to get through.
Think I got a shot?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, I know you play a lot. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's right.
But anybody can do it. But it's really interesting, like that what Payman is talking about. There's been over 50 bosses made for in this, sort of these Helicory bosses, and it's really exciting to see. You know, it's part of the progression. So it's always fun to have these new and interesting and different types of fights to have. And the fact that it's on mobile, but also on PC, like you can play free to play on PC today, and it's a great experience.
So players at home can also still experience the Helicory bosses right now, or is
yeah.
Same content, same
Even
game,
now?
and post-progression, cross-play.
So tell me about then
See,
the build up to
my-
the actual time. What can players
I've
expect to?
not
What kind of
spoken
content
to
can they
my
get
dad
into
in
right now
3
and in the
weeks.
lead
I
up
called
to
him
that content
yesterday.
dropping?
Yeah, so next few
And
months is going to
he
be, like I
sounded
said, it's going to be the
very
most exciting
stressed and
story
busy,
chapter of
and he's
Diablo
like, I will
Immortal.
call you later
It's going to
tonight.
divide
I was
into,
like,
like the
okay.
main quest
He did
line, the
not call
storyline
me.
is going to divide into 2 parts. So we're going to keep
I
selling in
probably-
the future, but
I
the
probably
latest
will
one
not
that's
hear
going to come
back
up
from
is
him
in
for, like,
September.
another couple
It's a
weeks.
release we're going to call it Crucible of Justice. This is where the story we're going to review a very, very powerful weapon. It's called Eldrim. It's a holy sword. And the player is going to go through the mission, the quest of purify that sword, and that sword is the secret weapon to kill Diablo. So you have to find the sword and purify to go through the ritual. And for player, the ritual, you know, I think if you play Diablo Immortal, you know, player is the hero. Player, you play the hero, you save the century, you save the humanity.
See, that's
But
how
the
I am with
century
my
is corrupted.
granddad,
It's
Raven.
dark, and that darkness casts into
I
players as well.
did
So the
not
ritual of purifying this Eldrim is actually a
see
symbolic
or
move
speak to
of
him for like
player
a decade,
that
and then
they
I
willing to
visited
sacrifice
him one
themselves for the
time,
humanity,
and then
they want to
it's
prove
been like
themselves to
another
be worthy
5
to use
years.
the Eldrim, the holy
So-
sword,
and I
to kill
still
Diablo.
haven't
So that is the first part of the September release,
seen
and then we're
or
going to save the
visited
second
him
part to the
since.
December, our holiday time, and we're going to release the second part, which is the most exciting part, that you're finally going to face the Diablo. And with the Diablo boss itself, we also introduce a
so about
amazing
the same.
zone. It's called the Worst Crown. You know, zoning is one of our very, very important content in game as well. It's beautifully designed.
I was amazed
Not
just
traditional
because,
concept
like,
of beautiful,
he
but
lives
it's
so
nice.
close.
I told you you live close.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being told
If it's the word,
and like
it's beautifully
experiencing
designed.
it.
It's
Like if
very,
you're like, oh yeah, they
dedicated,
live
you know,
close, and it's like, oh, it's
and
like legitimately
icy, it's
4
barren, and
minutes
it's that
away.
way.
It's
It's because
very
Diablo
different.
travels through that continent and transforms the place. So it's like very depressing, you know, all the cast coming down
See,
to
that's
Earth.
wild to me.
That's why the player
I've
here
never
to
lived
save,
that close
save
to
the
any of
world.
my family.
Yeah, and when player travels through this Worst
The
Crown,
only time I've
you're
ever
gonna
been that
encounter a
close
lot of enemies.
between
You know,
families
you're
when my
gonna defeat them.
parents
Eventually, you're
divorced,
going to encounter
my dad
Diablo
moved
as a
into the
hunter.
other side of the
You know
neighborhood.
Tyrael, like Tyrael is like, when you think about like recognizable
So it was like
characters in
about
Diablo,
a
Tyrael,
4
the
to
Angel
10
Justice
minute
is one of the
walk.
top ones.
So you could just
And so this is
walk
what's
through
really neat
that.
about the story
Yeah.
is that it takes
And then
Tyrael's sword,
you
Elduin,
have to
and that's the
drop
sword
you
you have to use to defeat the Diablo. And so that whole idea of, hey, while I'm
No, he
fighting
wanted
the
that so
Skarn
that he
and
could
getting
be
his
near
World
enough
Stone Shard,
for my
I've
brother.
become corrupted, and I have to get purified over in the Cold Isles so that I can actually be worthy of this sword. And taking that sword and then being able to use it against Diablo is just a really cool moment.
I mean, you said in the video as well that
it was
this
one of
fight
these
with Diablo
things
will
where
be
it's like
the toughest fight players.
granddad-wise, he was always more of a
throwing out?
fan
You
of
also
my
showed us like
brother
a 20-foot
than he was
butcher.
of me,
So, well, I mean, what's Diablo?
and
What's
didn't
the
really get on with my mom,
Anything
who
you can
I'm
share
very
Yeah,
close
well,
to.
I'm gonna see how much
And
I'm gonna spoil here, but
when my
yeah, Diablo boss is
brother
going to be the
died,
hardest
he
one
didn't
that the player
bother
gonna
showing
encounter.
up.
Because Diablo is such a
So,
classic character, so we still take a lot of the
I
classic
took
skills
that
from Diablo. So
extremely
it's still
personally.
featuring fire, lightning. So if you go to the battle, have some equipment, have some gears that with the fire, lightning resistance will be helpful. Yeah, and because you're bringing the Eldrim to the battle, right? So when Diablo calls all his Diablo soldiers, and they will swarm over to you, and you have to beat them really, really fast, and that beat up of those enemies is actually going to recharge your Eldrin. It's gonna make the Eldrin ready to, you know, make a good use. So yeah, and by the end, I'm not gonna by the end paint
well, the first
real
time
end.
I know about it, it
come
was
on.
The real end, you're gonna see this beautiful cinematics. It shows how
then they
Eldrin
didn't
player
know
take Eldrin and eventually
what
go to
was
Diablo.
born into
That's all so exciting. I can't wait to. Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to go and set a time on the booth to make sure I get a chance at that leaderboard. But I want to thank you both.
So we have the Inaria statue, you know, the really big one that's the size of the
You know, I want it.
Nah, you're gonna fight me for
I
it.
see the Star Wars Outlaws thing in the
That's what we're doing straight
background.
after.
We'll get Star Wars
I'm
information.
gonna come out on top, all right? Well, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed
Metaphor
the rest of Gamescom as
Refantasio,
well. Coming up though, the team from
which I
Stalker 2 is
desperately
here with the
want.
latest from the sequel, Heart of Chernobyl. Sick. Plus, we've also got to look at the newest Xbox accessories that are enabling players everywhere to play the way that they want. And later on, we're going to explore the newest Starfield expansion, Shattered Space, and find out why fans everywhere are setting aside
My dad
each
and I
space to
did not
explore
get on the
even
best
more
once
this epic open
I
world.
got out of
But
like
first,
grade school.
You know what's great?
Kind of stuff.
Xbox Game Pass. Yeah,
But we're a lot better now, but having the space was pretty essential to that.
Snowriders, which is the spiritual successor to Lonely Mountains Downhill. It's a skiing game in which players need to find their own way down the mountains in a wild and beautiful mountainscape. Our most important new features are a real-time online multiplayer in which up to 8 players can play cooperatively or in a competition, as well as a new trick system that allows you to pull off awesome-looking flips, spins, grabs,
actually,
or
he has
super cool
texted me
combinations
asking if I can take a call.
We focused a lot of the development
I will
time
call
on the
him once I
controls
get
to make
off
the feeling of carving down the slopes as smooth and fun as possible. Skiing is all about
It's
using
unlikely he has
you need to
eventful
gain
news
the
for me. He's
maximum
probably just trying to
do
catch
the
up.
longest jumps and use the best shortcuts.
Because that's what I was trying to do a couple days
ago. You can also
ago.
do tricks, ride backwards, or cross rivers and icy lakes.
But he's a tax attorney, so like he gets very busy sometimes.
The online multiplayer racing mode is all about crossing the finish line first.
So I can understand if
you and your
he's not able to drop stuff
together
for me.
to ramp up the highest score and beat all the
I just
challenges.
laughed because
you can also pick each
like
other up after
forgets
a
to
crash and place checkpoints.
call back or contact. I was saying it's funny. I was just talking about Dad, and apparently he texted me.
In the solo mode,
like
you have to beat
wind
challenges to
being blown
unlock
into
new
it.
mountains and trails. You can also try to reach the top of the leaderboards, or
he
beat your own
texted me
best.
asking if I could
This is the
take a
mode that will
call.
be most familiar to players of our previous game. And last but not least, there's the new Send mode. Here, you can ride all trails without any kind of pressure and freely explore the mountains to find secret spots or just enjoy the beautiful landscape.
This
Whether
looks
you're playing
very
multi or
cute
single
and
player,
cozy,
you will
but
gain
I
experience to level up your profile, unlock new
feel like
speed
I
types
would
and
get
poses,
bored.
and a large variety of customization items.
But I like the idea.
Thank you for taking the time
Like
to watch this video.
conceptually, this feels like a vibe.
I'm a cut piece, I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. I'm not a copycat. I'm
This is usually where we end, but we're just gonna keep going because I'm not as tired as if I'd been gaming for 3 hours. So we're just gonna continue the vibe, and eventually there'll be pizza. Pizza! I need to finish putting songs on the subathon thing.
The Xbox Game Pass hype is real, and right now it's easier than ever to join the party, especially if you play on PC.
For the punishment
Why? Because
wheel,
PC
in
Game
case I have
Pass
to do a
is designed for
sing-along, I need to
PC
get
players.
split
Get
audio
new
set
games
up,
on
and I
day
need to
one, like
test
Call of Duty,
setting up
Black
the
Ops
bot
6 on October
so that
25th.
people can
Play some of the biggest games of
control
the year
a
and unlock
game.
partner benefits from Riot Games and EA Play.
In case I
And if
need
you're
to take
already
a quick
PC Game
nap,
Pass
I
member,
want to be
join
able to
now
let
and get your first
chat
month of
try
PC
and
Game Pass
control
for
like a simple
$1
visual
or
novel
€1. This
so
offer
they
won't last
can
long,
make the
so act now.
choices.
But first, this post-apocalyptic horror action title is set against 64 kilometers of eerie, explorable area. It's also one of the most anticipated games of the year, and here to bring us back into the zone with some never-before-seen gameplay of Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, please welcome game director Eugene Grigorovich. Eugene, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
No, honestly, it's so exciting. We've been
I don't
got
think
on the booth
Tane is
here
still
at
here,
Gamescom.
but
I've been able to get
Tane
hands on.
is a
I'm
big
so
fan
excited
of
for you to take us through what you brought with us today. But how's your first Gamescom?
The previous was a year ago when we bring our demo, which was shown just on the PC.
I needed to remember
today
to
we're
add
bringing
Iron
another
Mouse's
demo, which we launched on
Breathe
Xbox
to the
Series
list,
X,
as
and
well
from our
as,
experience, it's looking very good, and we are happy
maybe
for
Trust
what we bring
Me
here
from the
and
Devil's
we get the
Carnival.
first impression from the players and the press, and till now I'm happy from what they are telling us about the Xbox build.
Yeah, honestly, I got to have hands on with it, and it is so much fun. Because what we're going to do as well is we're going to hop straight into the gameplay that you're going to talk us through. So anyone watching who's excited to see Stalker 2 for the first time, if they haven't already, can see what they're going to be getting their hands on. So what are you kind of? So are we going to bring the gameplay up? So we've got it on our screens. So as we go, if you want to talk us through this gameplay, so we can know what we've got coming up.
Yeah. I'll take this part. So here the player is doing his first quest, and he got a scanner, a device. Player at this point doesn't know a lot about how it works and what it's for. He just gets information that it somehow recharged an artifact that's put it inside it, and that if it got successful, it's gonna bring a lot of let's say money.
Yeah.
Maybe
now I
something
can
else.
move closer
So
to the
at this point,
mic.
player don't know,
I had moved
what is the
away a
goal
little
of the
bit
character,
so that my
why
wife
he's
could
doing
see
it,
the
and
screen.
He's learning the story about your character also by doing this quest line.
Because this is actually the bit that they've got on the show floor here, isn't it, at the start of the game? Because I had so much fun. I get what you mean as well, when you're just trying to discover what exactly it does, and the storyline sets that up. But what about the combat in the game as well? Because we can kind of see our first fight here.
Yeah. So it's a group of bandits. They were resting just nearby in their camp and doing their cheeky-breaky stuff. And then they saw that something happened. A wall was destroyed with a huge noise. They just turned up going to see what's happening and found you, a player, and
It's amazing as well, because I found myself when I was playing this, I was like, the flashlight turning on and off, and like, you can also like lean around corners, can't you, to kind of like engage fights from like a bit of cover.
Yeah, so it's very important in this game to have a proper tactics. You should hide a lot. You should
I remember trying the original of these games,
AI is very,
but I struggled with
trying to outcome you to go
but
from
I think
other
it's a
side,
personal
and
issue.
It's pretty stressful.
Like with the Fallout games, I have a lot of trouble with like the big open world aspects and like doing quests.
Several deaths.
Where I can go all over the place.
Unforgiving as well.
I need a lot more
well,
structure.
I found it's like a big part of the game is like looting. So
that's why I think I enjoy kind of roguelite kind of and like JRPG kind of stuff.
While we are fighting,
a lot of times because they're like, here is your focus.
After the fight finished,
do this.
Get to the dead body's pockets
and I'm like,
to find some
okay.
ammunition, maybe loot their camp to restore what we just spent. Because without it, we just run out of ammo and the player would be like stuck.
Because that's a big thing I have. I am very trigger happy when it comes to first-person shooters. Like I fire way more bullets than I should, and then I found myself as well. I was like, I need to go check every building that I can because I need more ammo. Like, what kind of advice?
Yeah,
would
see,
you
my
say
problem
to
is I
players
check every building I
Stalker
can,
2,
get distracted by every object in the world,
reason
and then
why
I'm
you
like,
should,
oh, I'm in the far left corner of the map. It's been 3 weeks. I don't remember what I was doing.
Not because you just want to find some items, but because it's interesting to discover this abandoned place where was some living some time ago, and where is some story behind it. And when you're just walking around and looking for the corners, and it's beautiful there, you can surprisingly find something stashed there, because it's in Stalker stashes. They use some stashes for their next journeys, because they can bring like hundreds of thousands of kilograms. They have to make some stashes for there, and players sometimes find them, and it's often rewardable, and often it's very rewardable, because you can get a huge equipment boost by just going to some building you didn't expect to find anything there, but it could be there.
That's what I found. I found myself like an assault rifle when I just had a pistol to start with. I was like exploring buildings and found that. But the game also, it looks amazing.
Yeah, this is the start of a next fight. The player, we have some stealth mechanics.
Yep.
So it's not very as you used to have a stealth in the game. It doesn't offer you like ability to be invisible for enemies. No, they will see you and shoot you. But at least it allows you to get slightly closer, to find better position to start the fight, and or maybe to initiate the fight with a grenade, so it would be easier for you. And then the fight is pretty challenging.
Yeah.
And you have to watch your hit points and your state, because you can get bleeding, and you have to use a bandage to stop this bleeding, because it's gonna last for long, and you're gonna lose a lot of hit points if you not stop and use the bandages.
Yeah, because you have multiple ways of healing, don't you? You've got like the bandages for the bleeding, but there's like different types of medkits that you can find as well.
You can have a regular medkits, and medical medkits, and an army medkit.
We're trying to do a similar.
And they provide additional boost, but mostly it's restoring the hit points. But also, if you are not in the fight and you just need to recover a small portion of health, you can just eat, and it will also bring you a small portion of hit points.
See, that's what I loved as well. I found like there's so much resource management that you have to like pay attention to.
I
So
tested
it really
it
gives you a
very
different
much in
challenge.
passing.
So it's like you said, if you don't eat, you're going to
actually
perform worse
probably like
in
a month or
gunfights.
so ago.
Yeah, so you
just
have
to make sure it
state,
didn't
just like
sound
you're watching
dreadful.
about yourself. So we try to
I
bring
mean, beyond
this,
how I normally feel like I sound
simulation
dreadful.
or atmosphere as you being a real human that goes to Chernobyl.
But I didn't tweak any
area
volume
with your
settings,
backpack,
so it
with
was
some
like
food, and you just
I feel like I
have
need
to
to turn down the desktop
to survive,
audio
in the
so
game,
that
as
it's
in life, because you have to eat, you have to sleep,
not
you have to like you
way
fall, broken leg, you
overpowering
have to use some medkits to survive this.
in those situations.
And, that's what we are doing here.
I was gonna find what a good setting
honestly,
is.
like, it's one of those things. I'd recommend it to anyone if you haven't had a chance to just play the original Stalker as well. Because when I got to play here, you just think and approach gunfights so differently, because there is that like risk element, and some of the enemies. Like I was jumping out of my skin because I was
These
like a
rooms must
camouflaged
be
opponent that I came
tremendously
across
hot
in the demo
with all
here
of
at
this
Gamescom.
electrical equipment and
like,
all
can you tell
of
us a
these
little bit more
people?
about the enemies that we're going to face?
Yeah, so the zone is inhabited by different factions. There are factions that came from the first Stalker trilogy, and there are new factions, and they have a story behind them of how they appear, what is their goals, and for the player, it would be interesting to uncover and discover these stories. And it's important to mention that from one walkthrough, the player won't know the whole story.
Yeah.
So you have to have several walkthroughs to get all these pieces together, or you can discuss it with your friend to choose some other path, and you can share the information about what you see to each other, and you uncover, oh, I didn't expect that it would happen like this. So it's, for me, I find it should be interesting for people to discuss their experience with each other.
Yeah, we also saw just before, we can actually see the scanner going on right now.
Yep, this seems safe.
It's echo scanner, it's a simple scanner, you just beep, and the faster it beeps, the nearer is an artifact.
Yep.
You can collect
Oh, it's an artifact, not radiation.
And, at this point,
oh god, that was
player
terrifying.
Bloodsucker is a canonical enemy in Stalker series. He has an ability to become invisible for player. And
yeah, I always kind of envisioned this as like Soviet-ish, like Eastern European Fallout.
But also, it's very rewarding.
Like Metro was just like Russian Fallout, I think, and this is kind of similar, but not.
But after and after, it becomes easier for you, and at some point you become master of the game. Everything is easy for you.
I'm open to the idea of that being incorrect, but you know.
This terrified me. Like, honestly, I was there going like, wait, at first I was like, what's attacking me? And I was like, how do I counter this? And I was like, suddenly realized I was a camouflaged opponent attacking me. It's like, I love that in this game though, is there are so many challenging enemy, like components, whether you're fighting bandits, whether you're like fighting these sort of enemies. And then I was like looting everything. I became like a loot goblin, where I was going into every building.
Yeah, if Tane was here, he could give us a like exhaustive
and there is also lot of
bit of info about the game, because I know he's excited about it.
This is not a main quest.
And like me, if there's a subject that he likes, oh boy, does he really like it.
Stories to bring you an experience.
Which I say that with love, because I'm the exact same way.
This real location, real zone, and it's not a fake world. It's full of small pieces.
Yeah.
And for me, I find it very interesting to discover, even if I know the game pretty much. Still, the world map is so huge, so even for me, going back to some locations make me feel, oh, I didn't expect to find it here.
I feel like this is a game that I would enjoy watching, but I would have a hard
also,
time playing because of the open worldy aspects of it.
I
feel like I just wouldn't accomplish much.
When I discover something for me.
You really get rewarded for spending that time to look around the world and kind of try and find those caches, and it's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, it's one of the.
I'm just happy it's coming out, because I know there's been a long time frame between the two. Between the original Stalkers and this,
as he wants to be or she wants to be,
and they've been working on it
to
for a
play
long
the role,
time.
They feel that works for them, and the player could like start being very rude and cruel, and they can act totally different in this game as like a player who wants to be on the friendly side. So there are a lot of freedom. It's rewarding. So even being cruel is rewarding. But there is a balance. Like, the game will also punish you for something.
No, 100%. And I think one of the main things is for everyone who's been watching and wants to get their hands on the game, when are they going to be able to play?
It's November, so it's not so much time left. And for us, we are like every day counts. We are doing everything possible to bring as polished gameplay as possible, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, honestly, from what I played at Gamescom, I can't wait to play it more. But thanks so much for stopping by. You can get Stalker 2 Heart of Noble on November 20th, and of course, it launches day and date on Xbox Game Pass as well. But now to a new line of Xbox accessories, making a splash here at Gamescom. Take a look. So thank you so much, Vijay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Play video games.
Good job.
Leo has issues with his motor ability. He doesn't have access to a lot of things.
There's a part of me that, since we're mostly here for like release stuff,
so this is my Xbox adaptive
tempted to skip, but as someone who had a sibling with
he just clicks to him. This is a joystick. I manipulate the character, and this is how I'm
disability. I think it's important to showcase.
This is how we do it.
I'm gonna leave it on this and let it ride for a sec, for a little bit, while I go check, because I think I saw people.
To make it easier to maneuver. You can get parts from the Xbox Design Lab. Then you can go somewhere else and get printed.
Be yourself, design it how you want. You're playing with your Xbox controller.
Right side, right side.
With the Xbox controller assist, when he needs help, when he gets stuck, I can at least hit the gas for him. Then he can control the rest. Having the joystick levels the playing field for him.
Your character, he can fly. He can do everything you can't do.
He enjoys winning and will definitely let you know when he does.
Big news for all gamers everywhere. We've got some new accessories designed to give gamers more ways to play. And here with all the details, please welcome Xbox Principal Designer Chris Kudrowski and Senior Accessibility Product Manager Caitlin Jones. Welcome to Gamescom.
Thanks, Maxie. Yeah, thanks for having us.
How's Cologne treating you? All good?
I love it here. Yeah.
Amazing.
First time in Gamescom. This is pretty exciting.
Oh, wow. First time.
Yeah.
Okay, the full week ahead of you. I can't wait for you to see it. So I can't believe the Xbox Adaptive Controller launch is 6 years ago. But you didn't stop there. So what's new in the world of gaming and accessibility?
Yeah, thanks, Maxie. So as you saw, we just announced our Xbox Adaptive Joystick. It's a wired controller that is designed to be a companion for our Xbox Adaptive Controller as well as other Xbox controllers. And that will be available to customers in 2025, early on in 2025. As well as our Xbox Adaptive toppers that you can create with Xbox Design Labs. And these are really great, I think, especially for players who might have some difficulty using the thumbsticks on their controllers. They can choose from different shapes, customize the sizes, the height, and the width, and attach them to their adaptive joystick as well as their Xbox Wireless or Elite Series 2 controller, and really customize the way that they interact and grip with those thumbsticks on those controllers to meet their unique needs. So overall, we're just really excited to continue to expand the ways that players can play the games that they want to play and also how they want to play. But it doesn't just stop with our Xbox accessibility offerings. We also have some really fantastic partners through our Design for Xbox program, including BioWave and 8bit2, who are also announcing some exciting accessibility news today.
And with everything in your line of work, the feedback from the community is crucial. And the gaming and disability community was also instrumental in feedback for creating the joystick. Can we hear more about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And certainly at Xbox, we are firm believers in the saying nothing about us without us, meaning we do not create accessible devices or features for the disability community, but rather we need to create them with the disability community. They are collaborators and they're the experts in their own experiences and needs. So from very early on with the adaptive joystick, we had our disability community be hands-on with early designs and functional prototypes. And I know Chris will share a little bit more about that on the hardware design side. But even from a software perspective, we've really heard from our players that they wanted, one, an affordable joystick for their adaptive controller so they can easily find that and have that as a resource to them, but also something that fit in seamlessly with their existing setups. So we knew it was important to create something that was highly customizable. You can remap all the buttons on the joystick, you can create different profiles, you can connect it to your Xbox adaptive controller for a full adaptive setup, but you can also use it without your Xbox adaptive controller. You can plug it directly into your console or PC and use it alone, or employ Xbox Controller Assist to link it with another controller and kind of play that way. So all in all, the disability community's involvement is absolutely critical in everything that we do, and we're so grateful to have them as co-collaborators and designers in these processes.
So many options. So how did the community feedback inform the final design of the adaptive joystick?
Yeah, like Caitlin mentioned, we're always looking for that feedback. And for this device in particular, we actually visited a hospital in Seattle that uses gaming as therapy for some of their spinal injury patients. So what that means is we went there with a box of prototypes, got feedback on the grip size, the shape, the number of buttons, where the buttons were located. They liked some of the stuff, they didn't like some of the stuff, and that's exactly why we're there. One of the most important things that we took away from that meeting was the importance of having the controller be mountable. Lets you put it in a lot of different positions, hold it stable if you're not able to hold the control in your hand. So we added this threaded insert here that's the same one you'd find on a camera tripod or actually on the adaptive controller as well. And so that really allows you to use non-hand body parts with the controller easily. So we took that feedback. And
I just realized I was muted when I came back.
And just curious, how does that process look like?
I agree.
Do you 3D
the reason I didn't want to skip it.
What do you do?
We do both of those things.
Awesome.
Usually, I like to start making something that goes in your hand by making
That's
it
really
by my own
cool,
hand.
and
So we'll
I
take
love
block
to
of
see
foam,
it.
carve
I love
that
to.
away.
I've been to
We'll
places
take
where they
a
have
frame
like these
and clay to it, and then sand it away.
wheelchairs where like
And
the
I'm doing this,
wheels are like
in the
big
design lab in my workshop
inflatable
in my
ones, so
garage.
they can go through
And
the
we're just
sand
really
and
iterating
into like
constantly
the
to get the
surf,
feel
so
right,
that
to get the
they're
ergonomics
not,
right,
so
the
that
position
people
of the
aren't
buttons
like
right. We usually start with
kept
a very
out of
primitive
getting
form
to
and
go
then
to
add
the
those
beach and
details
stuff.
throughout the design
But
process.
we've used those a couple times in the
One of
past.
the other things that's really important
The
from
brother
my
I
perspective
referred
as
to
a designer
earlier had an aggressive form of multiple sclerosis,
it's an Xbox
so he
controller. It
went
should
from
look like an
being
Xbox
like
controller. So many of the adaptive
quote
products
unquote
that
perfectly
gamers have to
normal
use,
kid
they might look
running
like
around having
hospital
fun
equipment or something you have to use rather than something you want to use.
being
Like Xbox makes cool products. We want
in the
our
span of a
gamers
couple
to like
months
want to
when
use
he
the
was,
products,
like,
and so
10.
using the same form language,
And
the same color material and finish really helps it feel like a part of the Xbox family, and that goes a long way.
There's
in
no
removing
way
some of the
other
stigma
than to
that's
say he
associated with
struggled
using adaptive products,
with
and that's
it
a really
because like
important thing that I think
legitimately
design
it was a
Xbox brings to
struggle.
the table here.
Yeah, it looks very well next to the adaptive
was
controller, traditional
very
Xbox controller. So good job.
as self-sufficient
One
as he
question.
could
So
be
I
and
heard the
good
rumor that
humored
the
about
idea
it,
of
never
the
really
3D
let him
printable
get it
cover files
down.
came from an internal
Or let it
hackathon
get him
event. Is that true?
down.
That is true. Very
But
similar
there
to
were
the Xbox
things
adaptive
that like
controller
he needed
years
help
ago.
with a lot, and
The adaptive
especially because on
thumbstick
top of
covers
that
were
he was
born from
legally
a
blind.
hackathon project. So hackathon is a
So,
week where Microsoft employees get to take a break from their day job and work on a
we,
passion project.
like I would spend
and
a
this
lot
particular
of
team was
time
inspired by
reading
really the high
video
cost
games
of
for him.
adaptive
Which is
accessories
one of the reasons
and
that
doing
like
custom
things like the
setups like
Dot
that.
Hack series are so
knowing
like
that 3D printers are a
meaningful
lot more
to me,
available
or
at
like
home or
Tales of
as a
Symphonia,
service, they combine these two
because
ideas
we'd
to
spend
create
like
a great
literal
range
like
of products
dozens
that
of hours
offer gamers a lot more options to
hanging out
customize
and
their
me
setup just
like
exactly what they need.
if he
so much
couldn't
goes
read
into
something because of his
the
eyesight,
creation of these
like
accessibility
helping him
offerings,
figure it out.
And especially, what did the
wanted
development for the
to
3D
play
printable files
games
for the
but
adaptive
needed
thumbstick toppers look like? Who did you work with?
to be able to see like the Game Boy better, we get like a viewfinder kind of thing that had like a magnifying
specifically a lot of
glass
hospitals
or
and gaming accessibility
screen
charities
reader or
that were
stuff
doing
like
a lot
that
of 3D printing
to kind of like accommodate.
So we worked with them directly and kind of just asked, what
So
are the most common shapes and designs that you
I
all are
love to
creating or
see
that you find work best for your
companies making an
players, and that's
effort
actually what
so that
informed
people
the
who
final 6 shapes that we have available today. So
have
very direct,
disabilities
working with them and getting that feedback.
do get to
Something that we
participate
also
in the
learned though by
gaming
working with
sphere,
them
'cause I
is
remember
that
how, like,
not everyone needs
important
a
and
full-on
fun it was to
adaptive
him.
setup. Sometimes just minor modifications to how you interact with your thumbstick can be the difference that allows someone to play longer, more comfortably. It can also be the difference whether you can play all together. So based on that, we did want to create something that was available, discoverable, and easily customizable for customers, because through working with our disability community, again, more and more learnings nonstop, it's always coming in. We did learn that, not everyone has access to easily connect with these hospitals or these more tech-savvy maker communities or charities that are customizing these designs and printing them. And also not everyone at home knows how to 3D model and customize their own shapes
series,
at
but like
home.
a
So
sequel chapter.
with the Xbox Design Lab platform, it's as simple as picking your shape, using sliders to adjust the height and the width of those
like
shapes,
obviously
and you're given a free 3D
get to
printable file that
finish
you
it
can then
because
take
he's been
to a
dead for
printer. If you have
about
access this too, you can use it for each
15 years this year.
And it's as simple as customizing from there with
part
no
of me
3D
that
modeling
wants to
knowledge
go back
required.
and play it, but I also know it'll be very hard for me to go back and play it. You know,
with creating accessories. You also
it'll be a
support
lot of
partners,
memories.
third-party developers in bringing their designs to life. So, can you share about a little bit more who you're partnering with?
Yes, and I will say I am just personally so grateful and excited that we do have so many Design for Xbox partners who are just really committed to making gaming for everyone. Some of the specific partners that we've been working with recently on the accessibility front are BioWave. So back in May, they announced their Proteus controller, which is a modular controller that allows you to really build your own unique setup that works best for you. And very exciting today, that controller is now available. In addition to BioWave, 8-Bit Do is both announcing and available today their Light SE wireless controller. So all in all, you know, when it comes to accessibility, a rising tide floats all boats, and we're just excited that our players have more and more options within the Xbox ecosystem to really choose what works best for them.
That's a lot of great news that you have today. So is there any place where we can look up all of the accessibility offerings?
Yes, to find out more about any of this accessible hardware that we've just talked about today, you can see the Xbox Wire blog post. Or if you happen to be here at Gamescom like us, you can visit us in the Here to Help area in the Xbox consumer booth. You can get hands-on with any of the products, do some live demos. And if you're here on Friday, you can see Caitlin in the discussion panel in the community area as well.
Thank you so much to both of you for coming. And also I want to say thank you so much for making our booth accessible so everybody feels welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Maxie.
Yeah.
Coming up, we'll get a look at the first expansion from Starfield, find out what happens when nuclear disaster in the quaint British countryside converge in Atomfall. And Age of Mythology fans, stay tuned. We'll take a look at what you can expect from the latest in the series.
so much
but
Age
first,
of Mythology.
It's time to explore ARY26 once again in Revenge of the Savage Planet.
Stuck on a planet with nowhere to poop. The juiciest burgers in the galaxy. Burger Square. Wacky Extreme Learning Smutbot from Hot Whiz.
I smush it down my throat.
Our new Dingo.
What is happening?
Greetings, Brave
This
Explorer.
feels like a Devolver Digital
We here at Alta Interglobal would
skit.
like to welcome you to our newest venture. The colonization of space. You spent almost a century hurtling through the universe in cryosleep, ready to begin your work on this strange alien planet. Unfortunately, changing market conditions have led us to the realization that space exploration is far too costly and unpredictable, and Alta has decided to cancel all future plans in space. I regret to inform you that you have therefore been made redundant. Your final check has been sent. We thank you for your service, and we hope you eventually find a way home. Good luck.
I like the energy of this game, though. I love, like, quirky, kind of weird stuff. Okay. I mean, this seems very interesting. I love that it's called New Florida. You know, and it does kind of have that vibe. I would be interested in learning more about this, especially if since it's co-op. Like, this feels like it would be a fun game to, like, play with my wife or, like, a PBS
What started
member
as a journey to the Savage Planet has turned into revenge. Here with more on what fans can expect from Revenge of the Savage Planet, please welcome producer Noemi Lecrier and creative director Alex Hutchinson. Thanks so much for joining us.
We're very happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
How's your Gamescom going so far?
Very good.
Very good. Busy.
Yes.
It always is. There's so many games to play, so many things to see. But Alex, it's been a journey getting here, and not only to the sequel to fans, but also to evolve the game as a whole. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty crazy half a decade for not only us, but for the entire games industry. So we originally began as a studio called Typhoon Studios. We made Journey to the Savage Planet. We were acquired by a large multinational. The pandemic happened. We updated the game, and on the day we shipped, that same multinational made us all redundant. So we found ourselves sitting around trying to figure out what to do. But luckily, we've decided to reform. So we're a new studio, Raccoon Logic, and we've made this new game, Revenge of the Savage Planet.
Yeah, and Noemi, can you
That's
kind of talk
so
about the world that we live in?
That is like the story of aspect of the game is literally like the thing that they experience.
Yes, before that. So obviously, some of the big changes are that we've switched to third person in this one. It's still, you know, a game about exploring the world, interrogating everything that you see. It's filled with wonderful, wacky, weird creatures. It's 4 planets now instead of 1 planet. So there's lots more to do and lots more to see.
Yes, so we basically can survey, scan everything, and collect and catalog. Here, as you explore the world, you're going to discover rewards, things to collect as well. The rewards are blocked by encounters with alien creatures, as well as puzzles and navigation
Yeah, I've not
challenges.
heard of it.
So lots of fun here.
Yeah. It looks so cute. Like even the trailer, but in the trailer beforehand, it's like all the creatures. It's like adorable.
And you know it's a sequel when you're swimming.
Just, it happens every single time.
Every time.
To add water in. You go in, no water.
Exactly.
Same type of thing. But Alex, there's obviously a ton of creativity by the team to produce an incredible world. But perhaps players' take on its obstacles can be equally as creative. So in the world, like how are players going to approach the obstacles that they face?
Yeah, so we've taken a really systemic approach to open world design. So it's still a Metroidvania. You're still being blocked by different obstacles. You need to go back to your habitat and upgrade your tools to get through them. But what we wanted to do was have a Metroidvania where there's a single lock, but multiple keys. So you see different types of objects. Say if it's a cracked wall that you need to blow up, you could do it with a grenade. You could find a creature that explodes. Anything that generates an explosion will get you through. And so hopefully, as you see in this video, there's a little bit more systemic chaos than most games of its type.
So there's lots of creative ways to kind of like solve the problem.
Exactly.
So you can have a bit of fun with it, and every time you play it as well, you're going to get those different experiences.
Exactly.
Another way players can make their game their own is through customization. You know, can you talk us through customization?
Yes, absolutely. So we've added tons of new outfits in the game. You can mix and match between the different outfits, so whether it's the helmet, the boots, or the gloves. All the outfits are inspired by sci-fi themes, famous like Star Trek. Here we can see some of the suits here, as well as like Power Rangers. So
if you put on the red shirt, you get killed immediately in the game, but you reprint.
What have you got wrong with the red shirt?
It's just a trope. Just a trope.
You also have a habitat where you will find all the main modules, like you see here, the PC.
They really did have a
use throughout
Super
the game.
Sentai helmet.
But there's also another
Looks
section
like,
that you can fully customize with lots of things.
Black
So as you
Ranger from,
explore the world, you will find Alta Crate
hold on,
containing
my wife
Alta
is calling me.
bucks
I'll be right
that you
back.
can spend in the Alta
Looks
store
like Black Ranger
on furniture,
from,
accessories, and
Mighty
basically a lot
Morphin
of
Power
useless
Rangers.
junk.
And
to
my
really make
dad's
space your
call.
own. So I hope players have a lot of fun with that.
It's like my own flat all over.
There you go.
Just lots of stuff from Gamescom will kind of like come with me. By the end of it, I'll have plushies for days. But co-op is such a big part of the game as well. Can you kind of talk us through that, Alex?
Yeah, so a lot of the team members have worked on different two-player co-op games, whether it was Army of Two or Far Cry 4. We've had a lot of success with it. We think it's an intimate way to play with your best friend, your partner, your kid. And this time we've made sure you can do it in any way you can imagine. So there's not only network co-op, but there's split-screen co-op you can play on the couch, and even cross-play, so you can play on any system with any other system.
I love playing split-screen games as well. Like I grew up playing with my brother. Like every single game that we get our hands on to do split-screen, that was always the way I went and played.
Perfect.
Yeah. Also, it's so good to be able to return to this franchise and bring tons to the fans. This game looks so fun. It feels like fundamental to create it. Alex, can you tell us what you think the magic is for this game and what makes fans love it so much?
I think it's humor. You know, you see a lot of games that are very grey, very brown, very serious, and we wanted to get back to a world that was fun, that was upbeat, that was optimistic. We like the idea of exploring space because it's fun, and you're going to find something exciting. You're not going to find Matt Damon on the moon, you know, eating poop mushrooms or Mars. So, like, hopefully people see that the humor in this is in the gameplay as well as the script. You know, the joke we always tell is that, you know, I can write a one-liner that's funny once, but slapping your best friend to their death off a cliff is funny forever.
Yeah, you can just kick them off in as many creative ways as possible.
Exactly.
Like just trying to get through that cracked wall. But also, really importantly, when a player's going to be able to get their hands on the game.
So it's going to come out sometime next year, 2025. For more info, you can go on the website, Savage Planet Game, and wishlist as well. Right now.
Please wishlist.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't wait to come and have a go with it as well. So thank you so much for joining us as well. And have you got any final words as well that you want to share with fans?
No, we just please wishlist on whatever platform you like, and we'll show you some more gameplay soon.
No, honestly, thank you so much. But coming up, we've taken a spin in some new wheels and a turn with a new story in Starfield's first ever expansion, Shattered Space. But first, check out an action-adventure game about hope, robots, and the power of words. This is Dustborn.
We need to stick together. We need to be a crew. We're on the run from people with space guns built into their arms.
Dustborn isn't about making the big and immediate choices. It's about the little things that add up over time. The words spoken that affect relationships and moods, the decisions that stick with you and play out when you least expect them to, the actions that push your relationships in new directions.
I guess this explains why you're suddenly so eager to chase after the robots.
Oh, keeping secrets again, huh?
Oh crap, hold on.
It's about making tough choices, about how to deal with the people in your crew, how to manage them, and pull them together to do the job, and to make the compromises necessary to reach the end of the road and your own personal goals.
We'll be taking a different route north, through Liberty, Oregon. Before
Liberty? I would actually like an explanation.
I concur.
Think of the game as a way to write your own comic book as you play. Each chapter or issue starting with a new cover, displaying what you're about to experience, and each of them ending with a comic splash screen. These pages present key choices made in the previous issue that could have an impact later on.
I am back.
Whether a dialogue line or event plays out because of a choice made by the
Sorry.
player.
Pizza came, then my dad called,
and allowing you to really get a sense of what could have gone differently.
all that jazz.
Oh, what the hell, Pax?
What now?
In the comic splash, you'll have access to more data, such as global stats about how many other players received this particular consequence, allowing you to gauge how popular this choice was.
Oh wait, I think I've seen
Some
this
choices
game
lead to
before.
crew mood change, which can have an impact on your relationship with them, but also on their personal endings.
Are you just gonna hover? We didn't finish our chat? No, we were finished. I'm worried about you, and I had more to say. I'm sure, but I was done.
Every key crew member in the story receives one of 3 endings, or codas, based on choices made and actions taken by the player and PAX. Each coda is illustrated by a comic book style splash screen, along with unique dialogues and events reflecting each character's current status. The player can at any time access the character codex to see which coda is the current favorite.
The crew respects you. When you're unhappy, they feel it. I'll keep that in mind.
Whenever a dialogue choice or action affects a coda, the screen will display a coda emoji, along with an animation that tells the player how important this choice was. It'll be up to you to decide how the road trip goes and how your relationship
I'm here, but
evolves.
I'm muted
Will Noel
because
break
I'm
away from your
eating.
on-again,
I
off-again
don't want to
relationship
eat
with
in the
Pax,
mic.
or embrace it? Will Theo loosen up with the crew or favor his boss status? Will Ziggy resolve her
But I love her
discover how it all unfolds in
scar
Dustborn?
or whatever that
Now,
looks like a death's head moth.
We're the Dustborn.
There is a dream that haunts me. A most dreadful nightmare, truly. It tears at me. The fortress of stone and valor, which I struggled to build, is now slowly crumbling into ruin. The land, caught in a perpetual autumn, yields to decay. A futile sacrifice remains ensnared deep within the horns of the surf. A shield, now weakened and cracked by time, fails to protect my people. A profound betrayal has befallen those most loyal.
That scene where the sword came out of her just gave me like Revolutionary Girl Utena like flashbacks. But this does look cool.
My people, my legacy, everything is collapsed.
Sorry, the spicy hit me in the back of the throat.
They hailed me as the once and future king. Only now do I understand the horror of that title.
Oh, whatever that thing was, it looks lovely.
It's one of my favorite massive open world space adventures, and it's just got its first ever expansion coming up. Here with more on Starfield Shattered Space, please welcome lead creative producer Tim Lamb. Hi Tim, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Nice to meet you, Bex.
Awesome, it's lovely to speak to you today. So let's chat opening night live. We had a really fun look at a very vibey trailer about some vehicles. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
I can. So we released the Rev 8, super excited. The team is so happy to have this new element that adds to planet exploration in the game. So, we have these dynamic worlds with, dense terrain, lots of very interesting obstacles, and now those worlds are our playground to drive around on.
Heck yeah.
We have a lot of, in navigating that, we have vertical boost, forward boost, we have a weapon on there. It's like a lot of different minute-to-minute, just like fantastic gameplay opportunities for players.
Yeah, super exciting. And Vasco looked like he was having a good time as well in the back there. Love that, love that. Now, let's talk a wee bit about the story in Shattered Space. It's very dark and mysterious. Could you tell me and everyone watching a little bit more about the story?
Yeah, so I think there's a hopeful optimism in the giant sprawling adventure of Starfield. You go to a lot of different locations, you meet a lot of different types of people, the cast of characters there, and Shattered Space, that tone, that mood, we were able to sort of distill it down and focus it into a location in the game around Dazra City. So we get to meet that new House of Rune, the people there. There's a moment of strife that they had. We get to experience that with them now.
Yeah, they sounded a bit intriguing, shall we say, in the footage that we saw last night. So can you tell us a wee bit more about the House of Varun and kind of who we'll be coming across?
So I don't want to, no spoilers.
Sure.
You encounter a derelict star station, and this starts you on your adventure to meeting the Varun. You end up in their home world, Varun Kai, in the city of Dazra. There's been a...
I mean, if it's within your budget, I say go for it.
You deal with the minor houses of the faction of House Varun to sort of uncover the mystery of what happened, and then resolve it.
I thought you ordered a pizza.
Nice.
There's lots of choices in there for you.
Okay, very interested to find out what.
Or are you
that
thinking
story
of doing
kind
that on
leads us
top
to
of the pizza
Very
as
good.
well?
Along with that story that we've been chatting about, there are some new game features as well as a huge new planet that we can explore. Could you tell us a bit more about those two?
So we have the city of Dazra. We focused, all of our effort has really been focused on the area around the city. So I think the beauty of it is that there's exploration, that you can find nooks and crannies in the game or little secret discoveries or locations you feel like I know I'm coming back here. So there's an excitement there. Yeah, so it's I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. Oh, so excited.
See, it's both a blessing and a
trailer,
curse. We currently live in a town
beachy vibe cruising around
that's
on
so
our
small,
Rev 8 too.
it does not have
I do, and I think
any of those sort of
Shattered Space
delivery
is
options.
a fantastic playground for it. Now, you can take the Rev 8 to any planet.
Them delivering the pizza was legitimately a surprise.
Varun's home world, and drive it there as well. But we support, I think that's one of the great things about our games is we always support any type of play style. So it's you can play with it, you can play without it, you can take it to Varun Kai, you can not take it there.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll definitely be taking it for a spin as well when Shattered Space releases too. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat to us about for Starfield Shattered Space coming out? Anything we can look forward to?
You can. I think you can look forward to an interesting story, a handcrafted world, new weapons, new gear, new items to sort of alter the way you might think about Starfield.
Amazing. Well, Tim, I cannot wait to play it as well. And everyone watching at home as well, be sure to check out Starfield Shattered Space, launching September 30th.
I have no
with
frame
Xbox
of
Game
reference
Pass.
for
Thank you again for chatting
Starfield,
with us.
but I do
now,
not
next
know
up,
anyone
we're
that once it came
scavenging
out was
and
super
hopefully
happy
surviving
with
the
it.
harsh world of Atomfall. But first, let's build a dungeon.
what on earth is this? The music is really cool. I like the art style as well. So it's a simulator game about making a dungeon, or...
Hi there, I'm James, the designer of Let's Build a Dungeon, a game development simulator that's coming to PC and Xbox next year. We previously brought our game Let's Build a Zoo to Xbox Game Pass, so it's exciting to be back here sharing news of our next game. Today, we want to share a closer look at our multi-layered management sim, and also reveal some brand new features that we've never talked about before. Let's Build a Dungeon is designed to simulate every aspect of running a game studio, and that starts with designing something your virtual players will love. You get to decide which quests to put in the world, and whether you want to focus on a traditional RPG built around magic and combat, or something more cozy like fishing or running monster farms. And if you want even more control, we have an
These sort of
exclusive
game
mode to share with
conceptually
you.
are so
Creative mode is
cool,
our
but
sandbox, but it's a sandbox quite unlike any other. Not only
I
do
do
you
not
have
have
access
the
to thousands of
creativity
assets,
for them.
buildings, and characters, in Let's Build a Dungeon, you can also tell your own story. We are developing a series of easy-to-use tools that lets you create almost anything, from a production-level dialogue editor that lets you create branching conversations, events, and rewards, to a full AI editor that lets you adjust anything from attack probabilities to spawn rates and weapons. We even have a tool that lets you draw your own pixel art characters, which will then automatically animate them for you. Our goal is to build a suite of tools that gives you as much control as we have when building our games. Games made by the community will be available.
I was
going
to say, so you could legitimately like RPG Maker this and make your own
Adding these
games
tools felt
with
like the
this
natural
game.
extension of our game development simulator. Why stop at building the most detailed game dev sim ever created when we can add elements of a game engine to give you a full, authentic experience? Hopefully, this short overview has given you an idea of what to expect from Let's Build a Dungeon when it ships next year.
That is very cool, though.
Windscale, the pride of Britain, nestled in the picturesque Lake District, the state-of-the-art atom plant has transformed this rugged landscape into the envy of its northern neighbors. Scientific progress waits for no one.
Windscale. Everything changed when that bloody atom plant went up in flames.
Citizens of Wyndham, there has been an increase in bandit
This looks
activity
really cool.
outside the village walls.
I hope it plays more like a Bioshock than it does a Fallout, just for my own personal preference of games.
My name's Molly. You got out to trade? I got bits and bobs for sale.
Please be careful. It's more dangerous than you can possibly imagine.
Detected.
I'm sure my wife will really like this one, no matter which way it plays. She
It's
likes both of
mystery
those
mixed
kind
with
of
folk
games.
horror weirdness, all set in a not so idyllic post-war British countryside, and believe it or not, it's based on a true story. Really? Well, here with more on Apple, please welcome Creative Director for Rebellion, Ben Fisher. How you doing, pal?
How you doing?
Welcome to Germany.
Thank you.
First time here, or?
Been here for Gamescom before.
Yeah. But not with a game quite like this, right?
No, let's talk about that, Ben. Actually, you're right, Henry, because this is a huge departure from Rebellion's most famous series.
Sometimes hearing some of those like true, like
sudden change of
nuclear,
pace?
like true story kind of stuff is weird.
So we always
There's
value sandbox
a
exploration,
famous
giving
one in the
developers
US
freedom
with which
in
they
their
like
objectives.
lost a
At the same
bomb
time,
off
this is a
the East
survival action
Coast.
game with some sort of RPG elements, there's skill.
They never
crafting.
found it, as far as I know.
The story of the game unfolds as you explore. It's kind of a mystery game, so tonally quite different to Sniper Elite.
I love the exploration side of it. I mean, from what we just saw in the quick trailer, there's a lot going on. It's not just one sort of trope that you're sticking to. There's a lot to unpack, so maybe as we're checking out some gameplay that you brought along that we can experience, we can jump into some of the influences that have made it into this title, because, like I said, it's a lot going on here, man, so let's check out some of this gameplay as well. We've got to start off with a postbox.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's on your T-shirt as well. It must be quite.
Living in a
core
small
feature
town
of
is an
Apple,
experience
isn't it?
for me. My wife is
as you
from
explore the
one,
world
like
of
she
Apple,
grew up in one.
You're uncovering
I
mystery,
would
you're
visit
discovering
my
what's happened in
family
this
up in
post-apocalyptic quarantine zone in 1950s England.
near
Different
Canada,
characters will ask you to
in
do
their
things for them, you
small
might help in return.
town.
And one of the characters that you can interact with is this mystery phone voice.
But I grew up in a very
You
large
have to
city,
choose
like
which
on the
character you
outskirts and
trust.
suburbs of it.
Kind of like Bosley, Charlie's Angels vibes.
I can have like whatever kind of food I
That's
could
cool.
think of on any
speaking
given
about the
day of
story,
the
and
week.
Henry, you mentioned it earlier. True story. Like, what is
Surely,
that?
yes. Well, yeah. It's based on real-world disaster that happened. The first major nuclear disaster in the world was in Sellafield in 1957. We wanted to use that as a jumping-off point for a story. So Jason Kingsley, one of the owners and founders of Rebellion, observed that there are lots of games that are kind of like post-atom storytelling, like post-atomic disaster storytelling, but none set around this first disaster that's happened.
I'm gonna run down and get another slice of
what's
pizza.
A rebellion kind of interpretation.
I'll be right back.
So, like I say, we value that kind of sandbox exploration and player freedom, and then combine that with the sort of unique Britishness, and that led to the environment that we've got in the game. So it's kind of an alternate history story, and it's a mystery that you uncover what's happened. And as part of the process of building that game world, we looked back at 1950s storytelling. So references like Quatermass series, which is one of the very earliest sci-fi serials, or like early Doctor Who, and things like that. So like UK TV Gold kind of cultural reference points that even if people don't know the reference itself, they know the influences that came from it. And at the time, there wasn't a clear distinction between like folk horror and sci-fi and those kind of stories. So it's a blend, it's a natural blend in the storytelling style of the 50s.
Of course, you have to chuck some cricket bats in there for good measure. I mean, the combat's pretty crunchy, right? I mean, this is, like you say, a bit of a departure from Sniper Elite, which is typically long range, but in here we're getting right up, even the fact that it's first-person camera as well. Like, these are conscious decisions you've made, so why did it feel right for Atomfall to treat it that way?
So in the case of Sniper Elite, you are an elite trained sniper.
I love food too.
Sniper rifle, right? He knows exactly how
I think
to
I've
fire
already
shot,
told
miles to take out that one
Richard
guy.
that I'm going to abuse
the
show the food chat when I'm traveling.
For the player character,
I love to get
their backstory is part of the mystery that you may or may not uncover as you explore. We wanted you to feel more like it's not so much a war zone as a pub brawl. You're desperately attempting to survive. There's not much ammo around. The guns are all rusty because everyone's been trapped in this quarantine zone for 5 years. You're mixing melee and ranged combat. You can throw your melee weapons. You can kick people to make them stagger back. We wanted you to be constantly, desperately mixing options and scavenging desperately for resources. So there's a real kind of tension as you play, which is very, very tonally different to Carl, who's calm and control and reads an entire situation before he decides what to do.
I think we can definitely get on board with the pub crawl.
My entire playthrough is like, it's a scene from Kingsman, basically, and it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel great.
Talking about Kyle and, you know, that he's an iconic character, what about the characters in Atomfall? Our player character isn't maybe so much of the focus, but are there other people that we're going to meet that are going to be key?
Yeah, so I need to have the right answer that doesn't spoil too many things, but as you explore the game world, different characters will
ask you to
uncover the mystery of what happened in the Windscale plant, maybe ask you to do something when you get there, and if you do that for them, they might try and find you a way to escape this quarantine zone, or they promise to. So as you explore, you've got to decide who you trust and who you don't trust, whether you think they're telling the truth or trying to manipulate you, whether you believe the same things as they do. So it's all murky shades of grey. There's no good guys and bad guys, and it's all completely open to the player. So you could theoretically kill every character in the game, and there's still a way to finish the game. You could theoretically play through and kill no one, and there's other routes available to you. So we really pushed hard into giving the player lots of options and lots of rewards for observing and choosing what to do. So there's lots of tropish characters, lots of kind of characters that fit this world of being north of England and also being 1950s, 1960s culturally.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, as a fellow Scot, Ben, really quick, are there any maybe Scottish people in there that we can look forward to meeting?
Yeah.
I thought it.
Spoilers, yeah. But what we have done is we've taken
I'm interested in
sci-fi, 1950, or like old-fashioned folk horror type trope characters and Cold War scientist trope characters, and you'll meet those kinds of people as you explore through the game, and then still decide whether you trust them or not.
Okay.
So we've got pub rules, we've got crazy characters. They're all living in this open world that we're experiencing. Can you tell us more about that? I mean, how did you construct it? How big is it?
I think my wife will love it.
Well,
I'm interested to look at more of it.
Deeply packed kind of sandbox maps. So the way that we've structured Atomfall is a series of 5 or 6, depending on how you count, sandbox maps like the one you can see just now. And you can travel freely between them at any time. They're all thematically very, very different. And then there's loads of interiors and like large scale.
Instead of one giant world, it's a couple small sandboxes.
Bunkers that are full of loot that you might find.
That is
what we wanted to do is
much
really
more
lean
up
into
my
that
alley.
densely packed kind of puzzle box. So I've spent all day watching people play the game, and no two playthroughs have been the same. People approach it all very, very differently, get different experiences. As you explore the game, you'll find leads as well. So we don't have a kind of quest system. We've got leads that you piece together clues that help you understand what happened. So we built this puzzle box.
That actually works better for me as well.
Then we just let them go for it. They might find a difficult, dangerous
place. I could just discover stuff.
We signpost very
instead of it being like,
place, and then it's kind of up to them.
Here's 19 sub-quests.
I'm buzzing. Yeah. We're great at solving them together, to be fair.
Well, we can work on it. I mean, you just said that there'll be leads that players can follow. Tell us a bit about how they're equipped to do so. We just saw like literally pulling out a metal detector and taking part in that great British tradition of finding some old coins or whatever it could be. But what are the other ways we can do that?
Yeah, so you might find a lead that someone's hidden in a box under the ground somewhere. They've a bit of storytelling around it to draw the player in and make them try and understand how it fits to the game world. But there's also characters that you might find in the world. There's friendly characters that you can barter with, and they might sell you or trade something with you, which has a lead in it. Or if you do some trade with them, they might get friendly to you and give you a lead. You can also have conversations with characters, and if you choose the right choices, you might get some more information from them. The way that we've approached those is the same kind of high-stakes player freedom. So you can get the conversation wrong, right? You're not working your way down a list of conversation topics until they grey out and then moving on to the next one. It works more like a real conversation. So if you judge their personality wrong and say the wrong thing, they might shut down and stop talking to you. And you've pruned a chain of leads that you might otherwise have found something interesting in the game world. So you're always having these influences and layers that you may even not notice are there.
That sounds so smart. I can't wait to dive into
That's
that.
interesting.
That's so cool. I understand there's some crafting elements in that as well, and also, metal detector scavenging. Can you tell us what that kind of looks like in Atomfall?
Sure. So the player's desperately trying to survive and finding materials to help them survive. So even if they find a gun, there might be 3 bullets for the gun. So they can find materials that let them craft things to help them heal or help them in combat, so Molotov cocktails and makeshift grenades and things like that. So you find yourself trapped into a corner and you can make these resources to help you survive. Like I say, we're trying to make sure that we find this sweet spot where you feel kind of desperate as you're trying to survive.
Sorry if I'm late to responding to your message. I was running up and down getting food.
To make these difficult choices and decide even whether you want to engage in a fight or not, whether you want to avoid it entirely, you want to choose the right moment and try and take out 5 guys with a Molotov. It's all really, really high stakes, but it makes it very rewarding when you manage to pull something off.
It looks like our player right now is making a horrible decision by going into a restricted area. Already seen a ribcage. I mean, this is going to go great.
Like I mentioned earlier, if you're heading into somewhere difficult or dangerous or scary, we make sure and signpost it. So, if you go into a place like that and then you die, you go, oh, actually, there was a skeleton outside.
Yeah, that one's on me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To be fair, I'm very good at ignoring red flags, so we'll see about that.
Wow.
And in terms of the player's progression then, so you're making all these decisions, you're making friends with everybody, you're crafting your gear. What about skills, anything like that in the game?
No, it's kind of tricky. I have 2 chats going because it multi-streams to here, to YouTube, and Trovo.
Skills that mean you can take more damage and survive in
and there's been
areas.
some
and
responses that are just from Trovo that I've been trying to respond to if they seem like they're real messages.
So that there's always that sense of
like obviously the one about someone saying that they love my smile, it brightens their day. Probably not sincere considering I don't have a camera.
Give you that edge over the course of the game. As you can see in this location here, they're in a kind of dark and then scary interior. So we've got the player's progression.
There was someone
there's also a kind of
in there that had responded just
they're uncovering a mystery.
before your
push deep into the world, into the underground of the world to find these dark and scary places.
Your thing about the fact that anyone can die that I realized I didn't see.
There is the sci-fi element, but
because I was stuffing my face with pizza.
Vibes I'm getting too, so
I ended up just getting the cheese pizza, but then putting my
like there might be some
Carolina Reaper, ghost pepper, scorpion pepper mix.
Yeah, and as you push into the mystery, you will find
all together
elements influenced by what happened. But yeah, for sure.
So now my mouth is very warm.
Storytelling style.
My tummy is
didn't
warm.
really have a division between folk horror.
But I
and
love
sci-fi.
when I eat food that's so spicy that my belly gets warm.
Addressing the Cold War, but in a way that wasn't too political, I guess. So folk horror stories are about the division between rural and urban civilization and how there's a tension between them, and Cold War stories are about fear of the outsiders and others and that sort of thing. And there's thematic resonances between all of these different storytelling styles, which make it really easy for us to push into these otherworldly horror elements as you push into the mystery.
Nice. That's so sick.
We've got quite an atmospheric bunker, like you said, as well. Have you got a favourite part of the maps that you can share us with? Again, nothing. I'm really pushing it here, but any.
I still never figured out what your
maybe
character
have a
is
picnic
on
or
your
anything like
profile
that.
picture.
Well, actually, there is a favourite
For
secret
some
place
reason,
so
when it's very
as the
small,
player
like it is on my
starting
screen,
the
it
game,
looks
they're
like
given one
Dorothy
lead,
from
the person
Gundam.
tells them that
But I don't think it
the
is.
heart of this mystery is a location called the Interchange. So to
I
begin,
never
you're trying
found
to
a
find
way
this
to
place,
make
and
it
as you make your way in, it's all unpowered, it's been shut down, it's been quarantined, and you push into it and open it up more and more, and it's like an unfurling flower as you find all of these leads that are the heart of the mystery. And the more you find, the more leads there are to find. So you end up in this kind of like snowball effect.
He's just picked up the corner of crafting.
Oh yeah.
Is it just that it's too much for you,
That's brilliant.
Raven, or does it like make you sick?
It's really fun for me to
I
see
have
like, the
my
contrast between
cousin's
that
husband.
dank bunker we just came out of, and then like the overworld is so lush and vibrant. And, listen, I've been to the north of England. It's not always this green, so
sometimes
becomes
yeah,
like
exactly. I mean, I
ill,
live in London, and
like
it's just
extremely
great all the time.
sick.
Any green I can get is good, but
Well, maybe not extremely.
So
like he gets like
will we see
borderline,
many
like
other
kind of
types of
food
biomes or environments in
poisoning,
the game
like
as well?
Yeah, so
messes his whole body up, stomach destroyed in the bathroom for hours, kind of thing.
As you get into it, it feels more
Add something as simple as like cayenne pepper, whereas I'm just like
tread wrong and cut your face
more
off.
ghost pepper.
Or you can find a friendly character who's sort of part of that group and talk your way into their compound. So we give you all these different options to, for whichever
That's
faction there are, ways
unfortunate.
to befriend them.
It is annoying.
Yeah,
I like that as well. Very good.
Yeah, I have that issue
I
with
think we,
pork.
especially
I cannot
at
eat
Xbox On,
pork
are super excited
at
for
all.
Atomfall and to check it out, and maybe even come across ourselves, because Henry and I
get
and
quite sick
Charlie
from it,
have actually been scanned
but
into the game,
spicy
which we're very
food,
excited to maybe come across ourselves. Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
There's Henry getting his wee.
We once
maybe
went
not the most
to.
flattering.
It's very funny
methods
because
of
I'm
doing it,
very
but
pale.
What are you actually doing to me there? Because I just
And
signed
the
something and agreed to show
stereotype
up
of like
dressed as a big baby.
very
and
pale
apparently
kind of
that's
white
for
people
something.
is that they can't handle spice.
What is it that
But
you guys have to do
man,
to get someone scanned into your games? 'Cause
like
the realism
if
is
we go to
quite
Thai
impressive.
restaurants,
So we
I'll
go through
order
a
it.
highly detailed scanning process of
I'll
every angle of
order
your
like
face and
the
different configurations, so we
very.
get wrinkle maps and things like that.
I'll order like the Thai hot,
So we didn't bother with the wrinkle.
and
So
half
they're
the
all
time the waitresses are
assembled
like,
by
"Are
character
you
artists and
sure?
rigged so they can
Are you
animate.
sure?
And then
It's
we,
really
in the case of
spicy.
Atomfall, we then put that in a sort of character
Do
builder
you want to
system.
get something
We put costumes on
less
the characters.
spicy?
We
And I'm
might
like,
rub your
"Guys,
face up a bit because
send
they've
it.
been
I'm
surviving
ready."
for 5 years without washing machines and soap, and then we just find exactly the right spot for each kind of memorable face in the game.
I always get it like the
I'm
max
looking out
heat.
for where I am.
But like, I don't like when things are so spicy that they just don't taste good. Like, I've done the one chip challenge with Tane.
Yeah, can't wait. As long as you put some fake eyelashes on me as well, then maybe that.
Like, Tane and I have both done the one chip challenge. We had like a ghost pepper brownie as well.
Yeah.
And
just the beard that we had to shave.
the brownie wasn't bad, but the one chip challenge is like, it's annoying because it doesn't taste good, and also it's like an unpleasant level of heat. Like, I like when my heat accents my food. Like, my wife can't handle heat as much, and she'll get Thai food that isn't hot. And to me, it loses something without that heat. Like, it doesn't taste as good because it's not as spicy.
Check this out.
But spice is the only like food thing that I crave. I very rarely crave like, I don't know, like empanadas. I'm like, I want spicy. What can I add spice to crave?
Product manager of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Thank you for joining us today in this exciting showcase.
Kane is not here, otherwise he would be hyped for the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi sequel.
But before that, let me give you a reminder on the 2 single-player game modes that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has to offer: episode battles and custom battles. First up is
Played
episode
so
battle.
much of those.
In this single-player mode, you can take the point of view of 8 different characters, including Goku and Vegeta, and enjoy famous battles from the anime. For each stage, you'll be playing through an introduction before heading into some of the most iconic fights in Dragon
it's
Ball
gotta be
Z and Dragon Ball
enjoyable
Super.
to eat. It's just my level for what is enjoyable is a lot higher than some people.
Next up is custom battle. In this mode, players fight in battles that each have their own original scenes. Some battles will also have different victory condition, and some might even have event cutscenes pop up midway, so you'll be able to enjoy battles different from the norm.
Oh
Using
man,
edit
I haven't
mode,
seen
you'll
this
be able to
menu in
freely set the
forever.
characters to be played, as well as the pre-battle
That's
and
straight out of the
cutscenes
old
in order to
games.
make your own original battle. What you've made will be able to be uploaded and viewed online for the whole world to play, so hope you enjoy sharing the battles and situations that you have created.
But I even like, I
Now, the moment you've
love
been
like
waiting for. Coming
ginger
straight from the
and
Majin Buu
stuff
saga,
too.
Ultimate Gohan is our latest addition to the roster.
I have some really hot ginger
he's ready to show his
candies
power in an all-out fight against Kefla
that are
in
just
Super
kind of
Saiyan
like,
2 form.
they're
Enjoy.
not spicy, they're just very spiced. Time to feel old? Why time to feel old? About the DBZ? Or about the ginger candy? Oh, yeah. I did not know they fused because I don't watch Super at all. This is giving me like flashbacks to childhood though. We played just so many dozens of hours of the Budokai Tenkaichi games. And it's funny because like I tried some of the Dragon Ball Z games that came after and I didn't like them. But like this is so much of just like it is. Oh, there's a Korean barbecue place nearby. I say nearby, it's like within an hour. It's pretty nearby where I live. You know, one of their side items is like just garlic and butter or garlic and sesame oil. It's one of the bonchons. And you just heat it up on the little grill, and the garlic becomes just so buttery smooth that you can like grab it with chopsticks and just eat the garlic by itself. Because once it cooks like that, it doesn't have the bite that it normally does. It's so good.
Now, there is nothing like enhancing a classic with modern graphics and gameplay mechanics. And if that classic feature can feature, you know, new expansions and a remastering of the multiplayer experience, well, in my eyes, it's even better. So here from World's Edge even, to give us the latest on Age of Mythology Retold, please welcome Senior Director of Production, Ernest Yen, and Senior Game Designer, Kristen Perillo. Welcome, and
this was my,
thank you so much. Now, Age of Mythology, there's loads going on here at Gamescom.
Game of choice as a small child.
Opening night live, so I want to hear all about that. I want to hear all about the booth.
Actually, I say that it was like middle school.
Thank you, Jeff Kelly,
this was the RTS. Like I played a little bit of Age of Empires, but I was a huge mythology nerd growing
I've been
up.
talking
So it's
to,
like,
like,
oh,
young
Age of
people, in this
Mythology
case,
or
like, one
Age
of
of
them is
Empires
just the
plus
characters at
mythology,
Canto.
and you can
about
fight
this
with the
really
different like
epic, like, story that a lot of
mythological
our fans remember really
creatures and
fondly.
like
So for multiple campaigns,
religions
multiple
and
missions, it
races.
is epic, amazing. And of course the trailer also show off like the new graphics we have in the game, looking really pretty. It is just like really cool to see. So,
Yep, and the trailer's been fantastic because it really showcases how diverse each civilization is within myth.
Yeah.
We have our Greeks, we have Egyptians, Norse, and Atlantean. They all have their own gods, their lore, the way that they play. And there's just so much diversity within the gameplay. It's been really exciting.
And talking about the booth, yes, we are here, so like people can actually come.
You're just
and
over the back, over
yes,
there. You're
it's
like tucked away over that
right
way.
there.
If
Go
anyone's planning on
over.
coming tomorrow, just over there.
And if you come, you can get like these awesome lightning bolts, like, and also take pictures. So it's like really, really
He's so
cool.
cute. He's so
And, by the
excited.
way, this is not the only thing that we have here. So on top of Age of
Oh, his name's
we
literally
also recently
Ernest.
announced Age of Empires Mobile. And then like if you come by the booth, you can get this like awesome like pop socket. It's like amazing. So highly recommend.
I'm going to be first in the queue to get one of those as soon as possible.
It's so cool. And the game is actually, we just announced that it's going to be available globally on October 17th. So it's a very different, very new experience that we're expanding Age of Empires to the mobile audience. So it's a game built with the awesome Team Studio Group, and they have crafted something that's amazing for the mobile gamers.
How exciting.
It was this, Rise of Nations,
come,
and
as we're talking here today, but the
the
first thing I want to talk about is that this is more of
Star
it's well, more than a remastering, but it's different to a sequel, right?
There was a
So,
Star
I don't know,
Wars
what
one
the name
and
of
a
Does
Lord
recall
of the
actually mean?
Rings one.
Right, so
that
for
I
a few years
also
now,
played
our
a
fans
lot.
know we have been building these things called like definitive editions. And what there's one key goal that we have, which is we want to build the title that's in your head, right? Not because when you actually think about the games that you grew up with and play, like you remember fondly and say like, it's amazing, right?
yes.
So, but when you actually try to play the original for real and look at it and say like, that's not what I remember like, at all. So we want to build the one that's actually in your head and how it looks like, how it feels like. So that's the goal. So, and yeah, really want to thank the fans for supporting us for so long for all the different editions. But for Retold, Retold, we are going beyond what we have done in different editions. So on top of all the graphics and all the gameplay from the original, we actually tweaked it and added a bunch of like new things to it as well. And it is just amazing. So
Yeah, I mean, from the design side, from the get-go, we really asked ourselves, how can we maximize our mythology? And so we've,
I used
we've
Supreme
got reusable
Commander,
god
but that
cards,
was
which you can
later.
actually see. We've got our, approachability features like our VPS we brought in from other titles. We've got, a more favor-based economy, so you can build more monsters, and our population cap is much higher now. So not only can you build more monsters, you can just build more of everything.
You have to get more monsters. It feels like a love letter, really. Everything you've learned so far, you're bringing back. And I love the idea of taking out what you see in your head and then making that version of the game. I think it's absolutely wonderful. So you mentioned a little bit about god powers, actually. I heard we have our very own gods wandering around at Gamescom, by the way, while we're on the subject.
yes, we have invited them to the booth. So you also can actually see them. We have Athena and Zeus here in our booth. So
Yeah.
come by, see them. Like, you can see them.
Goodness me, where did you find that?
They are amazing. That is so
nice.
cool.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness me.
Please come by. It takes a lot of work for us to invite them to the booth. So
A lot of convincing.
a
Love
lot of
it.
convincing.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, back to the game now. Sorry, tangent. So seeing the gameplay that we just saw just then, it's really clear that the team has been hard at work on the visuals. I think you both mentioned it already.
Yes.
So what can we expect? What exactly does that mean?
So for graphics, we actually have redone every single graphics that you actually see in the game. So like every single 3D asset, every single animations, like effects, all of them are completely rebuilt. So just for this game, and it's amazing. The team did really, really good work. But we want to make sure that you also keep the flavor of the original, because again, we want to build a game that people remember.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a labor of love. I will say that much. So
Oh my
we
god,
got
I love
asset by
those
asset,
walking
and
trees.
we just
I
made
don't
overall
remember
improvements. We
those,
wanted
but those are
everything to
so
look and feel
funny
mythical.
looking.
And so we have, our destruction effects. We support ray tracing. But like Ernest had said earlier, sometimes when we've gone back and look at these assets in 2024, we realized that we had an image in our head that was very different than blurry pixels, wrapped around the sphere. And so we had a lot of philosophical discussions because, the dev team were all major fans of the original. So I mean, Arcantus was a big one where we were like, would he have a dimple? Or would his chin be more square? Would he
I
have...
want to be in those meetings, please.
They've been really fun. It's part Rorschach test looking at some of the assets, and then it's like labor of love, and it all comes together to make that game that we remember loving and playing.
Amazing. So if I've got everything right here, so Age of Mythology Retold is complete visual overhaul, updated god powers, and larger-than-life myth units. Now, small enough to keep me interested, but is there anything else that you have to share?
Yes, definitely want to say that, remind people, one of the coolest things that we have done for here is that we are releasing on PC and Xbox with crossplay, like at the same time. We have never done.
I've never played an
RTS
RTS on a
time we're releasing
console.
on multiple platforms at the same time, so
I feel
really
like
happy to be able to bring the
it
game
would be
to not only to
very,
people player, but to controller players as
tricky.
well. Because the game people really remember, beloved it. We want everybody to be able to play
Yeah, you've had some
together.
fantastic versions on the console recently, so
Yes.
those players will absolutely join you. Now, you also have some other
Maybe
really
it's
exciting things to
fine.
tell us
It's just
today. I know I'm
hard
really
for me
rich
to
for this,
wrap
but
my
what
brain
can you tell us
around
about the Freya Gods pack?
Oh, I am so excited to be able to talk about this.
Here we go.
So the Freya God Pack really is kind of like a new DLC type for us. And what we really wanted to do was offer the players a new strategy type for the Norse, which is, a beloved civilization from the legacy game that can sometimes be very offensive in the way that it plays. And so with our Freya God Pack, we wanted to offer a defensive skew to it. So with the Freya God Pack, players will be getting 4 new god types featuring Freyr, who is the god of fertility and kingship, and then 3 minor gods, as well as all the things that they come with, like their myth units and their god powers.
Wow. Oh my goodness me. That's insane, by the way. 4 new ones. Amazing. Are you able to talk us through each one? Can we do that?
Yes.
Oh, amazing. Excellent.
So we have Uller, who is the god of archery, and his myth unit is a Draugr, which you may see in the film here. The Draugr is an awesome myth unit. He's an undead archer, and his arrows can pierce multiple targets, whatever is in his line of sight. We have Aegir, who is the god of storms, and his god power, he has a horrifying hailstorm that will slow everybody down, and it's very Frosty, and he has one of the best myth units, which is a rock giant, and if you upgrade him, he can eat buildings, and he will.
God, I love this game.
And our Mythic Age god is Vidar, who is the god of vengeance, very appropriate for the Mythic Age. And so his god power, he
I love the idea of just being able to, oh yeah, he eats,
and Fenrir is interesting. He has a path of
eats
destruction.
buildings.
He'll light forests on fire, and the wolf comes up in a very
Normal
scary
god
manner.
behavior.
And then his myth unit is actually my personal favorite. Another famous character from mythology, Fafnir, who is a very greedy dragon. Everywhere he goes, he leaves like a trail of poison. And if you slay Fafnir on the battlefield, he actually melts into a pile of gold coins. So it's been very fun to make.
I really love how much you fleshed out each of those. Like, yeah, that one's going to eat buildings, isn't he? Love it. So good. Wonderful.
It's amazing. Just want to do a quick reminder that Freya is going to be part of the premium edition of the game. So if you want Freya and all the people, the major and minor gods, so definitely get the premium edition. And by the way, if you get the premium edition of the game, you also will be able to access the game earlier. So like the game is coming out September 4th, but like if you have the premium edition, you can start playing on August 28th, 7 days early.
Good deal to me. Love it. Awesome. So
that's crazy. 7 whole days early.
What other new content can we expect from the Freya Gods pack?
Yes. So with the Freya God pack, there's also a new playable level called Reagan Leaf Rally, and I won't spoil it. It's very fun. You'll get the chance to play all of the fun new myth units and god powers and techs I just mentioned. And really the best part of this level is that it does feature one of our villains from the Legacy campaign, Gargarensis, who is just a peach. And it's very serious.
I'm stuck on peach there. I can't wait to unpack this expansion, but I need to ask you both, Ernest Person, what dates? I know we spoke them a little bit, but let's go over it one more time so everyone's got them written on the calendar at home.
Yep, September 4th is when the game is coming out. So, but I do want to be clear that the way that we like to build our game, September 4th is really just the beginning. So we will continue to support the game, we'll continue to do updates, balance, listen to consumer feedback, and honestly, our play is amazing. They give us really good feedback, and then we can continue to improve the game.
Yep.
He's such a vibe.
Yeah, we have 2 new Pantheons coming with playable civilizations, and then we also have a new game mode, Arena of the Gods, which we're excited to talk about soon.
Ooh, how exciting. Well, thank you both so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to make sure I get the pop socket. I'm going to make sure I get whatever these things you're wearing. I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to get them. So thanks so much for stopping by. There are loads more Age of Mythology stuff going on for all types of gamers. But first things first, as Erson said, if you haven't already, make sure you pre-order Age of Mythology Retold Premium Edition to get the Freya Gods pack, 7 days early access, and so much more. You can play early from August 28th, and that is only 1 week from today. And that, my friends, is a wrap on day 1 from the Xbox Gamescom booth here in Germany. Join us tomorrow for Star Wars Outlaws, the latest chapter from Fallout 76 Milepost Zero, and then we'll dive into the most ambitious story arc that World of Warcraft has ever seen. And there's probably going to be so much.
Wait, what's the rest of this?
It's a construction vehicle that's there to promote a very specific game about doing construction. Probably. It's all happening here at Gamescom.
Oh, this is okay. So this is now the content.
Puzzle solving this game. Like in that 15 minutes we saw, there's at least 3 or 4 different types of puzzles we saw. Of course, you're going to get like the light puzzle that you kind of see in all of these types of games. But there was also just a good amount of kind of outside of the box puzzle solving. We don't know to an extent how many different ways you can solve.
Pretty nostalgic for some folks.
So I was worried about how long this
quite
was.
Famously, there's a giant sword in the desert in Silithus. So it's not too hard actually. There's lots of cool ideas.
But I believe,
and so we're able to
this is
find, new stories.
the rest of this is just the stuff we watched earlier.
A lot of threads.
Is it challenging to find like new stakes, new world-threatening things?
Okay,
also rich.
So that is actually good. I was worried about being on too long.
I mean, Azeroth is in many ways our main character.
But
the
let's
world is
see.
the main character here. I mean, yes, the players obviously are, but it's all in service to our world. So it's pretty easy to always find another problem that's come up, and in this case, it's pretty epic. I mean, it's really enough story that we need to tell it in three expansions.
You're never short of like world-threatening dangers.
No.
Speaking of the world, Kaz-Algar is the new like subterranean region. What led you to that decision? Like, what solidified your decision to go like subterranean?
Let
Why
us
Well, one of the key reasons was
head over to Depdog because I know they're very close.
This is a location where we thought there were many cultures and stories that we
Though I know I just
to
rated them
explore.
yesterday, but I think they're the only person on affiliate push right now
and, in terms of
that I see in
one
the
of
bot.
Pieces that our team takes plenty of inspiration from is what we've seen historically. For instance, in our expansion, Wrath of the Lich
And I
King,
appreciate you hanging out for so long, Raven. I hope you had a good time. I very much appreciate the sub as well. I hope you get to abuse the crap out of those emotes.
What can you tell us about the new playable race, the Earth?
And I'm glad you
really
like them.
incredible. They're different. They're a neutral race. You can play them as Horde or Alliance. So how's that going to be?
Yeah, the
Why is he
interesting thing
not
about the
showing
Earthen
up?
is they have been isolated from the rest of sort of civilization for a terribly long time, and they were created, in fact, to take on specific tasks. They're in 3 different sort of categories. There's the machine speakers that were responsible for taking care of the
Oh, is he not
great
live
machinery
anymore?
that sort of
It just
powers
hasn't
everything
deleted?
under Kaz-Algar, and probably more of the world than we know. There's the
Okay,
Oathbound,
it
who are
does
protecting
not
the
show
core
him
that
as
allows
being
you to go down
online,
to
actually.
sort of the center of our world. And then there's the Unbound, who are the ones that have sort of begun to doubt, because it's been a long time they've been here. The Titans gave them these edicts to sort of drive their need to do these things.
I'll
But they
send
haven't seen
everyone
the
to
Titans in
Vigi
a very
then.
long time, and they're beginning to question and wonder. So that makes them very interesting. And then just in terms of how they look, you know, there's
Biggie
still
is
that
playing
crystalline,
7 days to die,
gem-studded
but
sort
I
of
appreciate
look,
everyone
which is
for
really cool for
stopping in
customization.
both
Tina
on the
knows a lot
Twitch
more
and
about that
Trovo
than
side.
And they eat gems
As
instead of
ever,
food.
these
There's
get
definitely
ported
hints of
out
other
to
culture that
YouTube
we can, you know,
immediately.
made of
I usually
rocks,
go
made
back
of
through and
burn,
find
you know,
clips
might
as well. There's probably not going to be
so it's
clips
really
from this
Okay, I'd like to touch really quickly
video
on, like,
because it
quality
was
of life
very low
improvements. Can you
energy.
tell us about warbands and how that's going to make everyone's lives easier, maybe?
But you can also
Yeah,
follow
something
me
that we're
on
really,
Twitter.
leaning into this expansion
I
is
usually
really
try and
meeting
tweet
the
when I'm
players
going
and seeing how they're
live or
playing the
like
game. So now
stuff
we
that I
see so many
see out and
players play,
about.
multiple
And
characters. They have
I
alts,
started a
and we're really
Facebook
made
for
this huge,
King
you
of
know,
No Eyebrow
engineering
just so that I
effort to
could
make it
post
so that
places
the way that we
separately from
play,
my personal
for all the
page
different characters
because I like to
combined
keep it
together in a way
separate.
that we're calling the
But
warband.
I hope everyone has a good time.
And we think this will be a huge quality of life
Bye.
improvement for everyone. Okay, and racing ahead, because we're so short of time, I want to talk about delves. Now these are like mini dungeons.
I always forget that the
and
raid
you
thing
can
has
pick
to
any
count
kind of,
down,
party,
and then
or
I
you can
say
play them
bye
solo,
way
it doesn't
too
matter what
early.
group of classes you've got with you. How is that going to work? Like, what's the difficulty pitched at for those?
Yeah, we're so excited because delves are, again, meeting the players where they're at.